when putting stockings on my girlfriend. We promised to take the Peking University entrance exam together, but I had to intentionally sabotage myself during the exam. I scored a 0 in Chinese and ended up with only 600 points. I missed my chance at Peking University while she went abroad to study. She doesn't know that after that, I didn't even attend university. I was forced to drop out and became a delivery driver. One night, dragging my exhausted body on my way to deliver the last order, I was unexpectedly hit by a Range Rover and knocked to the ground. Immediately after, a woman wearing red high heels came to my side and knelt down. "Are you okay?" "I didn't do it on purpose," as she said. The woman opened her Gucci handbag and took out a stack of cash. It was about 2 or 3,000 yuan. "Take this money first to go to a nearby hospital and check for injuries. I have something very, very urgent to deal with right now." After saying that, she stuffed the money into my hand. She stood up to leave, but then immediately knelt down again. She took a pen from her bag and wrote on a sticky note. She wrote down a phone number and her ID card, tucked them into the note with the money, and said to me, "Call me anytime if anything happens." My name is Li Xia. As I looked down at her ID, she had already stood up and left. The whole thing took less than a minute. We didn't even exchange any words. The white Range Rover drove away, and I struggled to get up from the ground. After finishing my work, I pushed my electric scooter home alone. I was holding the ID card of the woman from the Range Rover. It was already midnight. After a brief hesitation, I picked up the phone and dialed. No one answered the first time. After a minute, I dialed a second time. The call was rejected immediately. Unwilling to give up, I dialed a third time. This time the call went through, and a voice said from the other end, "Who is this? What do you want? Speak quickly." I said politely, "You hit me with your car just now." Her attitude changed instantly. She repeatedly said, "I am so sorry. Which hospital are you in now? Have you been checked? What did the doctor say?" Her tone made me feel much better. I said calmly, "The casing of my electric scooter is cracked a bit. As long as you're okay, how much is the scooter? I'll pay you back. The money you gave me is enough to fix the scooter. I still have your ID card here. Pick it up whenever it's convenient." "Is now okay?" she asked tentatively. "I'm busy and can't leave right now." Then I gave her my address. After hanging up, I sat on a wooden stool applying Yunnan Baiyao to myself. About half an hour passed. I heard a knock on the door. When I opened it, I found 4 men outside. The one in front was about my age. The 3 men behind him were very burly. The man in front looked at me and asked, "Did you make the call?" "You are." Before I could speak, the man asked impatiently, "Do you have Li Xia's ID?" Behind me. Before I could say a word, the man punched me in the face. Then he followed up with a kick to my abdomen. Before I even understood what was happening, I was knocked to the ground. I tried to get up. The man's foot kicked towards me. I immediately tasted blood in my mouth. My roommate Liu Qiang, who often drinks and celebrates next door, opened his bedroom door. The man came to my side and stepped on my arm with his leather shoe, asking coldly, "Where is the ID?" But half of my face felt numb. I couldn't speak at all. The man turned to the 3 behind him and said, "Go inside and find that ID and the note. They're on the bedroom desk." The people who went in found them quickly. They brought them out and handed them to the man. He glanced at the ID and, satisfied, put it in his pocket. The foot stepping on my arm pressed down even harder, and he said coldly, "You're blind. To think you'd try to scam her. I'll say this once: if you dare to bother that woman again, I will definitely kill you." After saying that, he kicked me hard again and turned to leave. Before reaching the door, he seemed to remember something. He took out my phone and smashed it hard on the ground in front of me. Once he was sure the phone was completely destroyed, he swaggered away. After they left, I sat by the bed alone. The 7 yuan Hongtashan cigarette released white smoke from my fingertips. I couldn't understand why this world is always so full of injustice. I especially couldn't understand why everyone wears such a deceptive face. Why did she leave an ID behind and then arrange for people to beat me up? I must find out exactly what she wants. The rain outside the window grew heavier, as if it wouldn't stop all night. When the sun rises tomorrow, there will be one more drifting soul in this city. The first light of dawn shines through the window into the room. I have packed all my belongings into my suitcase. Today I am moving out of this rental. Because of that group of people last night, the landlord thinks I've been hanging out with shady characters, so they won't rent the room to me anymore. My suitcase is placed on my old electric scooter. All I have left is the 2,600 yuan that woman threw to me in the rain yesterday. When I got paid last month, I sent all the money home to my father for his medical treatment, leaving only a tiny bit for living expenses. Out of this 2,600 yuan, I used 800 to buy a smartphone for food delivery work. I have to keep working this job. The remaining 1,000 plus yuan is intended for renting a new place. If I don't find a suitable room before dark, I'll have to sleep under a bridge. I put the SIM card into the new phone. As soon as it turned on, I received a call from my second uncle. "Chen Fan, what are you doing?" My second uncle Chen Shaoji is a character. My grandfather picked him up from the roadside. He is 6 years older than me, and he's done plenty of shady things over the years. He could be described in 4 words: notorious. Squatting on the curb, I asked, "I'm free right now. Why did you think to call me?" "I have business. I heard there's an old Chinese medicine practitioner in Kunming who is particularly good at treating kidney disease." After I found his contact info, I rushed over immediately. "I'll stay at your place tonight and take the train back tomorrow morning." Hearing my second uncle's words, I immediately got nervous. If my second uncle finds out, That I'm doing so poorly that I don't even have a place to live. What will he think once he tells my parents? Combined with the bruises on my face, my second uncle's personality means he will definitely pry for answers. This would be a huge problem, I said hesitantly. Uncle, don't come looking for me, just go back after you get your medicine. My work is incredibly busy. But he insisted, your mom even brought a basket of local eggs for you. No matter what, you have to take them, anyway, that's it. I'll call you when I arrive. After saying that, my second uncle hung up. Finding any random room to rent and move into is a bit unrealistic. But my second uncle will arrive in 2 hours. This is a big problem. After a brief hesitation, I decided to find a small hotel near the train station first, to get my second uncle settled there, so he'd give up the idea of coming home with me. As long as my second uncle is settled, it doesn't matter where I stay. I can just manage for a bit. 2 hours later, I picked up my second uncle at the train station. He was wearing a fake Nike t-shirt just like before. His muscles were prominent, and there was a new tattoo on his arm. He froze the moment we met. He asked with concern, Chen Fan, what happened to you? I lied and said, I just fell by accident. My second uncle didn't believe me at all. Are you trying to fool me like you fool your parents? Who could fall and end up looking like this? What's going on? I know my second uncle is battle-hardened. It's hard to deceive him. But I didn't want to tell him the truth. I just brushed it off and said, let's go, let's go. I'll take you to where you're staying first, then we'll go get the Chinese medicine this afternoon. My second uncle followed silently beside me. Inside the small hotel I had booked in advance, I said to him, you'll stay here tonight. After we get the medicine this afternoon, I have to go to work. Don't tell my parents I got beaten up. To avoid worrying them, my second uncle asked relentlessly, what exactly happened? Who beat you up like this? Chen Fan, are you hiding something from the family? First tell me who hit you. Why did I hit you? I muttered gloomily. I don't even know why they hit me. I recounted what happened last night. Finally, I didn't forget to remind him. Please don't tell my parents about this. I don't want them to worry, I still have a few hundred yuan here. Chen Xiaoji looked down in silence for a few minutes before saying to me, fine, I won't tell your parents. As he spoke, my second uncle took out another 2,000 yuan and gave it to me. Don't give your money to your parents. I'm giving you another 2,000, go find a better residential area. Rent an apartment and take better care of yourself. Uncle, don't give me money. I don't want it, my uncle said in a commanding tone. Just take it and stop talking so much. I'll go get the medicine for your dad this afternoon, you go find a place. Get your housing sorted first. I'll be taking the train back early tomorrow morning. I took a deep breath. I could feel that my second uncle truly cares about me. I didn't want him to worry too much. I agreed to his suggestion. This afternoon I would look for a house. And he would get the medicine. My father has suffered from kidney disease for many years. Unintelligible/repetitive text in source. The medical bills over the years have exhausted all the family savings. Although Grandpa left a few tens of thousands before he passed away. But my second uncle didn't take a single cent, he spent it all on my dad's medical bills. Even though my second uncle wanders around aimlessly all day, his character is beyond reproach. In the afternoon, I found a place through an agent. It's a 3-bedroom apartment in a residential complex, and I'll be sharing it with others. The monthly rent is 700, and the living room, bathroom, and kitchen are shared. The other 2 rooms are occupied by a couple and a girl. I thought the conditions were decent, so I rented it. By the time I finished the paperwork, it was already after 4 p.m. My second uncle sent me a message to tell me. He was waiting for me at a small hotel near the train station. He wanted to have dinner together that night as he had to take an early train home the next morning. Just before leaving, I ran into the single girl from the shared apartment. She was wearing professional attire, a short blazer that made her look very elegant. As she leaned over to change her shoes, I caught a glimpse of her cleavage through her collar. I swear I didn't do it on purpose, but I must admit, she was very attractive, making it hard to look away at first glance. Consequently, when she finished changing her shoes and stood up, I was still staring foolishly at her chest. She glared at me intensely, muttering pervert in a very disgusted low voice. After saying that, she covered her collar and walked toward the second bedroom. After having dinner with my second uncle that night, I didn't feel like going back to the Paris Spring residential complex. So I booked an extra room at the small hotel. After dropping my second uncle off the next morning, I went back to delivering food. Without work there's no income, and for now delivery is all I can do. I was busy until 11:30 p.m. The last order took me by surprise. It was ordered by someone I live with. Name on the order was Lin Yifei. When I brought the food home, the couple in the master bedroom wasn't there. Their door was tightly closed and the lights were off. The light in the second bedroom was on, and the sound of typing could be heard occasionally. I took off my coat and tossed it into my bedroom. Carrying the food, I walked to her door and knocked gently. She opened the door wearing loungewear. Her expression immediately turned displeased when she saw it was me. Instinctively, she covered her collar with her left hand. She asked in a very disgusted tone, "What are you doing?" I held up the food and said, "It's the food you ordered." Lin Yifei was furious. She demanded, "Who told you to touch my food?" Before I could even finish my sentence, she snatched the food from my hands. Her next move was to throw it directly into the trash can by the door. Because there was a bowl of soup in the delivery. The soup spilled onto my jeans when she snatched it away. It was very hot, but she completely ignored me. She took a step back and slammed the door. I stood at the door feeling a bit lost. I shook my head helplessly and went back to my bedroom. I received feedback on my order on my phone. Negative review. What right do you have to deliver my food to someone else? How can you be so irresponsible? I looked at the screen, feeling it was somewhat absurd. One negative review deducts 300 from my wages. My entire income from working day and night might not even reach 300 yuan. I was exhausted like a dog today, and yet this one negative review sent me back to square one. Wednesday noon. I suddenly received a call from my second uncle. I thought he was going to tell me about the situation at home. I parked my electric scooter by the roadside and asked, "What's wrong, second uncle? Call me back later, I'll wait for you at the intersection of Lianghua Road and Renmin Road. Don't take any more orders after you finish this delivery. Come over here first." I thought I misheard him. "Just come to the place where you were hit and tell me. Where exactly were you hit by that Range Rover?" I had a feeling Chen Xiaoji was planning something. "Didn't you go home? I'll help you get even. At most, I'll just request footage from a few more cameras." I was completely speechless. I knew exactly what kind of person my second uncle Chen Xiaoji was. After finishing my current delivery, I rushed over. Sure enough, at the intersection of the small garden, I saw my second uncle. His eyes were constantly scanning the cameras at the intersection. I didn't know what he was thinking. After seeing me, my second uncle asked, "Where were you hit?" I corrected his line of thought and said, "It was when the Range Rover was turning." He couldn't help but curse. "Doesn't everyone know you have to yield to oncoming traffic when turning? Just tell me which direction it was." I pointed to the opposite side and said to Chen Xiaoji, "It was right there, second uncle, let's just drop this. We are strangers here in Kunming. It's better to avoid unnecessary trouble." But he said, "I've got it. Once I find the license plate of that Range Rover, I'll be able to find the person who hit you. You go back to your work." After saying that, Chen Xiaoji lowered his head and walked away. I stood there and shouted, "Second uncle, I live at Paris Spring, are you coming to stay tonight?" Chen Xiaoji left behind 2 words without looking back. "Don't worry about me." I watched Chen Xiaoji's back disappear into the crowd. My heart began to feel restless. That group of people clearly wasn't friendly. They were driving a Range Rover, and the bags they held were Gucci worth over 10,000. Chen Xiaoji is unfamiliar with Kunming. Investigating like this so recklessly is nothing but looking for trouble. But I knew I couldn't persuade him. There was nothing I could do but worry. 3 days after the delivery encounter, Chen Xiaoji called me again that night. He told me to head to Car Square in Century City within half an hour. He was waiting for me in the outdoor parking lot outside Car Square. When I arrived at the parking lot and found Chen Xiaoji, he was crouching by a flower bed in an inconspicuous corner. And diagonally across from him was the white Range Rover from that night. The scratches on the side were still there. I was shocked. I was confused about how Chen Xiaoji managed to find it. I tried to persuade Uncle by saying, "Uncle, let's just forget it, don't let this escalate." He said without any emotion, "No. We have to settle the score tonight." I looked around, even though it was already past 8 p.m. The place was so lively that it wasn't a suitable place to settle a score. "Have a smoke." Chen Xiaoji handed me a pack of cigarettes. It was actually soft chunghwa. He pointed to a black Santana on the side and said, "Get in and sit, we'll just wait for them to arrive. Don't worry about whose car it is, just get in and sit." After getting in, I started to feel nervous. This Santana was at least 10 years old and in terrible condition. To the right of the driver's seat, there was a steel pipe wrapped in bandages standing upright. This was clearly the weapon for tonight. I couldn't calm down, although I hated them for bullying me. The thought of actually hitting someone made me nervous and afraid. I tried to persuade Uncle not to cause unnecessary trouble. But he ignored me completely. I was basically talking to myself. Around 9:15 p.m., the man who hit me that night, 2115, and Li Xia, who had bumped into me while driving, both appeared. The two of them walked side by side to the Range Rover. The man walked to the driver's side and opened the door. Chen Xiaoji asked coldly. Chen Xiaoji seemed somewhat impatient. "Just say yes or no." I took a deep breath. I said in a low voice. Chen Xiaoji hadn't vented his anger yet. His eyes were fixed intently on the Range Rover. The Range Rover started up and slowly drove out of the parking space. Chen Xiaoji also started the Santana and followed closely behind the Range Rover. I was extremely nervous the whole way. I knew all too well what Chen Xiaoji was capable of. The Range Rover was driving ahead. After several turns, it left the second ring road and entered a more remote path. Chen Xiaoji waited for the right moment to overtake the Range Rover and quickly steered. The Land Rover braked hard suddenly. The car body blocked the white Range Rover at an angle. I must admit the Range Rover's braking system is excellent. Any other car might have already crashed into us. After stopping, Chen Xiaoji was in no hurry to get out. The driver of the Range Rover, the man who hit me that day, had already stepped out. He approached the driver's side of the Santana with an angry face. He kicked the car door and started cursing. "How can you drive like this? Do you even know how to drive?" Chen Xiaoji held the steel pipe he had prepared in his right hand. With his left hand, he unlocked the Santana's door. He pushed the door open with force, hitting the man standing outside. The man stumbled back several steps. Chen Xiaoji got out with the steel pipe. Without saying a word, he swung the steel pipe at his head. The man instinctively raised his left arm to block. Chen Xiaoji's foot was already kicking him. The man retreated 2 steps. He tripped on the curb, completely intimidated by Chen Xiaoji's momentum. Lying on the ground, he looked up at Chen Xiaoji. His face was pale and he didn't dare say a word. Li Xia got out from the passenger seat. She rushed to the man's side. Squatting down, she asked worriedly, "Jai, how are you okay?" She looked up at my uncle and asked, "Why are you hitting people?" My uncle turned to me and said. I approached my uncle tremblingly and whispered, Uncle, forget it. Who are you two? Li Xia did not recognize me. Thinking about it, it wasn't strange. She had left in a hurry that day. I was also wearing a delivery uniform. It was normal for her not to remember me. She looked at Chen Xiaoji and me seriously, asking with great fear, what are you trying to do? Chen Xiaoji ignored Li Xia. He slowly crouched down, gripping the steel pipe with his right hand. The end of the steel pipe was pressing against Chen Xiaoji's thigh. I could tell he was using force. The man's expression began to contort. But he was quite tough. Seeing his contorted face, Chen Xiaoji couldn't help but feel smug. After beating Chen Fan, transfer the 5,000 yuan immediately. If you transfer it, this matter is over. Chen Xiaoji sneered, if you don't even think about leaving here safely today. I'll give it. What kind of person this man usually is. Plus, my second uncle had a certain ruthlessness about him. That scared her. She opened her purse and pleaded, please don't hurt him, I'll give you. As she spoke, she pulled cash from her bag, stuffing it into my second uncle's hands without even counting it. I don't even know how much this is, I'll give it all to you. Chen Xiaoji took a quick glance and said, that's enough, let's let this matter go for now. My phone number is easy to remember. Call me anytime if you're not satisfied. After saying this, Chen Xiaoji put away the steel pipe in his hand and said to me, Chen Fan is gone. If he dares to bully you again, I'll cripple him. This is just how Chen Xiaoji does things. As I was leaving, I couldn't help but steal a few more glances at Li Xia. She was truly beautiful, with features so exquisite that words failed to describe them. While I was looking at her, she was looking at me too. The moment our eyes met made me feel somewhat embarrassed. I quickly looked away and turned to get into the car. Chen Xiaoji could tell I was worried, so he asked in a tone of disappointment, are you scared? Are you backing down? We're all in the same boat. What are you afraid of them for? To be honest, I was a bit frustrated, having lived in Kunming for these years. I had always played the role of an outsider, a simple citizen. I didn't want to argue or fight with anyone. I thought it was better to avoid trouble whenever possible, to work hard, earn money, and send it home, hoping to save enough to get a kidney transplant for my father. Seeing that I remained silent, Chen Xiaoji comforted me. Come on, Nick, don't look so gloomy. It's no big deal, it's no big deal. Why he dares to cause you trouble. I'll just go deal with him until he submits. Get out of the car at the next intersection. Take this money and try to save it. I'll be in Kunming for a while, call me if you need anything. He didn't even wait for my consent before dumping all the money on me. Note, this line seems to be a continuation of the previous thought. I knew my father's medical treatment would cost a lot, so I didn't decline. It was about 6,000 yuan. I took it all and asked, aren't you going home? What are you doing in Kunming? Don't worry about it. Anyway, it's not like I'm delivering food, just remember. If he dares to cause you trouble again, you deal with him. My second uncle and I had very different philosophies on survival. After getting out of the car at the intersection, I wandered alone through the midnight streets of the city, with thousands of yuan in cash in my pocket. It felt like this money had come too easily. So easily that it felt unsettling. I even thought about contacting Li Xia. Return this money to her. Explain clearly that this is just a misunderstanding. I admit I had this thought because I am a poor commoner, unable to withstand such struggles, and I had another intention. I fantasized that I could get to know Li Xia, or at least prevent her from having a bad impression of me. I suddenly realized how terrifying this thought was. How could I pray for a goddess's attention, and even delude myself into thinking I could get to know the beautiful Li Xia? I couldn't help but laugh at myself. The next day I slept in luxuriously. I clicked to start accepting orders on the app. The first one was a huge order. Starting to take orders, the first one was a huge order. A full 40 lunch boxes to be delivered to Katy International Hotel. The security guard let me use the service elevator directly to the conference room on the 29th floor. The first time I only took 20 lunch boxes up. Only the girl who ordered the food was in the conference room. She told me to just leave the lunch boxes on the table. Then I went downstairs to pick up the rest. When I came back up with the lunch boxes in the conference room, a scene appeared before my eyes that stunned me. The moment Li Xia's eyes met his in the crowd, I could hardly believe my eyes. But Li Xia was right there in this conference room, looking at me. A man opened a lunchbox and handed it to her, saying respectfully, President Li, you've worked hard in the meeting, please eat first. My scalp went numb. Only yesterday Chen Xiaoji and I had beaten up her boyfriend, and now I'm delivering food on her territory. After hurriedly putting down the lunchboxes, I headed out. I practically ran to the elevator. The moment the elevator doors opened, I was dumbfounded. There were at least 4 security guards outside. I pretended to be calm and looked down as I walked out. 2 security guards came up and blocked me, telling me to come with them. I pretended to be unaware and said to the guards, you have the wrong person, stop talking nonsense. Stop talking nonsense, the leader said directly to the other 3. Take him away first, I shouted. On what grounds? You are just security guards, you have no right to restrict my freedom. With this shout, many people in the hotel lobby indeed looked over. The hotel lobby manager was quite quick-witted. He smiled and explained to the onlookers, sorry to disturb you all. A hotel guest just reported a lost valuable item, and suspects the delivery guy took the opportunity to steal it. We have detained the suspect and will take him to the police station immediately. I was truly sorry. Is this delivery man a thief? Delivery drivers these days have such poor manners. I shouted at the top of my lungs with a desperate expression. I yelled that I was being framed, but no one believed me. Even worse, no one even acknowledged my cries. There were only cold faces staring at me. Some were just taking photos with their phones. The 4 security guards weren't like what the manager said. They weren't taking me to the police station, they were just holding me captive in a room, took my phone and tied me to a chair. I kept screaming, "Let me go, this is illegal detention." "I don't know anything about illegal detention, I just do what my boss tells me," the fat guard threatened. "I'll stuff this pair of socks which haven't been washed in a week into your mouth. I'll stuff these socks which haven't been washed for a week into your mouth." He won. He was so intimidating that I didn't dare speak, because I felt he could actually do it. I waited with a sense of dread, not knowing what would happen next, or who I would have to face. 2 of the guards had actually fallen asleep on the bed. I tried to escape, but my hands and feet were tied to the chair. All my efforts were completely futile. After about 3 hours, the door that had been closed was opened. Hearing the door open, the 2 guards scrambled up from the bed. Li Xia appeared in the room with 5 others. Among them, the girl following behind her was the girl who had ordered food today. Beside the girl was the manager. The last 2 were security guards. Seeing Li Xia enter, the 2 sleeping guards hurriedly stood up. The others didn't dare say another word. Li Xia frowned and asked, "Why did you tie him up? Wasn't it your order?" The manager glared at the fat guard. Li Xia immediately said sternly, "Who told you to tie him up? Untie him quickly." After untying me, Li Xia said to the people around her, "Everyone, please leave. No one is allowed to enter without my command." Seeing how determined Li Xia was, these people didn't dare to speak anymore. They all slunk out of the room one by one. Li Xia looked at me coldly and asked, "What's your grievance with Jiahao? Why were you so heavy-handed yesterday?" "His name is Jiahao, now I finally know what that guy's name is." "Do you really need to play dumb?" Li Xia spoke in a tone that suggested she saw right through people like us. "Is it any fun fighting like this all day? Can't you just sit down and communicate properly? Will that even solve the problem?" It seems Li Xia thinks I'm just a thug. I looked at Li Xia and asked, "Can you listen to my explanation?" Li Xia gave me no face at all and said to me, "The reason I kept you here was to tell you one thing. Don't try to corner Jiahao in the middle of the night anymore. If you want money, just tell me directly." I became unhappy immediately and looked at Li Xia, asking, "You had people tie me up here for 3 or 4 hours, wasting my entire afternoon of work just to tell me this nonsense. Otherwise, what else do you think I have to say to you?" My anger flared up instantly. "Since you have something to say to me, then I have something to say to you too. The first lunchbox I delivered at noon. Was it eaten by you? Let me tell you. I only took a few bites of that lunchbox. What you ate was my leftovers and I even spat in it." Li Xia's eyes suddenly widened. The next second she covered her mouth and ran toward the restroom. That was so satisfying. I walked out of the door with my head held high. The lobby manager and several security guards were outside the room. They were looking at me strangely. I left just like that, feeling almighty. Walking out of the hotel lobby, it was just dinner time and I planned to continue taking delivery orders. But I found that my account had been deactivated. I contacted customer service to ask what was going on. Customer service said I might be involved in a theft case, and my status as a writer was temporarily suspended. In other words, I had been fired. Who the hell did I offend? Is it that hard to just deliver food? I really don't know how I got involved with them. I glared resentfully at Katy International Hotel and spat on the ground. Just then, a group of security guards suddenly rushed out of the hotel, shouting, "Don't let him escape. Catch him, don't let him get away." No way, they're going to catch me just for spitting. I bolted, but a security guard at the door kicked my legs out from under me and I fell to the ground. The others rushed up and subdued me. This time, they didn't take me back to the hotel. Instead, they pushed me into a Buick GL8 business van. Then Li Xia sat in the second row, on the left side, while I was placed on the right side with my hands and feet tied. Worried that I would move around, they wrapped ropes around me twice. 2 security guards sat in the third row. I turned my head to look at Li Xia beside me and said, "It's not worth killing me to silence me, is it? You wouldn't go as far as killing me to silence me, would you?" Li Xia glared at me with great disgust. "If you dare mention lunch again, I'll have them throw you out of the car right now. But you have to tell me, where are you taking me? You've already caused me enough misery. I've even lost my job," Li Xia said with a cold face. "I don't care at all about your job. But if Jiahao gets hurt, I will definitely take you to court." "Wait, who exactly is Jiahao to you? What happens to him has nothing to do with me. Li Jiahao is my brother. I don't want him to get hurt." "Your brother?" Hearing Li Xia say this, I actually felt a little excited. "Whether your brother is hurt or not has nothing to do with me. Your friend kidnapped my brother and now I'm taking you to swap him out." I looked at Li Xia and asked, "How come I didn't know? I had such a powerful friend. It's that Chen Xiaoji from last night." Holy crap. I felt like my head was going to explode. Didn't we agree last night that this was over? Why did he go after Li Jiahao again? Do you think Li Jiahao is rich and easy to bully? Could my second uncle do something like this? I wasn't quite sure, so I didn't dare ask anything more. We remained silent throughout the journey. He frowned but didn't say anything. Finally arriving at a dilapidated warehouse. A table was set up between 2 cars. On the table were some canned goods and several braised dishes. Round the table lay over a dozen empty beer bottles. Chen Xiaoji sat alone on one side of the square table. Li Jiahao and several others sat on the other 3 sides. These people looked quite pathetic. Every single one of them was bruised and swollen, even Li Jiahao. Seeing this scene, Li Xia couldn't take it anymore. She rushed toward Li Jiahao as soon as she got out of the car. "Jiahao, why were you beaten like this? Who did this?" Her gaze fell upon my second uncle. Second uncle ignored Li Xia completely. The fat security guard kicked me right out of the car. The other two guards dragged me up from the ground and shouted loudly, "Release our young master immediately. Otherwise we will kill the hostage." Second uncle was clearly surprised when he saw this. He frowned but didn't say anything. Second uncle put down his wine glass and stood up. "What's going on?" Li Xia asked, looking at Chen Shaoji. "Was it you who beat my brother like this? Didn't we agree last night that everything was fine?" "Sis, stop talking," Li Jiahao said, standing up with his head bowed. "This isn't his fault, it's mine. The five of us couldn't beat him alone, I deserve it. If I hadn't heard it with my own ears, I wouldn't have believed this was true." These four people Li Jiahao brought. But they were all actually beaten by Chen Shaoji. And they were beaten so thoroughly they were completely convinced. Li Xia's hand trembled with heartache as she touched Li Jiahao's swollen face, asking cautiously, "Does it hurt?" Li Jiahao first nodded and then shook his head, saying, "I'm fine. This wasn't the first time I've been beaten. But you're the first person to truly make me submit, it's not their fault." "Stop, stop, stop," second uncle interrupted Li Jiahao. "Stop, stop, \text stop $, second uncle interrupted Li Jiahao, "Your sister really has a way. We're even after today. Since you let my nephew go, I'll waive the performance fee for today's event. But don't let there be a next time." The fat security guard was being too arrogant in front of Li Xia. Rolling up his sleeves, he said, "They're too cocky, let me go teach him a lesson." Li Xia glared at the fat security guard. Looking at Li Jiahao, she said, "What exactly is your grudge? Can we settle this once and for all today? Stop causing trouble, okay? You're not a kid anymore. Dad told me to take good care of you before he left. Can you please be more capable? I have to take care of you and manage the company. Do you think this is easy for me?" As she spoke, Li Xia actually started crying from grievance. Seeing Li Xia cry, Li Jiahao immediately panicked and pleaded, "Sister, I know I was wrong. Please don't cry, this is my fault. I was beaten last night and I couldn't take it. So I called some buddies today to teach him a lesson. I didn't expect that we were no match for him. The five of us couldn't even beat him alone. I won't cause trouble for you again." I shouted, "Can you guys untie me while you're catching up? I'm still tied up here. My second uncle isn't even tying your brother up. Can you guys keep your word and let me go first?" Li Xia glanced at the fat security guard. The fat security guard quickly untied me. She asked, clearly concerned about her brother, "Why did they block you last night?" "Stop pretending, okay," I shouted. "So they could come to my place and hit me again. Don't tell me you didn't know about this after smashing my phone." Li Xia was completely stunned to hear me say that. She stared at me for a full 3 seconds before turning her head to look at Li Jiahao. "Sis, let me explain," Li Jiahao said, barely daring to look Li Xia in the eye. He spoke in a low voice. "Didn't you tell me you hit someone while driving and asked me to go pick up your ID? I thought you were being scammed and the other party was holding your ID hostage to extort you. So I brought a few buddies to his place. I snatched the ID card back. I was also worried he had your phone number. To prevent you from harassing him, I smashed his phone before leaving." Then Li Jiahao's voice grew smaller and smaller. "And then what happened last night occurred." Li Xia was completely shocked. She looked at me and then at Li Jiahao. The latter was almost hiding his head inside his clothes, looking very frightened. "Do you understand now?" I asked Li Xia. "I don't have time to listen to your explanation." "Then listen to your brother's explanation. Are you clear now? You hit me with your car and even sent people to beat me. And today, your lobby manager even slandered me as a thief. Now the delivery platform has even banned my writer status. Even my job is gone. This is what you all have done. Did I provoke you? Why did you ruin me like this?" "I'm sorry." Li Xia's face turned bright red. Her tone softened as she apologized. "I will compensate you. Don't think you can do whatever you want just because you have some stinking money." After saying that, I walked arrogantly to my second uncle's side. I picked up a bottle of beer and gulped it down. Then I tossed the bottle aside and said to my second uncle, "I didn't realize you were quite a fighter. It's all right." Then I stood up and said to Li Xia, "Young lady, I see you are quite reasonable. Communicating with a reasonable person is much more comfortable. The ones who hit someone with a car were you, and the ones who came to hit people and smash phones were also you. Now you've caused my nephew to lose his job as well. You have to provide some kind of solution. Such a great grievance cannot just be accepted for nothing, right?" Li Xia asked with a red face. My uncle thought for a moment and said, he turned around and went home to treat his father. "Why don't you give him a job?" Li Xia said no. We both spoke almost at the same time. Li Xia glanced at me and whispered, "Our company doesn't hire people with bad character." "What's wrong?" Chen Shaoji asked, very dissatisfied. "Why is my nephew's character so bad?" He, Li Xia grew anxious. Saying with a red face, "He steals my food and gives me the leftovers, ha ha ha." I couldn't help but laugh out loud and said to my second uncle, "Let's go, you don't need to worry about my job." Looking at Li Xia and Li Jiahao, I said, "Let's consider this matter settled, shall we? You won't cause me trouble in the future, right?" Li Xia's face turned red from what I said. Li Jiahao said loudly. Uncle didn't pay attention to Li Jiahao and said to me, "Let's go, it's settled. I'll drive you back." I got into that beat-up Santana. An unexpected delivery encounter. I asked curiously, "Did you really take down that whole group?" Chen Shaoji asked back, "Was that so hard?" I suddenly didn't know what to say. Uncle is amazing. He drove me back to the city. Uncle asked me what my plans were. "Am I going to keep delivering food?" I said. "My writer account has been banned. There's no point in delivering food anymore. I can find another job to support myself." Before leaving, he said the same thing as always. to call him if I needed anything. After getting out of the car, I suddenly felt a sense of lostness I'd never felt before. Before I worked day and night delivering food, hoping that one day I wouldn't be so busy. Now that that day has finally come, I don't know what to do next. I sat on the curb by the back gate of Dianchi Spring Community, looking at this city lonely and cold. Just then a stray dog slowly walked over, circled me once and then sat down by my side. Two strangers, sharing the same loneliness. Lin Yifei feeds the stray dog every day. Because of it, Lin Yifei and I finally put our past grievances aside. After some small talk, we became much closer. I woke up at 7:30 the next morning. I looked for my delivery uniform as usual. Only after finding it did I realize my rider account had been banned. I was no longer eligible to take orders or deliver food today. I suddenly realized my bike was still at the Katy International Hotel. When I was being apprehended yesterday, my electric bike was still there. Now I quickly put on my clothes, took a motorcycle taxi at the community entrance, and headed straight for the Katy International Hotel, inside the guard booth. Of the Katy International Hotel, he was on duty when I saw him. He gripped his rubber baton and asked, "What are you here for again, looking for a beating?" I asked unhappily, "Where is my bike?" "What bike?" the fat guard said, waving his rubber baton threateningly. "There's no bike like that here. Now get lost. I parked it right here yesterday." Fat guard laughed and asked in a very contemptuous tone, "Do you think you can just ask to check the surveillance at this international hotel whenever you want? You think you own the place?" The fat guard continued to mock me, looking very smug. "Go report it to the police station." Before I could even finish my sentence, this fat guy suddenly stood at attention and saluted. Looking very professional. "Is someone coming?" Li Xia's white Range Rover drove over. The car stopped beside me. Sitting inside, she looked at me and asked. I asked irritably, "Do you think I want to come to this crappy place?" "0. A fat security guard leaned in and said, "President Li, don't mind him, just for that crappy car of his. He even wants to pull the surveillance footage from our hotel." "President Li, just focus on your work, I'll handle the car situation." Li Xia looked at the fat security guard and asked, "How are you going to handle it? Where is his car?" The fat security guard said with a wicked grin, "I heard from Zhao Zhang, who was on duty yesterday. I was completely unhappy. You saw my car being violently tossed onto a vehicle by the urban management officers and taken away. Why didn't you say anything? I came to deliver food to you guys. Not only did I lose my job, but couldn't you even help me look for my car?" Fat security guard grinned widely, looking gloating, and even started singing. "All right," Li Xia said, somewhat displeased. "Call the elevator for him and bring him to my office." After saying that, she drove off to the parking lot. "No way," the fat security guard was a bit stunned. "Did I hear that correctly? President Li wants me to take you to her office." Li Xia's office is on the 29th floor. The words "general manager" were hanging on her door. I couldn't tell that Li Xia was actually the general manager. To climb to such a position at such a young age is truly impressive. Li Xia's office is the most luxurious office I have ever seen. Li Xia personally brewed a cup of coffee for me. While handing me the coffee, she asked, "How much was your electric scooter?" I suddenly felt like teasing Li Xia. I looked at her and asked disdainfully, "Money, is money everything to you? I'm telling you, that electric scooter has been through so many ups and downs with me. And as a result, after delivering food to your company once, it met its end. How can you live with yourselves?" Li Xia held a cup of coffee and leaned against her desk. "It seems you and your scooter have a very deep connection. But no matter how deep, it's useless. I can't help you get the scooter back from urban management. Why don't you just be direct? How much compensation do you want from me? Can you say anything other than money?" Li Xia said to me with great pride. Li Xia said to me very arrogantly, "With someone like you whose character is flawed. If my character wasn't flawed, would I steal someone else's takeout?" I'm speechless. Li Xia lifted her wrist to check her watch and said to me, "I don't know where this stubbornness came from. I just wanted to be difficult with Li Xia," and said loudly, "I didn't eat 8,000, okay?" I remained silent. "I'll compensate you 10,000. This time is enough, right? Do you think I'm here for blackmail? Do you really think my character is that bad? Stop talking. If you don't, get out of my office immediately. Don't show up again." I raised my finger and pointed at Li Xia. Pointing at her while stepping back, I dropped a pretentious remark. "Your life is truly pathetic. In your eyes there is only money. What about the heartache of losing a partner? Talking about emotions with you is just a waste of my feelings. Just hold on to your money tight and live your life." "Wait a minute." Li Xia stood behind me and called out to me, saying threateningly, "I'll give you 20,000 yuan in compensation." I didn't need to hear it, so I walked out. Li Xia said behind my back, "Fine, then I owe you a favor. If you ever need my help, I will definitely repay you. Remember my number." After leaving Katy International Hotel, I really wanted to slap myself. That was way too pretentious. Why did I have to act so cool in front of a rich girl like her? It was indeed a perfect performance, but the price was losing 20,000 yuan. How should I comfort myself? I got Li Xia's phone number again. Well, that's the only way I can comfort myself. While walking back, I was casually scrolling through my moments. And unexpectedly saw a post from Liu Jun. It turns out today was his birthday. Liu Jun was my high school classmate. Back in high school, Liu Jun and I were very close. There weren't many boys in the liberal arts class. Seats were arranged by grades, and we were both in the front row. Both Liu Jun and I had top grades. The top student in class was either me or Liu Jun. After high school graduation, Liu Jun scored 590 and entered Yunnan University. Unintelligible text regarding exam scores. I chose to give up because my family couldn't afford the extra tuition. Plus, my father's kidney disease required constant medical expenses. I also thought about working early to help with the household expenses. 4 years ago, Liu Jun came to Kunming for university. And I came to Kunming to work. We used to hang out together a lot when we first arrived. Later, because our social circles were different, we didn't stay as close as we were at first. But the feelings in our hearts remained. When I saw Liu Jun post this update, Liu Jun quickly replied to my WeChat. Chen Fan, are you free tonight? Can you come to my birthday party? Happy birthday, man. It's been almost half a year since we last met, right? I replied, it's been over half a year. He said he can leave school now and is looking for an internship. I asked him if he had any specific interests. He replied that my major in university was business administration. He had already turned down offers from some companies. He wants to find a hotel. Come over tonight if you're free. Let's chat in person. Let me see if you're doing well. If I could have attended university 4 years ago, then today when chatting with friends, I could say with ease, I want to find a job in hotel management. Some people can choose their own lives, while others are destined only to be chosen. A girlfriend. Where would I find a girlfriend? Didn't she promise me one thing, whether I could take Li Xia to dinner today? And introduce Li Xia to Liu Jun while I'm at it. Doesn't Liu Jun want to do hotel management? Li Xia is the general manager of Katy International Hotel. Even if I can't get Liu Jun into Katy International Hotel, at least I can act as a referral. I hope to provide some resources for Liu Jun. I hurriedly called Li Xia. When Li Xia answered my call, she immediately asked, do you regret asking me for that 20,000 yuan? Can you act normal? Am I calling you just to ask for money? Li Xia laughed without hiding it and asked. Then what is it? Didn't you promise me something today? As long as it doesn't violate my principles, you'll agree. Didn't you say that yourself? I did. Accompany me to a friend's birthday party tonight. Just a meal. This request doesn't violate any principles, does it? It's not too much, is it? Just a meal. Li Xia screamed on the other end of the line. You want me to accompany you to dinner? Do you think I have a lot of free time? If you don't want to come, I won't force you. Li Xia, what kind of person are you really? Other than having eyes only for money. Just don't go back on your word. Whether you come or not is up to you. Li Xia was probably angry with me. She said resentfully, I'll have dinner with you tonight, but after this, don't bother me ever again. We'll be even. Don't embarrass me during dinner. And I won't do anything inappropriate to you. I'll just show up as a friend. Li Xia said readily, okay, I get it. See you tonight. I felt a bit of secret joy at having settled things with Li Xia. It had been 6 months, and today was also Liu Jun's birthday. On my way out, I bought a red envelope at the convenience store. Tucked 500 yuan inside. 500 yuan really wasn't a small amount to me. Thinking that Liu Jun's friends might all be college students, and that college students these days tend to be quite generous, I worried my red envelope might be too small and embarrass Liu Jun. Chinese letter a 867 U, Chinese letter a 50, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter a 5050. Li Xia's white Land Rover Range Rover was already parked here. Seeing me appear, she got out of the car and walked toward me. She was actually wearing professional attire. I stood at the door, looking Li Xia up and down. Li Xia glared at me and asked, what are you looking at? I didn't ask you to tell me what to wear. Besides, I really didn't have time to change. After receiving the address you sent, I smiled and said, I can't tell, but you look more elegant in professional attire. This comment earned me another huge eye roll from Li Xia. I led Li Xia into the restaurant's private room. Pushing the door open, I saw Liu Jun sitting in the main seat, chatting with a boy on his left. There were about a dozen people in the room. Seeing me, Liu Jun hurriedly stood up. He greeted me, Chen Fan, you're finally here. We've been waiting for you, come sit here. He signaled the boy beside him to switch seats. I went to the seat the boy had just vacated. I pulled out some cigarettes and offered them to the boy who gave up his seat. He glanced at my Hongtashan cigarettes, then politely pointed to the soft Chunghwa cigarettes on the table, indicating he already had some. Liu Jun then introduced me to the others, saying, let me introduce everyone to Chen Fan. He's my best friend from our high school back in our county. He used to be a top student, scoring over 600 on the college entrance exam. I gave a bitter smile and said to Liu Jun, forget about it. As I spoke, I handed over the red envelope. Liu Jun's fingers lightly squeezed the red envelope. He waved his hand and said to me, Chen Fan, you're too polite. I didn't invite you here today just for you to prepare a red envelope or anything. Thinking that we hadn't seen each other for 6 months. Let's gather around and serve the food first. Let's talk while we drink. Is this your sister-in-law? Li Xia showed no objection to the term sister-in-law. She said with a smile. Liu Jun looked at Li Xia and said proudly, my name is Liu Jun, and I'm majoring in business administration at Yunnan University. I'm childhood friends with Chen Fan. When Liu Jun mentioned his school and major, his voice was particularly loud, showing great pride. Another boy said, serve the food first, serve the food first. The surroundings began to get noisy again. Liu Jun took out his cigarette and handed it to me. He said to me, Chen Fan, if you had insisted on staying in school back then, you wouldn't have had to do food delivery. The girl sitting next to Liu Jun asked with uncontrollable contempt, so the delivery driver's stomach is full now. There are frequent reports online about delivery drivers stealing food. Is that true? Another boy chimed in. Wang Hui, you're making too much of a big deal out of this. Mistaking a client's soup for mouthwash in the elevator. And then spitting it back out is even more disgusting. This industry is such a mess. The platform should really clean things up. Idle people from the streets doing this. If there were good jobs, who would want to be a delivery driver? My face burned with shame. I didn't dare look at the people chatting, and I certainly didn't dare look at Li Xia beside me. Just as everyone was discussing this topic, a girl suddenly looked at Li Xia and asked, "Are you a delivery driver too?" Li Xia asked the girl with a smile. "Chenmo and I are both delivery drivers," the girl said with great envy, delivering food every day in the sun and wind. "And yet you still keep your skin so well maintained. I really envy you." Liu Jun felt quite awkward. He whispered to comfort me, "Chen Fan, don't take it to heart. They don't mean any harm. It's just idle chatter," I said to Liu Jun with a bitter smile. I can understand that I'm not just dealing with Liu Jun. I truly understand that during these years of struggling in Kunming, I've encountered all sorts of people, and college students are the most lawless group. They haven't left campus yet, so few know how to read the room. And few truly care about the feelings of those around them. Each one looks like the pride of their family. After several rounds of drinks, the topics of conversation gradually increased. "How is your father's illness now?" Speaking of this topic, my heart grew heavy. Picked up the wine glass and finished the full glass in one gulp. "There's no hope," I said in a low voice. "A kidney transplant costs hundreds of thousands. My family simply can't afford it. Besides, a transplant isn't something you can get just by having money. Still need to find a match. I've been undergoing conservative treatment all these years. Going to the hospital for dialysis every week." Liu Jun let out a long sigh. "You scored over 600 on the college entrance exam back then, so why didn't you persist with university? I remember the whole school even held a fundraiser for you. That money was meant for your education." I interrupted Liu Jun and said, "I used the money for my dad's medical bills. Do you regret it? If you had gone to school back then, you would have had much better options now." I shook my head and lit the cigarette Liu Jun handed me. "Even if I were given 100 more choices," I said desolately, "I would still use the money for my dad's treatment." "How can you be so unreasonable?" the girl sitting on the other side of Liu Jun said in a lecturing tone. "You should have used the money for school. Get into a prestigious university first, then get your diploma and bachelor's degree. That way you'd have many more job options. It wouldn't be like this." Li Xia, who hadn't been speaking, finally spoke up. "Never judge people or things you don't understand. You might be right, but not under any circumstances." That girl rolled her eyes dismissively. Liu Jun stopped her and said, "Liu Ruyan, stop talking. Chen Fan's father fell ill years ago. His mother stays home to care for his critically ill father. The whole family is relying on him alone right now." Liu Ruyan muttered disdainfully. "What can I say?" I felt my hand holding the wine glass trembling. Suddenly a pair of hands, feeling very soft and warm, rested on the back of my hand. I turned my head and saw Li Xia looking at me. Her eyes were very gentle. Liu Ruyan gave us a contemptuous look, then asked, "Did you send out all the resumes I told you to last week?" "I've already received an interview notice." "What about you? Did you get one?" Liu Jun mysteriously opened his phone and held it in front of Liu Ruyan, saying with slight excitement, "Look, the interview notice. It came in this noon. I'm going tomorrow morning." "That's great." Liu Ruyan was very happy. She hugged Liu Jun and gave him a kiss, saying with great expectation, "I believe we will definitely be hired by this hotel." The girl sitting opposite us asked, "What's going on with you two? Why are you so happy?" Liu Ruyan said with great pride, "Liu Jun and I applied to the same place. The hotel we like most. Notified us to go for an interview tomorrow. Congratulations. Let's all raise a glass to celebrate. Having a high degree is great. You can choose any industry you like. Liu Jun, you rejected so many good companies for your sake. Liu Ruyan, you have to work hard after dinner. The second half of the night is KTV. The KTV was about 2 kilometers away. When leaving the restaurant private room, his college classmates walked ahead, while Li Xia and I walked at the back. I whispered to Li Xia, "Dinner is over. You kept your promise to me. Don't worry about me." "Thank you for keeping your word," Li Xia asked softly. "Are you going to attend their second half?" I shook my head, looking for an excuse to slip away. "We have nothing in common to talk about," Li Xia said to me, pouting. "Where are you going? I'll give you a ride." At the restaurant entrance, Liu Jun had already flagged down 3 taxis. The first taxi already had 4 passengers. 2 people were in the second, and another couple was about to get in. That left 5 people, Li Xia and I, Liu Jun and Liu Ruyan. "Let's all squeeze in. We'll tell the driver it's a short trip." Li Xia smiled and said, "Sichuan DB 837. Thank you, Sichuan Q 8008. Chen Mo and I have other things to do. Sichuan DB 837, let's meet another day." Liu Jun said with slight disappointment. Since it was a rare gathering, Liu Ruyan secretly pinched Liu Jun and said to him, "Don't force them. It's late and it's prime time for late-night snack deliveries. We can complete more orders tonight." I said to Liu Jun, "Since we're all in Kunming anyway, we'll head back first," Liu Jun said, bidding us farewell reluctantly. "Let me call a taxi for you. Take your time on the way. No need to take a taxi." As she spoke, Li Xia pressed a remote. The white Range Rover parked beside us, flashed its lights, and then she waved friendly to Liu Jun, saying, "Goodbye." Liu Jun and Liu Ruyan's expressions were a bit stiff. Li Xia and I walked side by side toward the Range Rover. As I opened the door, I heard Liu Ruyan behind us say in a tone of jealousy and resentment, "That childhood friend of yours is definitely just borrowing a car to show off." I didn't know what was being said after that because I was already sitting in Li Xia's car. I leaned back against the seat and closed my eyes. I can't see my own future. When the pressure of life becomes suffocating, I can only lick my wounds in the darkness. I don't want Li Xia to see my tears. I rolled down the window and let the wind dry them. Li Xia's voice came from the other end. I got out of the car and said goodbye to Li Xia. Before I left, Li Xia called out to me and asked, "Chenmo, do I still owe you anything?" I stopped in my tracks, turned around and looked at her. I shook my head and said. A relaxed smile appeared at the corner of Li Xia's mouth. She said goodbye calmly. I slept until late the next day. I was woken up by a ringing phone and I didn't even check who it was. Out of professional habit, I answered the call. Li Xia's voice came through the phone. She asked. I asked groggily, what does my laziness have to do with you? Can you do me a favor? What is it? Come to my company to meet me and I'll tell you. If you want to refuse, I won't force you. I hesitated for a few seconds before saying to Li Xia, wait for me. Li Xia smiled. Inside Li Xia's office, she was sitting at her desk. Operating her computer and processing files, I walked up to her desk, leaned on the table with both hands and looked at her asking, is there something important that requires my help? Li Xia put down her mouse, leaned back in her chair and crossed her arms. The HR department has a few interviews today. I want to ask for your help. Today you'll act as our HR manager. See if these people are worth hiring, I asked, looking at Li Xia. You're not joking, are you, asking me to be an interviewer? Li Xia said very calmly. I'm not joking. You can start the interviews right now. My assistant Xiao Ru will assist you throughout the process. Actually, being an interviewer isn't that hard, you just need to look at the candidates. If they seem good, they can stay for the internship period. If they don't, you can just let them go. It's all based on feeling. I looked at Li Xia completely confused. I really don't understand why you want me to help you with interviews. Do you have some special motive? Mysterious smile appeared at the corner of Li Xia's mouth. She stood up and said, I'll have Xiao Ru take you to the HR office. You'll understand why I asked you to interview in a moment. Driven by curiosity, I followed Xiao Ru to the interview office. There were 4 sets of documents on the desk. Xiao Ru introduced. Only these 4 people passed the preliminary test. But in the end, our company can only keep 2. Take a look at their profiles first. I'll go out and arrange to notify the 4 of them to come in for interviews one by one. You will decide which 2 to keep in the end. This is President Li's intention. I opened the first interviewee's resume. Candidate ID, 2 years of hotel management experience at age 26. Graduate of Southwest University of Political Science and Law. Second resume is for a girl. Number 6 from the School of Business Administration, no impressive academic background. No impressive academic background, but the personal profile is written very humbly. Very low profile girl. When I flipped to the 3rd resume, I was shocked. I suddenly realized something and quickly opened the 4th file. The placement information, sure enough, it had Liu Ruyan's photo on it. Last night, they were excitedly talking at the dinner table about receiving interview invitations from a hotel. They were so thrilled, and it turned out they were talking about Katy International Hotel. And now Li Xia wants me to interview them. What does she mean by this? I pondered for a moment. I seemed to understand Li Xia's good intentions. A moment later, my assistant Xiaoru returned to the office and said to me, I have arranged everything. I nodded and said to Xiaoru, let all 4 of them come in at once. Come in together. A hint of distrust flashed in their eyes simultaneously. They seemed to be questioning. Are you actually going to interview me? She insisted. Since he said so, Xiaoru had no more doubts. She pushed the door open and upon re-entering, all 4 interviewees were brought in. In front of the 4 people, Xiaoru introduced. This is Director Chen from our company's HR department. Whether those 2 stay today is entirely up to Director Chen. After the introduction, she returned to her desk and sat to my left. She used her hands to operate the computer to take live notes. Chen Fan Liu Jun couldn't help but call out my name. I smiled and nodded, my eyes scanning the group. I noticed that on Liu Ruyan's face, there was an irrepressible excitement, as if she were determined to win. I said pretentiously, please sit everyone, I've reviewed all of your resumes. To make it through the company's multiple interview rounds proves that you are all the elite among this group. Even if you ultimately cannot fulfill this position, it is also proof of your excellence. There are only 2 positions available in the company right now. Liu Ruyan said proudly. This sentence drew dissatisfied looks from the other man. Liu Jun hurriedly pulled Liu Ruyan and whispered, don't talk nonsense, and then apologize to that man. The other girl, however, had no reaction, as if she hadn't heard Liu Ruyan's words. I picked up the water cup in front of me, took a sip and continued. The final interview question is very simple. If your monthly salary is 5,000, the first option is a single room in a village in the city, with a monthly rent of 500. The second option is a shared apartment in a residential community, with a monthly rent of 1,000. The third is renting your own apartment in a residential community, with a monthly rent of 2,500. Which would you choose? Liu Ruyan was the first to speak. I want the apartment for 2,500. I want a good environment and independent living space. What about you, Liu Jun? Liu Jun scratched his head and said. I turned my gaze toward the 3rd girl. This was the first time I had heard her voice. It was delicate and gentle as she said cautiously, I would choose to share an apartment with others. After all, the living environment is important. The roommates should be friends with similar income levels and values. We would get along well and could expand my social circle. Finally, the man said firmly, I would choose the village in the city. After all, 5,000 a month isn't much. Instead of spending it on housing, it's better to spend it on socializing with others. All four of them had shared their thoughts. I said to Zio Ru beside me, let's end today's interview here. Zio Ru looked at me and asked, the results will be announced tomorrow morning. Zio Ru stood up and said, thank you all very much. As for which two will be hired, you will be notified by phone tomorrow morning. Whether you stay or go depends on Director Chen's final choice. Thank you everyone. Please follow me. Man followed right after Zio Ru. Then came by Peipei and Liu Ruyan, seeing the first two leave. He suddenly rushed to the table where I was sitting, and said with an excited face, how are you here? It's so great that you're interviewing. The corners of my mouth curled up slightly, unsure of what to say. Liu Jun pulled Liu Ruyan and said, Ruyan, let's go. Chen Fan, do you have time tonight? I said to Liu Jun, I'm off work, I'll contact you. Liu Ruyan said with great confidence, clinging to Liu Jun's arm. Your friend is actually the HR director of Katie Hotel. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Chen Fan is truly capable. We should keep in touch often. All four people walked out of the interview office. I sat in my chair and pondered for a moment. Then I stood up and walked toward Li Xia's office. When I entered, Li Xia was staring at her computer. I could even hear my own voice. Seeing me enter, Li Xia said with a smile. Not bad, Chen Fan, your final question was very unique. You could derive a lot of meaning from a simple view on housing. I frowned and asked, you saw all that? Li Xia turned her computer screen toward me and said to me, so that office had a camera. I was a bit speechless. Was this a lack of trust in me? Li Xia took the lead in explaining. Don't misunderstand, our interview office has always had cameras. Sometimes there are many people for the first and second rounds. There's no other way to make a decision. The HR staff needs to review the interview recordings several times before making a final decision. I gave an affirmative response. Li Xia asked with a smile. Which two do you think should be kept? By Peipei and Liu Jun, Li Xia asked, and the reason. If you don't keep Liu Ruyan, aren't you afraid your childhood friend Liu Jun will be upset with you? Habitually, I took out a cigarette and put it in my mouth. As I was about to light it, I realized this might be inappropriate. After all, I was in someone else's office, so I put the lighter away. Li Xia spoke. I lit the cigarette and said to Li Xia, I understand why you asked me to come today. Thank you for your kind intentions. You are good to me. But regardless of the resume or words, they showed no good manners. They were very humble and their image is good. They are very approachable, although Liu Jun lacks work experience. His outlook and values are very upright. Setting aside personal relationships, I also suggest you keep him. As for what you just asked about not keeping Liu Ruyan, and whether it would make Liu Jun unhappy, I can only say I won't use your kindness toward me to do something that is detrimental to your company's development. That is also why I didn't announce the results just now. The final decision on who to use should be yours. Li Xia leaned back in her chair and looked at me, saying, after seeing the resumes this morning, I was a bit surprised by such a coincidence. That's why I called you to come over. From the interview just now you can see. From being a delivery driver yesterday, to being the HR director today. With just a simple change. Some people's attitudes toward you are completely different. This society is very realistic. And the people living in it are very hypocritical. I understand your good intentions. But you've also put me in a deadlock. Liu Jun and Liu Ruyan both think that I can decide whether they stay or leave, so it's very awkward now. Li Xia said with an indifferent look. If you find it difficult, then just keep both Liu Jun and Liu Ruyan. I support over 100 people in the Katie Hotel. I don't care about having one more Liu Ruyan, it's up to you. I glanced at Li Xia, truly speechless. I turned toward the door and said with my back to her, do whatever you want. I'm leaving, don't drag me into this. I'm not playing along with you anymore, wait. Li Xia called out to me from behind, if you think that as his best childhood friend, Liu Jun cannot understand why you didn't hire Liu Ruyan. Because this matter caused a rift between you, I feel there's no need to continue your friendship. You must know exactly what Liu Ruyan is like. Besides, do you think Liu Jun will be happy being with a hypocritical girl like Liu Ruyan? We outsiders have no right to comment on matters of the heart. But regarding character, which is so obvious, shouldn't you say a word or two for your friend? I stood there after hearing everything Li Xia said. Not wanting to say much, I opened the office door and walked out. Li Xia's voice came from behind me. Since you've started this, see it through to the end. I don't want you to leave the task you promised me half finished. Just like how I stayed with you until the end. At that dinner party yesterday that I disliked so much. You announce the interview results tomorrow. If you don't show up, I will hire Liu Jun and Liu Ruyan. Li Xia's kindness had handed me a hot potato. And I didn't know how to face Liu Jun and Liu Ruyan. I can ignore Liu Ruyan's feelings. But I don't want to make things difficult for Liu Jun. Tonight's dinner might be very awkward. Even knowing it will be awkward, I cannot avoid it. At 4:30 p.m. Liu Jun called me. Asking when I would get off work, I told Liu Jun it was fine now. He was very happy to hear that. And asked where we should meet. I told Liu Jun to come to Paris Spring. A very ordinary small restaurant outside the residential area. I'm treating tonight, Liu Jun said he'd be there soon. After saying that, he hung up the phone. I don't know what will happen tonight. Whether our decade-long friendship will collapse or become even stronger, I have no way of knowing. After all, we have both been changing over the years. Our social circles have also gradually drifted apart. There are some things I don't know how to say. All I can do is pray. At 5:30, Liu Jun and Liu Ruyan appeared at the restaurant. I suddenly felt very nervous. I want to preserve this friendship, but I don't want to betray Li Xia's kindness to me. I was caught in a dilemma. After the dishes were served, the topics they discussed with me never strayed from Katy International Hotel. They asked about the environment, the salary, and the overall company structure. There were many questions I didn't know and couldn't answer. I could only smile awkwardly and change the subject. Both Liu Jun and Liu Ruyan could see I was avoiding it. The atmosphere during dinner remained awkward. Everyone felt suppressed. Liu Ruyan was the first to break. Holding her chopsticks, she said in a strange tone, Liu Jun, it seems Chen Fan doesn't really want you to work at Katy. Don't think that way. Whether you two can work at Katy is not something I can decide. Liu Ruyan emphasized, you're the one who interviewed us today. They say that Zio Ru is the assistant to the Katy general manager. She even said you could decide whether we stay or go. So how is it not your decision? I felt like I could never clear my name. Liu Jun looked at me very sincerely and said, this job is very important to both me and Ruyan. Although there are several five-star hotels in Kunming, after comparing them, we found Katy is the best place for our development. Why? I looked at Liu Jun confused. As you said, there are so many five-star hotels in Kunming. Why must you come to Katy? Liu Jun said mysteriously. You must have heard right, Li Dezhang, the CEO of Katy Group, died after a plane crash in Hawaii. When rescue efforts failed, it's said that the person managing Katy Hotel now is Li Dezhang's illegitimate daughter. She is making major personnel changes to build her own team and establish her authority at a time like this. She needs more fresh blood. The reason we chose Katy is because we saw this opportunity. Heroes emerge in turbulent times. I want to go and take a chance with Ruyan. Rather than working at a peaceful company, it's better to enter an environment of conflict and interest to prove your own value. I can understand Liu Jun's thinking. This is indeed an opportunity to show one's ability. I really don't want to recruit Liu Ruyan out of conscience. I advised him very tactfully, saying that a peaceful working environment is actually quite good, without so much infighting. If possible. During the meal, I didn't give Liu Jun a clear answer. I just told Liu Jun and Liu Ruyan to go home and wait for a call. Recalling that scene at the abandoned warehouse in the suburbs, Li Xia said to Li Jiahao, if my guess is correct, the illegitimate daughter Liu Jun mentioned is very likely Li Xia. After returning home, I went to the balcony and called Li Xia. Li Xia asked on the other end, it's so late, is something wrong? Is it about the recruitment again? Liu Jun and Liu Ruyan treated me to dinner tonight. You can probably guess what was said. I think this joke should end here. It's getting a bit too much. I've shown you the interview footage, so I believe you know better who should be hired. Liu Jun and Bai Pei are the most suitable. At least that's what I think. I'll have to trouble you to clear up this misunderstanding. Li Xia asked in a very dissatisfied tone. Chen Mo, let me ask you, how is the thing I asked you to do going? I skipped such an important meeting just to have dinner with you. I hate dinner parties so much, yet I stayed until the end. I even endured being looked down upon like a delivery guy, all because of what I promised you. I will definitely follow through. Now you promised to do something for me, and you're planning to give up halfway. Stop it, okay? I know you just want to help me vent my anger. I appreciate your good intentions. But now this situation has taken a substantive turn, and it's about to hurt my friendship. Li Xia said assertively, hiring both Liu Jun and Liu Ruyan at the same time. I've given you the authority, so can you stop being so stubborn? The company is yours. Are you joking with yourself? No, said Li Xia on the other end, whether she was angry or intentionally provoking me. To get revenge on you for what you did to my food. Come to my office tomorrow morning. Make the hiring calls yourself, and notify those too. That way the thing you promised me will be done. If you want to admit you're a man, don't do things halfway. After saying that, Li Xia hung up the phone. I suddenly felt like I was caught in a trap. There was no way out. I lay in bed wondering what to do. It was a difficult problem facing me. Next day in Li Xia's office, I really disliked the way she looked at me. It was mocking. A landline phone sat on the desk. Li Xia sat across from me, separated by a tea table. I stared at the phone, feeling conflicted. Just make the call, Li Xia said, appearing calm. Even if you told Liu Jun or Liu Ruyan right now that you aren't the HR director, they wouldn't believe you, am I right? I asked Li Xia angrily. In reality, you didn't want to help me regain my confidence in public. You just wanted to put me in a dilemma. Li Xia's mouth opened, and a flash of disappointed affection crossed her eyes. She said dismissively, think whatever you want. After saying that, she rose from the guest sofa and returned to her desk. Now, even if I told Liu Jun or Liu Ruyan that I wasn't the HR director, since that's the case, why hesitate? I picked up the landline and dialed the extension. This call was made directly to Zioru. Holding the phone, I said to Zioru, notify Liu Jun that he's hired. Okay, Zioru asked on the other end. I felt my hand holding the phone trembling. Meanwhile, Li Xia's gaze never left me. Zioru asked on the other end, Director Chen, who else should stay? The name of the second person to stay, Liu Ruyan, was on the tip of my tongue. But I couldn't say it. Zioru's voice came through again, reminding me. When I said the name Bai Pei, I felt a sense of relief. I realized my entire back was covered in sweat. I understand. I'll call to notify Liu Jun and Bai Pei. Report to the HR department on Monday. It's fine, I'm hanging up now. I was the first to put down the phone. I leaned back on the sofa, looking up at the ceiling. I heard Li Xia's footsteps approaching. She sat on the sofa in front of me again and said to me, actually, this was a test for you. I gave a dry laugh. Don't make up those unrealistic excuses to comfort me. I'm not a 3-year-old child. I just wanted to get back at you for teasing me. If I could, I really wish I could go back to a few days ago. I won't lie and say I ate your food. In fact, I didn't do that. Li Shia said indifferently. There aren't that many what-ifs in the world. Actually, I'm quite glad you told that lie. It gave us more chances to interact. Anyway, I shouldn't have given you such a difficult test. Before Li Shia could finish speaking, my phone rang. The call was from Liu Jun. As soon as I answered, I heard Liu Jun asking, Chen Fan, can you tell me why this is happening? Li Shia was sitting across from me, so I couldn't explain much. I could only say to Liu Jun, I'll call you later, okay, I'll wait. After finishing the call, Li Shia said to me, then I'll explain why I did this. Whether or not you are willing to forgive me, I will still be grateful for everything you did for me today. Chen Fan looked at Li Shia. Her face showed a hint of guilt and some helplessness. I said softly, I've given you such a difficult problem. You're still thinking of me at the critical moment. The company has run into some issues recently. We are currently making personnel adjustments in various departments. I hope to have friends around me who are willing to truly look out for me. It doesn't matter, I can just resign in a month. Speaking of which, Li Shia paused for a moment. She carefully watched my expression. Then she continued, during your interview yesterday, I was surprised that you didn't announce your decision to stay on the spot, Liu Ruyan. Back in my office, you told me that Liu Ruyan is not suitable. In the end, you didn't disappoint me, you stuck with the right choice. This choice was very difficult for you. Perhaps because of this, you will break ties with your childhood friend. I want to know why you insisted on it in the end. Did you do this for me? A disdainful smile curled at the corner of my mouth. Don't overthink it, I have my own principles. I just didn't want to go against my conscience. Great, Li Shia said happily. That's exactly what I need from you. What are we talking about? I pulled out a cigarette and put it in my mouth. Li Shia couldn't help but frown. I said loudly, I'm not your employee right now. You can't control me. It doesn't matter, Li Shia said calmly. You were smoking in my office yesterday too. It seems smoking helps stimulate your thinking more. All positions in the company are currently undergoing a major reshuffle. Which department do you want to join? Which department are you interested in? What industry did you work in before? Any experience, like the kind of delivery driver who steals food? Li Shia glared at me intensely and said to me, I've done delivery and I've worked as a server in KTVs. I've even carried bricks at construction sites. The more I spoke, the less confident I felt. Anyway, I've done every low-end job out there. If you really want to give me a job opportunity, just say it, Li Shia said encouragingly. Just tell me what you want to do and I'll make sure the salary is satisfying. It won't be lower than what you make delivering food. Don't underestimate me, I make 6,000 or 7,000 a month doing deliveries. If you give me 8,000, I'll become a security guard. At that moment, Li Shia's expression was indescribable. She stared for a long time before asking, does being a security guard include free food and housing? Is there a perfect attendance bonus? How is the shift scheduled? How many hours do I work and how many hours do I rest? There is time to rest. Being a security guard sounds pretty good. Come to work on Monday. I'll have Zyoro personally arrange your security duties. The company provides food and housing, but the room is a dormitory. It's just a single bed space. It's fine for resting occasionally. How exactly is the security department's shift schedule arranged? I'm not very sure, my subordinates are in charge of that. Speaking of which, Li Shia raised her wrist to check the time and said to me, let's have lunch together. These words triggered. I had lunch at the hotel at noon. Bring me a security uniform, tell her I can come to see Zyoro in this outfit on Monday. She will arrange my position. I also asked Li Shia if a security guard really gets a salary of 8,000. Li Shia calmly said yes. After returning home, I changed into the security uniform in my bedroom. SECURITY, looking in the mirror, I felt exceptionally sharp, SECURIT. Just as I was lost in my own thoughts, Liu Jun called me again. After I explained Li Shia's background to him, he understood. Monday morning 8:00 a.m. I found Zyoro wearing my security uniform. After looking me over, she even complimented me on being handsome. But I said it was too low class. If I were in charge of uniforms, I would definitely have all the security guards wear combat gear. That would be truly handsome. Unexpectedly, she smiled and said, once I take office, I can go and change the security department's uniforms. Then she took me to the security department on the second floor. She knocked directly on the deputy manager's office door. The person inside didn't even look up. Zyoro's calm words instantly made him panic, put away his phone and stand up. Zyoro introduced me to Minister Cao, telling him he must cooperate with my work as the new minister. After the introductions, Zyoro took me to another office. This office was spacious and tidy. I never dreamed that. Just a few days ago, I was still a delivery man, but today I had my very own office. Zyoro handed me the keys. The security department is in your hands. If you encounter any difficulties, contact me directly. Have Minister Cao send a set of documents over in a moment. There will be many trivial tasks, but I won't let you and Li Shia down. I wish you a happy work life. Unexpectedly, before I could even settle in, there was a knock on the door. Security, there's a disturbance with a guest outside. Shouldn't guests causing trouble contact the lobby manager? A guest at the Daikai International Hotel is causing trouble, and they want the security department to handle it, a guard said impatiently while smoking. They've blocked the parking lot entrance with their car. Minister Cao is waiting there, asking me to get a solution from you. When I rushed over, I found out a BMW was blocking the exit. The owner was cursing, claiming his car had been scratched. The main issue was there was no surveillance, and the camera at his spot happened to be broken. Minister Cao pointed at me. Don't worry. The owner raged, are you in charge? Give me an explanation, how are you going to compensate me? Good grief. He was trying to intimidate me, just as I was at a loss. A beautiful woman appeared, saying she was the one who caused the scratch. She had mistaken the BMW for her ex-husband's. Thus my first crisis as manager was resolved. Unexpectedly, shortly after I returned to my office, the company's big boss Lee Mingquan arrived with Minister Cao. And the director. Lee Mingquan gave me a glance and said indifferently, dismissed. Arrange for Cao Yaowei to serve as the head of security. I was stunned, I had just taken office. Fortunately, Xiaoru and Li Xia walked in at that moment. Xiaoru smiled and said, the man in the suit looked slightly surprised. Xia, did you arrange this? Li Xia said calmly. There have been many security complaints at the hotel recently. Dismissing the former manager didn't solve the problem. So I personally arranged someone to take charge. Brother, Lee Mingquan immediately gave an awkward laugh. Of course, no problem, but changing a department head should be decided by the board, right? Li Xia remained poised. There's no need for that trouble, it won't be too late to hold a meeting during the formal appointment. I think a disobedient deputy manager is unnecessary. Do you think we should dismiss you? Cao Yaowei was startled and looked at Lee Mingquan. Xiaoru signaled me with her eyes to stay quiet. The man quickly said, the new manager isn't familiar with the business yet. He needs old Cao's help. Li Xia said to him, then we'll do it your way. Give Cao Yaowei one more chance. As Lee Mingquan left, he gave me a deep, cold stare. I later learned he was Li Xia's half-brother, Lee Mingquan. After Li Dezhong passed away, he left the company to his illegitimate daughter, Li Xia. Lee Mingquan appeared to assist her, but in reality, he used Li Xia's personnel changes to cause shareholder dissatisfaction. As his own popularity grew, Li Xia's position became precarious. When I returned home that night, exhaustion hit me. I fell asleep directly on the sofa. It was Lin Yifei who woke me up, and I even got to share a meal with her. Ever since we cleared up our misunderstanding over the stray dog, our relationship has grown closer. After dinner, a sudden call from my second uncle woke me up. He asked me to join him for drinks at a bar, which was perfect since I wanted to relax too. I casually invited Lin Yifei to join us. Unexpectedly, she agreed. My second uncle led me to a booth in the bar. There are also 3 men and 1 woman inside. The woman had a great figure. Chen Xiaoji introduced her. This is Sister Hua. I raised my glass. To you 3 brothers. Yin Yihu looked puzzled. Chen Xiaoji, he's making me call you guys brothers. I can't let you take advantage of me for free. I'll have to drink a few more rounds with you. Everyone laughed. Yin Yihu said to Chen Xiaoji, you're so mean, your nephew is much more interesting than you. Little brother, let me drink a cup with you. During our chat, I learned that these people are all fitness club coaches. Chen Xiaoji teaches Sanda there. Everyone drink as you please. No one is forcing anyone to drink. I really like this atmosphere. While we were chatting happily, Li Jiahao suddenly appeared. He picked up a bottle of beer on the table and drained it in one gulp. Panting, he said to Chen Xiaoji, brother Jai. I finished 300 push-ups. I froze. Li Jiahao picked up another beer and said to me, I apologize, we'll become friends through fighting. After saying that, he tilted his head back and drank. I looked at my second uncle, he gave a faint smile. My members learned Sanda from me. Li Jiahao downed another bottle. I've never respected anyone except brother Jai. Don't take it to heart. We're all men. I moved closer to Lin Yifei and raised my glass. A toast to you. Li Jiahao hardly finished his 3rd bottle. While chatting, I asked which department he worked in at Dicky. He shook his head. I don't like being a Dicky. Why isn't Dicky your family's company? Your sister is the chairman and general manager. Li Jiahao sighed softly. I've achieved nothing since I was a child. It wasn't until my mother passed away that she told us our father was Li Dezhong. He was quite good to us. He passed away unexpectedly early this year. He divided the shares of Dicky into 3 parts. 1 for me and 1 each for my half-brother Li Mingquan and my sister. But he made my sister the chairman. However, after working there for a week, I found that the people in the company were not friendly. It even became a reason for others to attack my sister. So I just resigned. Picking up a beer bottle, he asked, do you think I'm particularly useless? I clinked glasses with him. Don't think that way. If you can't stand the schemes and frauds, it just means you have a pure personality. It means you have a pure personality. Li Jiahao patted his chest. We've made friends through fighting. If you ever need anything, just ask. After drinking, I told him, your sister arranged for me to work in the security department at Dicky. Working as a security guard in the security department. Choosing a different department was my own choice. There are so many departments in J Hotel. Why did you choose security? I lit a cigarette and said helplessly. Your sister has been good enough to me, even letting me be the head of the security department. I am already very satisfied. Li Jiahao gave a forced laugh. To be honest, did anyone give you a hard time on your first day? If not, I'll drink 3 more bottles. Everyone's eyes focused on me. I smiled bitterly. I asked the quiet Chen Xiaoji what was going on. I recounted what happened today. And added, don't just resort to violence all the time. Violence isn't the solution to this. I want to do my job well and treat this as a challenge. If I can't even handle something this small, I'll lose respect for myself. To survive in an environment, violence won't solve the problems. Silent Chen Xiaoji suddenly spoke up. To undermine his authority, I repeated the specific methods I was pondering in my head. It's easier said than done. Yu Zhuang on Chen Shaoji's right said with a smile. There are dozens of people in the security department. Some are only here because of power. When you show strength and attitude, people will naturally switch sides. As a leader, personal charisma is more important than suppressing them with power. Why not give them a reason to revolt? The more I thought about it, the more it made sense. I couldn't sleep that night. I kept pondering my next plan. First thing in the morning, I messaged Li Xia. I want to lead the Dikai security department properly. I hope you can support me. I received no response even after arriving at the company. I couldn't help but feel a bit uneasy. After a simple meeting, as expected. As expected, not everyone was on Minister Cao's side. The young man who was on duty when the monitor malfunctioned that day was fired directly by me. Because of this, Cao Yaowei had a huge argument with me. Not long after, someone from the HR department came to find me. Li Mingquan disagreed with firing that security guard. Fortunately, Liu Xiaoru appeared at the right time. The HR person looked troubled. I'll go back and talk to the director, I said, after she left. Liu Xiaoru smiled and said, you've noticed it too. This isn't just about firing a security guard. It's a clash of the powers behind the scenes. I took a deep breath. But I support you. Liu Xiaoru's phone suddenly rang. She picked up, said a few words and hung up. If this escalates, the board will use it as an excuse to make things difficult for Xia. She wants you to be prepared. What's going on, security? I asked Liu Xiaoru. Liu Xiaoru explained, Li Mingquan is unhappy that you fired an old employee as soon as you took office. He's using this opportunity to call a board meeting. The meeting is at 2 p.m. This all started because of you. You must be there. Whether you can turn the tide depends on you. I felt a bit nervous. You just need to convince the majority to support you. Xia will be fine. If we fail, Li Mingquan will take the opportunity to elect a new general manager or even chairman. Xia cannot lose control of Dikai. I understand. I took a deep breath. After Liu Xiaoru left, I went to Defense Road to buy combat gear for SCURTY. I chose a lightweight and breathable style for 1,228 yuan. It feels like wearing special forces gear. 29th floor meeting room. A shareholder asked Li Xia with dissatisfaction. Is this person young enough to be reliable? An older shareholder spoke up. There must be a reason for being late since the meeting is for her. Since the meeting is about him, let's hear it. What exactly did you do? Li Mingquan sighed. It wasn't much, just firing old employees on my second day in office. Xia lacks talent in management and is conducting massive layoffs. I am worried about the future of Dikai. So I wanted to discuss the company's development. This was too obvious. He wanted to impeach Li Xia. As soon as Li Mingquan finished speaking, a shareholder spoke up. Well said. We follow the late chairman's last wishes, but we support those who are capable, whether it is Li Xia or not. Someone who can make everyone submit. I support it, thank you everyone. Li Xia said, I am replacing the head of the security department. I walked to the empty seat next to Li Xia. Looking around at everyone, I personally went to Yufeng Road this morning to buy this gear. I believe the image of the security guards represents the image of the hotel. The current security guards wear shirts and trousers. Looking lazy and unworthy of Dikai. I plan to have all security guards switch to combat uniforms. Participate in daily training. Lead everyone in training to establish a good image. As for firing the old employees, it's like this. Let me briefly explain yesterday's situation. Someone who can't even monitor the surveillance has no need to stay in the security department. I want to build an elite team and eliminate those who are just coasting along. I hope everyone gives me their support. I am confident I can lead the security department well, thank you, everyone. As soon as I finished speaking, an elderly man was the first to clap. Li Jiahao followed immediately, and others joined in the applause. Then I said to everyone, please excuse me for a moment, and then left the meeting room. Back in the office, I found 6 or 7 self-recommendation letters on the floor. They were all from security guards wanting to be team leaders. While I was looking at the letters, Li Xia walked in. Her face looked exhausted from today's board meeting. Are you okay? Li Xia forced a bitter smile. Interrupting me, the board meeting was fine. Everyone approved of your idea and supports your work in the security department. However, they are only giving you a 1-month probation period. Whether you can make the most of it. I said softly, thank you for giving me this opportunity. If I deliver food to you again in the future, I promise I won't steal anymore. This earned me a huge eye roll from Li Xia. Li Xia stayed in the office for about 10 minutes. After some small talk, she left. I organized the recommendation letters and locked the door. My heart was filled with passion. But I knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy. When I got home, my uncle called. He asked how things were going today. He suggested I sideline Cao Yaowei immediately and train the 3 group leaders to be my own people. Give them enough authority. He explained that since I was new and unfamiliar with the situation, giving the group leaders real power would make them value their jobs more. Chen Shaoji's words were a wake-up call. That night, I formulated a management plan. When I arrived at the company the next day, there was a group leader named He Dazhuang. He is a veteran. During the afternoon general meeting, I announced the appointments of the 3 group leaders in front of Cao Yaowei. I emphasized that members must obey their group leaders unconditionally, and that group leaders would face double the punishment for mistakes. Cao Yaowei challenged me on the spot. Director Chen, do you even respect me? Why didn't you discuss such a big matter with me? All the security guards' eyes were fixed on me. I gave a faint smile. You are the deputy director. You should be the one discussing matters with me. If anyone encounters difficulties in work or life, you can report directly to your group leader or to Director Cao. If they can't solve it, the group leader can report it to me for resolution. That is all for today's meeting. Cao Yaowei was so angry his face turned pale. Afterward, I went to Liu Xiaoru to request funds for custom uniforms. She told me I needed to follow the financial procedure. I went to Guofeng Road to discuss procurement with the owner. The next day, the owner of the military supply store personally brought the items with his staff. After checking the goods, I casually invited him to sit in my office. He didn't stand on ceremony and followed me inside. Then he actually locked the door, two men locking the door in broad daylight. I was wondering if he was gay. When he pulled an envelope out of his pocket, he placed it on the table and smiled. Director Chen. What is this? I asked. The owner smiled. Director Chen, please look after me in the future. Next time, if the invoice price is a bit higher, I can give you more commission. I opened the envelope. Inside was a stack of 100 yuan bills. I couldn't help but feel tempted. My father needs money for weekly dialysis. I used to work delivery jobs from dawn till dusk. I never thought making money could be this easy. One part of me was struggling, while another voice reminded me that Li Xia would be disappointed if she knew. After much hesitation, I decided to hand the money over to the finance department. Gaining trust was far more valuable than this 10,000 yuan. Just as I was about to leave, group leader He Dazhuang called to say Group 1 had gathered at the hotel's backyard to begin the first training session. Since I had promised to participate, I casually tossed the envelope into the drawer. I rushed over after putting on my combat uniform. After training with them for half an hour, I dragged my exhausted body back to the office. I lit up a Hongtashan cigarette. But after just one puff, something felt wrong. The envelope with the money in my drawer was gone. I checked both drawers repeatedly, but there was no sign of the envelope. The office lock wasn't broken, and there were security bars outside the window. The only possibility was that someone else had a key to the office. Feeling a chill down my spine, I immediately contacted He Dazhuang to ask him to check the surveillance to see who had entered the office in the last half hour. But the meeting room cameras had been sabotaged months ago by the security guard using bubble gum. 6 or 7 people had entered the meeting room during this half hour. They were all suspects when Li Xia sent me a WeChat video. My scalp went numb when I opened it. The video showed the owner of the military supplies store. The entire process of him giving me the envelope, even the conversation, was clearly visible. My office had actually been bugged. And I was completely unaware. Even more terrifying was the call from Liu Xiaoru. She said resentfully, even if you wanted to take a bribe, you must have lost your mind. The video of the kickback has already spread through all the company group chats. How can you let Xia look at you like this? What else is there to explain? I stood there dazed, holding the phone. I hurriedly explained. Xiaoru listened to me. I originally intended to hand the money over to the finance department. Liu Xiaoru sneered. Do you think I would believe that excuse? I suddenly felt my explanation was ridiculous. If it were me, I wouldn't believe someone would leave money in a drawer while claiming they were going to turn it in. The call was hung up angrily. After seeing the video in the work group, I understood everything instantly. All that was left in the office was awkwardness. I lit a cigarette, not wanting to explain anymore. Explaining was useless. Just then, the HR director walked into the office and directly notified me of my dismissal while reserving the right to pursue other liabilities. Fired on my 3rd day on the job. Truly ridiculous. Later, I sat dejectedly on the steps by the old town pond. Chugging beer, Li Xia appeared behind me at some point. She sat quietly beside me. You're not here to ask me for that 10,000, are you? No. I used to live next to the old town with my mother. I often accompanied her for walks here. I disappointed you, didn't I? I looked into the distance. I said I originally intended to hand the money over to finance. Would you believe me? I gave a self-deprecating laugh. Did you receive the notice from HR? Li Xia asked softly. I sipped my alcohol. I also know that Cao Yaowei was the one who secretly filmed it. The 10,000 yuan in the drawer was also taken by him. She answered very calmly. I knew. He joined the legal department. I laughed. He wants to sue me for corruption and bribery. Jen Fan. I mocked myself, saying how dramatic it was. Being appointed as the head of the security department with high ambitions to do well, only to be fired for bribery on the 3rd day. I knew Cao Yaowei was plotting against me. It's because I got in his way. I thought I could achieve something. But I ended up ruining myself, perhaps. I wanted you to have a good job. I stood up and said, thanks for helping me out tonight. With that, I grabbed half a bottle of beer and stumbled toward the exit. I suddenly wanted to escape this city, but I didn't know where to go. A 6 or 7-year-old girl walked up to me. Seeing how cute she was, I had nothing better to do. So I bought her flowers and started chatting with her. She was with her grandmother. After talking with the old lady, I learned her daughter and son-in-law went missing after coming to Kunming to work years ago. She brought 3-year-old Niunu to Kunming to search for them. It has been 3 years and they have slept on the streets and in alleys. Later, they were taken in by the owner of a flower field. They live in an earthen house, tending the fields and making a living by selling leftover flowers. The little girl is very well behaved and sensible. Compared to them, what reason do I have to be so pessimistic? I took down their contact information, intending to help them as much as I can. After returning home, Lin Yifei was sitting on the sofa dejectedly. It turned out she had resigned. She couldn't handle the unspoken rules of the workplace. I showed her Niu's photo. I told her their story and she was moved. She wanted to help Niu and her grandmother with me. Then Li Jiahao called. The call ended amidst laughter. I changed buses and arrived at the fitness club. In the lounge, Chen Xiaoji was smoking silently. The group from the bar last time was chatting. Chen Xiaoji crushed his cigarette and lectured me. Why didn't you tell me someone was setting you up? I didn't dare to argue, I felt a bit embarrassed. Yin Yihua played peacemaker, Xiaoji take it easy. Chen Fan didn't want to cause you trouble. Chen Xiaoji stopped lecturing. He dialed a number and said. Soon a man walked in. Li Jiahao cursed. Don't be angry, I didn't expect it to turn into this either. I looked up and saw a man smiling apologetically. It was the owner of the military supply store. Mr. Chen, I'm really sorry. I've caused you so much trouble for just 10,000 yuan. Solving the problem is what matters, Chen Xiaoji said coldly. The owner took out a USB drive and placed it on the coffee table. We chat history. Li Jiahao brought a laptop up. I was completely shocked when I opened the contents of the USB drive. I couldn't believe this was possible. The first file in the USB drive was a 2-minute video. The military supply store owner spoke to the screen. A day ago someone added me on WeChat. They told me to deliver a 10,000 yuan kickback to Director Chen. If I didn't, they would return the goods. I thought Director Chen was using an alt account to ask for a kickback. So I did it. Later, after he was fired, I realized I had been set up. That WeChat account has already blocked me. I have the chat logs and screenshots as proof. The scene switched to WeChat screenshots. The last screenshot showed that I had been blocked by the other party. Li Jiahao explained that the profile picture for that WeChat account was Cao Yaowei's. The video and screenshots are meant to frame him. Chen Fan, you can return to Dikai anytime. Cao Yaowei won't be able to clear his name this time. Second brother is still the best, knowing all of this was his arrangement. I lost interest. Don't set Cao Yaowei up, I don't want to return to Dikai either. I'm not suited for that kind of deceitful environment. I'm not suited for it. What are you afraid of, are you a coward? Chen Xiaoji questioned me, since you are a Chen. You must pick yourself up from where you fell. Our philosophies on survival are different. Don't force your ideas on me, I don't need great achievements. Chen Xiaoji was so angry he grabbed an ashtray to hit me. Yin Yihua and the other trainers quickly held him back. Chen Fan, stop talking, your second uncle is furious. Yin Yihua pulled me away, I'll take you to lunch. You haven't eaten yet, right? Let's go. We won't be able to hold second brother back much longer, Li Jiahao urged. Yin Yihua pulled me to a small restaurant. Lunch was very somber. When saying goodbye, Yin Yihua asked if I really wouldn't return to Dikai. I answered bluntly. He said all the evidence had been prepared. It's not that I'm afraid, I just don't like that environment. Are you willing to be misunderstood? Are you willing to have my sister always doubt you? The fact is that you took 10,000 yuan. Who would believe you said you were going to hand it over to finance? My sister didn't argue, she just felt the 10,000 yuan didn't matter. You have no idea what she is actually thinking. I was stunned, I had never thought about it that way. My sister is having a hard time. Li Jiahao continued. He's a threat to my sister, I didn't respond. To figure out what kind of life I wanted. In the evening, Lin Yifei and I took flyers with photos of Niu and her grandmother. We found Niu and her grandmother. Our plan was to help sell flowers for a while, but the main goal was to help them find their relatives. Lin Yifei crouched down to hand flyers to Niu. Niu, tonight we'll give out flowers. While handing out flowers, we tell passersby the flowers were free. We only hoped they would look at the flyer and share it on social media. And let me take a photo of you too. Niu nodded heavily, after a night of hard work. Kind passersby spontaneously shared the flyers on social media. They posted videos of Niu and her grandmother online. Many kind people even offered to donate to Niu. Since the grandmother didn't have a smartphone, Lin Yifei collected 3,000 yuan for them and gave it to the grandmother after we finished. We looked forward to the moment Niu would reunite with her parents. But instead we received devastating news. The local lifestyle social media account published an article claiming Lin Yifei had bribed Niu and the grandmother to scam money since Lin Yifei collected the money. The video also showed her face. She suddenly became a target of public outrage. Lin Yifei and I hoped they could help clear our names. Because of this, I could only constantly comfort Lin Yifei. Sobbing in my arms, Lin Yifei asked, Chen Fan, why is it so hard to do something good without expecting anything in return? It's okay, I comforted Lin Yifei. Let's go find Niu and her grandmother. Unexpectedly, as soon as we left, we were treated like outcasts. Not only were we insulted, but some even physically attacked us. To protect Lin Yifei, I was beaten until my mouth was covered in blood. Lin Yifei broke down crying. Lin Yifei broke down crying and said, I'm tired. Can we go home? In the end, we didn't go to find Niu and the others. So the two of us turned off our phones together. As if that way, we could evaporate from this world. We tried everything. We posted clarifications and even called newspapers to place ads. But nothing worked, we sat on the sofa in despair. One day, several social media reporters with cameras arrived. After an interview and some questions, Lin Yifei and I hoped they could help us clear things up. But instead, we faced an even bigger nightmare. Around 3 p.m., another social media account published a post that was even more unbearable. There was a video in the post. The video was of the woman interviewing us. But the whole thing was dubbed. The footage had light pixelation. Viewers could only see the pixelation at 0025. They couldn't see our faces, only our mouths moving at 0027. At 0029 it was all dubbed. Lin Yifei and I admitted to using Niu's situation to scam money. We admitted we knew the elderly woman didn't have WeChat. So we intentionally acted out the scene and showed our own WeChat QR code to collect payments. At the end of the video, we both apologized to the public, begging for forgiveness. In the second paragraph of the post, there was another video. An interview with the elderly woman and Niu. They had no idea what had happened. Facing the camera, they kept saying thank you to Lin Yifei and me. Even through the screen I could see that the elderly woman and Niu were truly happy. They were thanking Lin Yifei and me from the bottom of their hearts. These two videos created a sharp contrast. It stirred the audience's emotions. Shares continued to climb, but the content of the post was that, to seek personal profit, Lin Yifei and I deceived the elderly woman. We used Niu's story to make money for ourselves. What was hardest for me to accept was that this official account with over 100,000 followers spread the news instantly. In just over an hour, the views exceeded 100,000. Shares also exceeded 100,000. The comments below were even more unbearable to look at. Lin Yifei's tears wouldn't stop falling. Standing beside me, she asked blankly, "Can you tell me what's wrong with this world? Why are they treating us like this? What did we do wrong?" I was speechless. I held Lin Yifei tightly in my arms and comforted her. Lin Yifei said softly, "I'm a bit tired. I want to sleep for a while." I watched Lin Yifei walk into the bedroom. Yin Yihua also called to comfort me, saying my second uncle was already helping me investigate. This official account is operated by people in Kunming. They are just using this incident to create hype and increase their popularity. But what no one expected was that Lin Yifei would use the simplest and most decisive way to end her suffering. When the police broke into the scene, I was in Lin Yifei's room. I found a suicide note left by Lin Yifei. I wanted to take a look, but the police placed it in a plastic bag. I was also taken away as a suspect. Inside the interrogation room, I recounted everything from how I met Lin Yifei to why she committed suicide. 2 hours passed without me noticing. During these 2 hours, the police shared his pack of cigarettes with me. They even brought me a bottle of mineral water. When I spoke about why Lin Yifei jumped, the female officer taking the statement was also in tears, choking back sobs. I didn't want to say more. But these were all facts. The female officer, Chin Mu, who had been listening without asking questions, handed me the completed statement and said to me with a choked voice, "Just sign right here at the bottom." I didn't look closely at what she had recorded. I wrote my name at the bottom. Then I looked at the police and said, "This local official account drove Lin Yifei to her death. The operator of this account bears undeniable responsibility. Please, I beg you, clear her name." The female officer nodded and took out her phone to hand to me. She said, "I can't give you the original suicide note for now. I can only take a photo of it for you to see." I took the officer's phone and saw a letter on the screen. It was the final note left by Lin Yifei before she jumped. After reading it, I realized how tragic Lin Yifei's life was. Her father abandoned the family for an affair, and her mother had passed away from despair. At 16, she became a homeless child. After reading it, the phone slipped from my hands and hit the ground, but I didn't even notice. The officer, Chin Mu, leaned down to pick up the phone and comforted me, saying, "Don't worry. Didn't you say a media person? And bring her justice." At a time like this, what meaning does justice have? The person is already dead, so why talk about justice? Where were you all before this? Realizing I had lost my composure, I didn't say anything else. I looked into Chin Mu's eyes and said, "I want to go see Lin Yifei to see where she is." "You wouldn't want to see her like that. Let her most beautiful side remain in your heart. How about we do something else instead? Didn't you say there was a social media influencer today? Came to your residence today. I can help you find the operator of the official account." With her quick work, she soon found the name of the account's verified owner. The owner of the account was named Zhu Delong. The person who interviewed both me and Lin Yifei was him. Chin Mu continued working on the computer. This local official account belongs to an advertising company, and the legal representative of this company is Tian Afen. We continued searching for Tian Afen in the police network. This time, it was the woman who came to interview us today. If I hadn't controlled my emotions at that moment, I really would have punched her screen to pieces. Then Chin Mu made a phone call. After confirming the license plate of their BMW X5 and the car's exact location, I took the information we found and headed to their location with Chin Mu. I didn't expect Chin Mu to help me. She said Lin Yifei was a kind girl. This kind of girl makes my heart ache. Chin Mu didn't want her to die with a grievance. On the way, Chin Mu said to me, "Keep me in check, I'm worried I might do something extreme." This answer surprised me. Half an hour later, we found Tian Afen's BMW X5 at Starry Bar, while Chin Mu and I were looking for a parking space and parked. As we stared at the BMW, Tian Afen and Zhu Delong appeared. My first reaction upon seeing these two was to say to Chin Mu beside me, "Stop the car quickly." "They're right there." Chin Mu was calmer than me and drove directly to block the front of her BMW. "Do you think she's going to run away?" Chin Mu drove straight toward the BMW. Suddenly, two bright white lights appeared right in front of us. High beams so bright they made it impossible to open one's eyes. Next, I heard the roar of an engine, followed by the sound of sudden braking. The next second, a scream rang out. Then the car with the high beams flashed past us. The whole process took only 10 seconds. When that car left and our vision returned to normal, we discovered that Tian Afen and Zhu Delong were gone. Chin Mu and I were both stunned. Two living people had just vanished. Chin Mu quickly shifted into reverse. wanting to catch up to the car that just sped past us. But after turning around, we couldn't even see the other car's taillights anymore. Two people were lying on the ground. Zhu Delong was by the roadside, still somewhat conscious, while Tian Afan had completely fainted. This was a car accident witnessed by many people, and the driver had actually fled the scene. I didn't expect my second uncle to vent my anger this way. I was shocked, but I felt that this couldn't be equated with Lin Yifei's death. Just then, Qin Mu demanded to check my phone. He suspected I had arranged all of this. I shielded my phone tightly and said, "You have no right to check my private belongings. Besides, a phone is a person's privacy." While we were arguing, a familiar voice rang in our ears. Qin Mu and I turned our heads at the same time. Li Xia appeared beside us with several people, and said to Qin Mu very politely, "I am Li Xia, the general manager of Dikai International Hotel. Chen Fan is one of us at Dikai. I want to take her back to the company. There are some matters that need to be handled." Qin Mu was a bit stunned, lifting her head stubbornly to emphasize to Li Xia, "She is a suspect now. She must come back to the police station with me." Li Xia's lips curled slightly, and she asked with a strong presence, "Can a suspect be taken out of the police station at will? And who are you anyway?" Qin Mu immediately realized Li Xia was intentionally making things difficult for her. She changed her tone and said, "I am performing my duties by taking a suspect in, according to superior orders. You can check my identity yourself. I am a police officer. What right does a police officer have to detain a citizen at will? Citizens have personal freedom. I suggest you communicate with our companies. Legal lawyers first. Do you think that's necessary?" Qin Mu was so angry by Li Xia that she was speechless. This was also the first time I had seen Li Xi. I had heard from Li Jiahao before that her sister is someone who never shows her emotions. With deep schemes, today I have truly seen it. Qin Mu seemed a bit naive. Aside from having a bold and passionate personality, she really lacks any schemes. Li Xia looked at me and said, "If there are any issues, let the company's lawyers communicate with them." Qin Mu shouted loudly from behind, "Chen Fan, I know I can't stop you. But can you promise me, if you are needed in the next 2 days, please come to the police station to cooperate with the investigation as soon as possible. We won't take up too much of your time. Leaving you at the guest house was also for your protection." From the time we went to the police station until now, Qin Mu has been good to me, including using her own methods to track down the whereabouts of Zhu Delong and the others. I looked at Qin Mu and nodded, saying, "Don't worry, call me when you need my cooperation. I'll be there at a moment's notice." After getting in the car, I realized Li Jiahao was acting as the driver. Liu Xiora was sitting in the passenger seat. Li Xia and I sat in the back. Seeing me get in, Li Jiahao leaned his head over and said excitedly, "Chen Fan, didn't expect this, did you? What do you mean?" "Of course it's what second brother did. I didn't expect second brother to work so cleanly and efficiently. I was even thinking about how to give him a beating. I didn't expect it." "Drive," Li Xia said to Li Jiahao, "and take us there. I want to talk to Chen Fan alone." Inside the luxury hotel suite, in the huge room, only Li Xia and I remained. Li Xia placed a glass of plain water in front of me. "Have some water first. I've heard about everything that happened these past few days. I will use every connection I have." "It doesn't matter anymore," I said to Li Xia while looking out the window. "Even if everyone realizes they were wrong, for Lin Yifei it is already beyond saving. What does it matter if others misunderstand?" Li Xia replied to me after hearing my words, "Chen Fan, don't be like this. I know you are in a lot of pain right now. If it were me, I would be heartbroken too. I don't know how to comfort you, but no matter what, I will do my best to help you." I looked at Li Xia and asked, "We are just strangers who met by chance." Li Xia shook her head. "Maybe it's just a sense of familiarity. Just rest here for tonight. I have a meeting early tomorrow morning. Get some sleep." Watching Li Xia leave the room, I took out my phone and deleted my WeChat connection with my second uncle. Lying in bed, I tried to sleep early, but found I couldn't sleep at all. So I decided to just go home. When I arrived, I found Lin Yifei's room had been sealed. I found a bag of rice in the kitchen, put it in a milk pot, and placed 3 sticks of incense in front of her door. Late at night, Qin Mu called. Zhu Delong had reported a crime, suspecting I caused the car accident, and needed me to return for investigation. I sneered. Qin Mu roared. Back at the police station, Qin Mu was drinking coffee in the duty room, accompanied by 2 officers from the Beishi District Police Station. "These 2 need to talk to you about the situation." "No need for a formal statement," the officer said. I denied it, saying heaven is watching. "That's not illegal, right?" Then I told them everything about how Zhu Delong and Tian Afan's malicious interviews led to Lin Yifei jumping off the building. Finally, I joked, maybe it's Lin Yifei's vengeful spirit seeking revenge. Qin Mu interrupted. I was so moved by their story that I took them to eat fish in Beishi District, and we happened to run into Zhu Delong and the others. "The vengeful spirit thing is nonsense," the officer said. "Alright, call me anytime." Afterward, I treated Qin Mu to a late-night snack. We talked a lot. He already suspected me, but he helped me again just now. After the snack, Qin Mu arranged for me to stay at a guest house. The next day, the sound of Qin Mu pounding urgently on the door woke me up. Last night we posted Lin Yifei's suicide note online. Today the Times reported it, and the provincial and city TV stations are all following the story. Are you ready to face the reporters? Niu and Grandma are here too. Niu and Grandma are both very sad. They kept crying after seeing me. Then Grandma took her ID card, knelt before the media, and told the whole story of how Lin Yifei helped them. Finally, the truth came to light. Since Lin Yifei's father and relatives couldn't be contacted, The police department helped organize her funeral. The ashes were originally meant to be kept at the crematorium, as I truly couldn't afford a grave. In the end, Niu's grandma buried her in the ancestral grave back home, and took her in as her granddaughter 3 days later. She told me Tian Afan didn't make it and died. She asked again if this had anything to do with me. I pretended to be calm and refuted it. Are you using tricks to get a confession? Jin Mu said expressionlessly. The driving route of that car has already been traced. If we keep investigating, we'll definitely find the person. After saying this, she stood up to leave. I struggled with whether to tell my second uncle to run, but I was afraid Chen Mu was bluffing. After much thought, I decided to go to the fitness club to find him in person. I told him the news of Tian Afan's death in the hospital. He was unusually calm. I lowered my voice. I'm already under suspicion. The police might follow the clues to you. He lit a cigarette and sat in the lounge, head bowed in silence. It was clear he was also a bit scared. After all, a life was lost. How did you come under suspicion? I called you to report Tian Afan's whereabouts. And Chen Mu traced it. She suspects I leaked the location. That night she wanted to check my phone. Luckily, Li Xie appeared in time. She said Tian Afan was dead and told me to tell the driver to hide. The surveillance has already traced the vehicle's route. My second uncle looked up at me, his eyes full of confusion. After finishing his cigarette, my uncle stood up and said, "Don't worry, at most it's a hit and run. Whether they can find me is still uncertain. Actually, they will find you eventually. Right?" He glanced at me. "Stop worrying about nonsense and find a stable job quickly. Earn more money to pay for your dad's medical bills. I sent 5,000 yuan home the day before yesterday. If I really go to prison, the entire burden of earning money will fall on you." Looking at his back, which he made look casual. Life has never been gentle to anyone. But we still have to grit our teeth and push through. Enduring it. Is getting red eyes every now and then even worth it? It all depends on whether that young policewoman, Chin Mu, will turn informant. I looked up and asked. Right now, she's the only one who would think of telling me your whereabouts. Uncle, analyze this calmly. How likely do you think it is that she'll track us down? I don't know. I lit a cigarette and took a puff. We haven't known each other long, but I can tell she has a sense of justice. She's outspoken. Uncle remained silent for a moment before standing up. Go back to your work. Call mom and dad more often when you have time. He spoke nonchalantly, but I felt like he was saying his final goodbyes. That day, I received a call from Chin Mu at the police station. He said Niu's father had been found. But the bad news was that he refused to admit Niu was his daughter. Niu's mother was still missing. We've already notified them to meet at the station. I'm worried the situation might become unpleasant. After all, you deserve the most credit. Half an hour later, I arrived at the police station entrance, where a flashy red BMW X6 was parked. A flashy red BMW X6 was parked at the entrance. Chin Mu introduced. This is Deng Kaiming's car. Someone who drives a BMW X6. How could he let his daughter suffer like this? It's hard to say. The political instructor is currently giving him a talk. Chin Mu said, the colleagues picking up Niu and her grandmother will arrive soon. Let's wait in the chief's office. What we didn't expect was that Deng Kaiming would be unusually cold after Niu and her grandmother arrived. The old woman looked at Deng Kaiming. Where is Qiulan? Where is Qiulan? Deng Kaiming sighed softly. Qiulan and I divorced 3 years ago. You didn't know about this? The old woman was completely stunned. We present were also very shocked. Deng Kaiming continued with a heavy face. Qiulan got custody of Niu. He took out the divorce certificate and placed it on the table. We haven't been in contact since the divorce. I thought she was doing well with you and Niu. I didn't expect him to take a tissue to wipe the corner of his eye. How could this happen? She repeatedly muttered. Where on earth did Qiulan go? How could there be no news for 3 years? Afterward, Deng Kaiming took Niu away. Following him, the grandmother also left. At noon, Li Xie suddenly asked me out to lunch. She said she wanted to talk to me about her brother. Li Xie picked up the red wine and poured it. Is Chen Xiaoji a relative of yours? He is my grandfather's adopted son. Do you really know what he usually does? I suddenly realized. Recalling that she and Li Jiahao happened to appear on the night of the car accident. Was this really just a coincidence? I let out a sigh. Looking at Li Xie. It's nothing much, I just wanted to learn more about Chen Xiaoji. Jiahao and I lost our parents early. He's close to Chen Xiaoji now. I wanted to indirectly learn about his character. I was silent for a few seconds. Don't worry. Chen Xiaoji's character is fine. Li Xie raised her glass and clinked it with mine. She casually asked if Chen Xiaoji had ever been to prison. It couldn't have been a hit and run, could it? These words struck my most sensitive nerve. I stared into her eyes and she looked back without hesitation. Her gaze felt like it was forcing me to confess. I pulled out a cigarette and lit it. Using the movement to catch my breath, that's right. I was a regular at the police station during my school years. I was sentenced to 6 months for fighting a few years ago. I never heard of him going to prison for a car accident. Eat something. Li Xie changed the subject at the right time. The grilled fish here is very flavorful. Jiahao is my only relative. I don't want him getting into trouble. Can you tell Chen Xiaoji not to involve Jiahao in his business? I lowered my head. Though beautiful, she felt like a stranger to me. Chen Fan. No need, forget about Lin Yaifei. The landlord took back the house, so I need to find a place to stay first. Then find a job nearby. After dinner, I declined the driver's offer. I called my second uncle to ask how many people knew about the accident that night. Why were Li Jiahao and Li Xie nearby? At first, Chen Xiaoji was unwilling to speak. He was training Li Jiahao in Sanda. He was followed by Li Jiahao's car while out on business. After reaching the North District, Li Jiahao lost him. While searching around, he happened to witness the accident. Li Xia came to pick up Li Jiahao for dinner. She saw the scene too, so she must have guessed the truth long ago. I realized. But unlike Qin Mu, she doesn't have a strong sense of justice. She just doesn't want Chen Xiaoji to corrupt Li Jiahao. So I wasn't worried about her reporting me. In the afternoon, with Liu Qiang's help, I moved to the second floor of a lounge in Guandu Ancient Town. There's a small courtyard in the back. The landlord is named Lao Zhou. But business is slow. Just as I finished showering and was about to rest, a call came from an unknown number. It was the police asking me to go to the station to cooperate with an investigation. It was still about that car accident. At the North District Police Station, an officer brought out Zhu Delong's report. He said threatening words to Zhu Delong at the scene. I admitted it openly. He maliciously framed me and Lin Yifei. He trampled on our reputation. I just felt better saying a few harsh words. How long after the accident did you arrive at the scene? 1 minute or two, I can't remember clearly. I heard someone shouting, so I went to see what was happening. Where were you before the incident? In Qin Mu's car, looking for a parking spot nearby. Why were you nearby? Qin Mu wouldn't let me see her body. She said she'd take me for barbecue to distract me. You were with Qin Mu when the incident happened. She was driving and I was in the car at the front desk. Yes. The front desk officer muttered something and stood up. The front desk officer said, "Thank you for your cooperation, keep in touch. Do you have any plans to travel far recently?" "I can't leave Kunming," I said. "No," said the front desk officer. "Just asking," the front desk officer said, walking out of the police station. I felt like Qin Mu would come. Half an hour later, she did arrive by car. I hid in the shadows. Looking up, I realized the area was full of cameras. Seeing all those cameras, I instantly felt guilty. A few seconds later, I decided not to show myself. The police would surely think we were coordinating our stories. Checking the surveillance would also show I hadn't left. I watched Qin Mu walk into the police station. I prayed she wouldn't say anything wrong. My heart was racing. If our stories about the trip to the North District didn't match, the consequences would be unthinkable. I even wanted to run. But not knowing where to escape, 40 minutes later, Qin Mu came out and got in her car. My phone rang immediately. "I saw you, you're in the car. You didn't leave. I figured they might summon you too. So I waited a bit longer. You're feeling guilty." "Why would I feel guilty? I'm just curious." "Stop talking, wait for me at the next intersection. I'll pick you up." Qin Mu hung up. I was indeed feeling guilty, but I didn't want to show my weakness to her. Before getting in the car, I bought 2 bottles of Coke. I wanted to distract her. A few minutes later, Qin Mu drove over. I took a deep breath and got in. I handed her a Coke. "I know you prefer Coke, right?" Qin Mu rolled her eyes. "Getting in my car and still needing to pep yourself up. This is definitely a sign of guilt." I was speechless. A detective's intuition is truly extraordinary. As long as you know, it's not good for a girl to be too sensitive. I saw on the news a few days ago. A man was punished by his wife to kneel on a keyboard. How unfair. Don't change the subject. "Why are you feeling guilty?" "I'm not." She let out a cold laugh. "They asked me why I went to the North District. They asked you this too. What did you say? You even said you weren't nervous. You made a 3-minute call to the number ending in 4400. I checked it. You're investigating me. How can I report back without getting everything clear? You think denying it means I know nothing? That was my second uncle's number. So what if I called him?" I raised my voice to hide my guilt. Jin Mu gave me a contemptuous look. She had already found someone to verify the owner. They asked why I went to the North District. "Did they ask you what you wanted to eat?" I said I don't remember exactly what was promised. I only said there was good food in the North District. I patted my chest. "It's fine." I said I was going for barbecue to relax. Jin Mu smiled triumphantly. Her smile grew even brighter. "Chen Fan, stop lying to me." But justice is built on morality. Zhu Delong and Tian Afan deserved to die. They wronged Lin Yifei, building their profit on others' pain. Staying alive would only harm more people. I had to see Qin Mu in a new light. Her words moved me. "I might need your help lately," she said, shifting the subject. I investigated Deng Kaiming and the missing Qiulan. I found many suspicious points. Qiulan's disappearance and their divorce are very strange. "Tell me." Deng Kaiming's current wife Dang Jing is the CFO of Dikai. Can you check her work from the inside? Her marital status. Since the car accident hadn't passed yet, I had no heart to look for a job. When Lao Zhou had business, I would help out part-time to earn some living expenses. Next day, I invited Li Xia to a bar. I planned to talk to her about Dang Jing. You know about Niu Niu's situation on Moments from a few days ago, right? Her biological father, Deng Kaiming, is Dang Jing's current husband. What does this have to do with Niu Niu? 3 years ago, Deng Kaiming and his wife Qiulan came to Kunming to work. They got a divorce. Deng Kaiming said she ran off with a rich man. He only wanted Niu Niu. Li Xia frowned. Qiulan had intended to divorce him for a long time. She used buying a house as an excuse to finalize the divorce. I was shocked. Li Xia had actually heard a deeper meaning. Women are indeed sensitive. I poured a cup of coffee. Deng Kaiming has been gone for 3 years. His rise must be related to Dang Jing. Dang Jing is the CFO of your company. Don't you find it suspicious? That doesn't mean she's abusing her power. It's too arbitrary. I only knew after checking. I want to investigate them not just because of Dang Jing, but also because Qiulan has been missing for 3 years. How could a mother not contact her daughter or mother for 3 years? A few days ago, Niu's news was all over my social media. There's no way she didn't see it. Li Xia took a sip of red wine. I understand what you mean. How do you want me to cooperate? I know what you're thinking, she said indifferently. Li Quanming and I are together in name only. My father left the company to me not just out of guilt, but also because Li Quanming has character issues, keeping mistresses and gambling. Recently, there have been more and more complaints from hotels about the poor quality of service supplies. Li Quanming is in charge of procurement. I need the financial income and expenditure details for the last few months. I'll send them to you privately. Every major expense goes through Dang Jing. I foolishly asked if every expense was recorded by finance. She was very certain. I paused and took a small sip of coffee. Actually, I suspect Niu's biological mother was murdered by Deng Kaiming. Li Xia nodded slightly. You reorganized the Dikai security department quite well before. The image of the security guards has improved a lot. If only you hadn't left out of spite. Jiahao told you too, right? I shook my head with a bitter smile. Places full of intrigue aren't for me. The workplace is just like that. She emphasized that there are no peaceful teams. I chatted with Li Xia for a long time, especially regarding corporate management and how to win the support of shareholders. The next morning, inside were Dikai's income and expenditure details for 3 months. The total was nearly 200 million, with a monthly net profit of about 30 million. She sent them via WeChat separately. This information cannot be leaked too widely. You know, if it gets out, I'll be in trouble. Then I contacted Qin Mu. I got Dikai's financial details for 3 months. Every transaction was confirmed by Dang Jing. It'll be useful to you, right? Send it to me now. Wait. If it's leaked, the person providing it will be attacked. She is helping out of sympathy for Niu. We can't set her up. Don't worry. After hanging up, I forwarded the email to Qin Mu. She has a sense of justice that goes beyond professional ethics. She doesn't follow the rules, but she never crosses moral lines. I trust her quite a bit as an informant in this industry. I had lunch with Qin Mu at noon and told her that in Dikai's income and expenditure details I discovered. They spend tens of millions every month on purchasing alcohol, cigarettes and other consumables. Qin Mu paused intentionally. Guess what I discovered? The supplier for Dikai's alcohol and cigarettes is the same company. The boss behind it is Deng Kaiming. I instantly understood the reason behind Deng Kaiming's sudden wealth. That's not even the key part. Qin Mu took out a notebook. Deng Kaiming has several companies under his name. All of them have complaints and reports. One of the alcohol and cigarette companies was shut down 2 years ago. But Dikai was still sourcing from there back then. Tell Li Xia this information. She will thank you. I didn't know how to start. Even if you're given a chance to curry favor, you won't take it. Qin Mu rolled his eyes. I still need to continue the investigation. Deng Kaiming's first company was registered 3.5 years ago. At that time, he hadn't divorced Qulin yet. Even though I was mentally prepared, Qin Mu's words still left me shocked and saddened. Perhaps to protect the word love from being tainted. In my heart, love should mean sharing both joys and sorrows, never leaving each other. Chen Fan. I know you don't want to accept such a guess, but we must face the facts. I have already given up looking for Qlan. What else do you need me to do? I asked gloomily. She reminded me, tell Li Xia what you found. Letting her be prepared would be a kind gesture. Later, I called Li Xia to tell her about Dang Jing's abuse of power. She was unusually calm, only asking if more evidence could be found. Just as I was about to call Qin Mu for help, Li Jiahao's call came in. Chen Fan, what are you doing? Don't be busy, come help me. I'm going to kill him today. Who pissed you off? Come fight with me. Take a taxi over. After my persuasion failed, I rushed over immediately. When I arrived, several people around Li Jiahao's age were already waiting. He handed me a steel pipe. Those bastards are in the bar. Wait for one more person. This thing won't kill anyone. I weighed the steel pipe. It felt light and couldn't really hurt anyone. Jiahao, what's going on? We have to do this. A few minutes later, 2 more people arrived. A group of 6 walked into the bar. At 8 or 9 in the evening, the university town bar was at its peak. As soon as we entered, we attracted everyone's attention. A table in the corner with 4 men and 3 women also stood up. It's them, get them, Li Jiahao shouted, leading the charge. We followed closely behind, carrying the steel pipes. The beating was predictable and the result was the same. We were taken away by the local police and sat in the interrogation room. Li Jiahao, whom he previously threatened to beat up if anything happened, was now completely silent. After a simple investigation, the police said, "Officer, we know we were wrong. My parents are both deceased." The officer educated him. How can you talk about your parents like that? Do you have any filial piety? I'm really not lying to you. You'll see once you check. After the officer verified it, I discovered that his parents had indeed passed away. Helpless, I called Chen Qiang. Not long after I returned home, Li Xia arrived with a face full of rage. This was the first time I had ever seen her angry. What exactly do you want to do? Didn't I warn you? Don't lead Jiahao down the wrong path. I was completely bewildered. Why aren't you speaking? Why did you take Jiahao to fight? And even got arrested at the station. Do you dare say this didn't happen? No. Li Jiahao ran over in a panic, shielding me. Sis, don't be like this. This is a matter between men, don't get involved. It's only right to help a brother vent his anger. If you want to blame someone, blame me. Li Xia's face turned pale with rage. The atmosphere was awkward and Li Xia was fuming. Li Jiahao looked indifferent. I'm sorry, I was a bit impulsive back then. I shouldn't have called Jiahao to come along. Something like this won't happen again. Chen Fan, Li Jiahao looked at me with eyes full of gratitude, but he only called me by my name. Friends, stay away from my brother from now on. Li Xia shouted loudly. You are not worthy of being my brother's friend. She pulled Li Jiahao and warned him not to associate with us anymore. Sis, Li Jiahao shook off her hand. You're going too far, how can you talk about others like that? I knew if the argument continued, Li Jiahao would definitely reveal the truth. I quickly stopped him. Jiahao, don't argue with your sister. Chen Fan, I raised my hand to interrupt him. 2 days later, Qin Mu brought the second set of investigation materials. I was shocked. She had checked every company registered under Deng Kaiming's name, including those registered under the names of his relatives. They were all shell companies. These companies specialized in hotel supplies. With Dang Jing's help, Deng Kaiming sold cheap goods to Dicke. Unintelligible/garbled text in source. Unintelligible/garbled text in source. By the time Dicke discovered the goods were substandard, they couldn't find anyone at all. And his next company would pop up to continue scamming money. He had set up 6 such companies in 3 years. Don't you think you owe me a meal? Qin Mu looked at me triumphantly as I gave these to Li Xia. She owes you a favor, what do you want to eat? Forget the meal, just help me out in a few days. You'll make a cameo appearance. My mom is easygoing but my dad is a bit serious. I pursed my lips. But it's just a meal with elders. I had no choice but to agree. That night I sent Deng Kaiming's data which Qin Mu gave me, regarding Dang Jing stealing Dickai's funds and took photos. I sent them to Li Xia, I don't ask for thanks. Just don't expose my second uncle, after being scolded by her last time. Only Li Jiahao had sent me a few sincere messages. After sending the data, I lay in bed smoking, full of worry for my second uncle. As the cigarette was almost finished, my mom called. She rarely calls first to save on phone charges. How do you have time to call me? She acted casual. It's fine, being busy helps me earn more money. Don't work too hard. I sold the old hen that lays eggs at home. If you want eggs, buy them yourself. Pick fresh ones. Listening to her, I received a 2,000 yuan bonus for being an outstanding employee. I made an excuse. I'll come home to see you and dad after payday at the end of the month. She started crying as she spoke. My heart grew heavier. Afterward, I went to the gym to find my second uncle for a meal. Li Jiahao spends every day here. His physique is getting better and better. Yin Yihua thought it was too noisy. At the night market stall, our group of 7 or 8 ordered 24 beers. Halfway through eating, over 20 men holding clubs surrounded us. The leader was the guy we beat up at the university town bar. It's fine, move aside. He pointed at Li Jiahao. Everyone's eyes fell on my second uncle. Li Jiahao stood up and cursed, you think you can scare me with numbers? Numbers are numbers, you're just bullying someone with fewer people. Second uncle stood up and said, buddy. Fine, the guy walked to the table. He poured a glass of beer. Kneel and drink this glass and we'll call it even. Li Jiahao immediately started cursing. Beer was splashed directly onto his face. Li Jiahao grabbed a bottle to fight back. The others started swinging steel pipes. Seeing the situation, Li Jiahao didn't dare to strike. Duan Wentao became even more smug, pointing at his own head. I've been planning this for a long time. Tomorrow I'll show the video to Xiao Qing, to let her know how much of a coward you are, even though you dare to compete for women with me. She knew second uncle couldn't go to the police station right now. Beating you is just the first step. Your sister's term as chairman of Dicke is also coming to an end. If you kneel and beg me today, I might persuade my father to continue supporting her. Laughter erupted all around. Li Jiahao's face turned pale, and his hands were trembling. There were 5 men on our side. I have no combat power and he's a coward. Only second uncle and 2 others were left. The other side had over 20 people, mentioning Li Xia. Li Jiahao finally backed down. I admitted defeat, as his legs weakened and he was about to kneel. Second uncle grabbed his shoulder with his left hand, and picked up a beer bottle with his right hand, swinging it straight at Duan Wentao's head. I thought second uncle would be more restrained because of his age. I didn't expect him to be even more crazed than before. The moment the bottle shattered, he lunged forward, kicking Duan Wentao 3 meters away. The 20 or so opponents surrounded us with steel pipes. At first they were arrogant because of their numbers, but after someone fled from second uncle's attack, their morale collapsed and they all ran away. Yin Yihua and the 2 female coaches didn't intervene or stop the fight. They only handed us tissues after the others had fled. Li Jiahao's expression was a mix of joy and worry. Duan Wentao is the son of a Dicke shareholder. He was afraid his troubles would affect Li Xia, which is why he backed down earlier. A fight would inevitably lead to arrest. Second brother, about this matter, Li Jiahao spoke up. Second brother, you need to leave quickly. Yin Yihua grew anxious. She knows second uncle can't enter the police station right now. Chen Fan, you should leave too, so your parents don't worry. He waved at me, urging me to go. Let's go, Yin Yihua pulled me. We hailed a taxi to Daicheng Garden in Century City. This was a high-end community, not at all on the same level as Dianchi Spring. Arriving at Yin Yihua's detached villa, I saw that Santana in the garage. I felt it was an ill omen. The upstairs was filled with Chen Xiaoji's belongings. It was clear they had been living together. Late at night, I covered my face with a scarf and drove the Santana straight to the abandoned dam by Dianchi Lake. I released the handbrake and pushed the car, letting it slowly sink into the water. The water here was deep enough to submerge it. At 3:00 a.m. when I entered the house, Yin Yihua was still waiting for me in the living room. How was it? Were you seen by anyone? She asked me with concern. I shook my head. Has Chen Xiaoji contacted you? Yin Yihua nodded. I felt like something was about to happen. This sixth sense has no scientific basis, yet it is terrifyingly accurate. After a night of restlessness the next morning, Yin Yihua took me to the police station, hoping to rescue my second uncle as a family member. But the police informed us that Li Jiahao had already been released after his family paid the fine and compensation. However, my second uncle was taken in for investigation because of his involvement in the car accident from half a month ago. What I feared most has happened. Why has the accident suddenly been linked to Chen Xiaoji? I called Li Jiahao 3 times in a row. His phone was turned off. Yin Yihua stood by my side. Jiahao said his only relative is his sister. You know her, right? Call her and ask what's going on. We can't just wait here. Her demeanor was calmer than before. No matter the result, we have to face it. We have to find a way to solve this. I dialed Li Xia's number. No one answered the first time. Zioru answered the second time. Stop calling President Li. I'm not trying to disturb her. I just want to know how Li Jiahao is doing. Why was he released but my second uncle is being implicated in something else? Before Zioru could say more, Li Xia took the phone. Don't let your uncle lead Jiahao astray. Since you won't listen, I have no choice but to use my own methods to stop it. The call was hung up. I cursed at the phone. Yin Yihua asked me anxiously, suspecting that Li Xia had reported Xiaoji for the hit and run. This is going to be big trouble, I said as I made my third call. Yin Yihua left a single sentence. He walked off alone. I already had my answer in my heart. Yet I still held onto a sliver of hope. I decided to go to Dickai to ask her in person. Familiar with the place, I slipped into the Dickai service elevator. I pushed open the door to Li Xia's office. I rushed to her desk and slammed it, asking her. Li Xia looked serious as she spoke. I just can't tolerate Jiahao going down the wrong path. He is my only brother. My mother's only dying wish was for me to look after him. If something happens to him, I won't be able to face my deceased parents. I also have no way to face the future. What about my second uncle? I asked through tears. He stood up for Jiahao and got beaten. And now he's being reported by his own people and might lose his life. Have you even thought about him? Is he really in the wrong? Do you even know what happened when you reported him? Didn't your conscience ache? Li Xia avoided my eyes and looked into the distance. I don't want to know. I only want Jiahao to have a good environment to grow up in. That's all. Tears finally burst from my eyes. I pointed my finger at her, stepping back as I spoke. I hope that now that you know the truth, your conscience doesn't ache. I turned and left the office, my inner pain and despair indescribable. This rainy and hot summer and autumn soaked my youthful years. I thought of Lin Yifei again. Her future is still long. How can I stay strong? Yin Yihua's call came through. Her tone was urgent. Tell me your address and turn off your phone now. I'll bring people to find you as soon as I'm free. Just remember, don't let the authorities find you before then. Especially since the police can't take your statement if they can't find you. Whatever you do, don't say the wrong thing to them. I held the phone and asked when you were coming to see me. Should I turn off my phone now? Yin Yihua added. A lawyer from her own company. I was a bit stunned. It seems Yin Yihua comes from a wealthy family. When Yin Yihua arrived, she brought a middle-aged man, wearing a gray suit and carrying a briefcase. Just call him Uncle Joe, Yin Yihua said. Hello, Uncle Joe. Joe Guofa said after sitting down. I need to know everything to prepare for the upcoming charges. Did you call Chen Xiaoji on the night of the car accident? I nodded. I told him the deceased would be there. I just wanted him to give that person a beating. I didn't expect Joe Guofa to raise his hand, signaling me to slow down. Did you call Chen Xiaoji on the night of the incident? And what did you say? Do you know how to answer? I realized then, did my second uncle really hit someone with a car? He pressed further. You didn't see it with your own eyes. Does being at the scene definitely mean you're involved? Where was Xiaoji that night? Chen Fan's testimony without evidence is invalid. Uncle Joe has been a lawyer for over 20 years. Xiaoji will be cleared. I nodded vigorously, knowing what I could and couldn't say. Halfway through dinner, it definitely had something to do with my second uncle's situation. You know why I called you here, right? Confess and receive leniency, resist and face severity. Your accomplices have all confessed, so think carefully about what you'll say. I've already said everything I need to say the last few times. There's nothing more to add. Don't be stubborn. The police won't be able to get anything out of me. Keep your phone on. It was dark by the time I left and my heart was filled with anxiety. If both Chen Xiaoji and I are arrested, who will take my father for dialysis? The burden on my shoulders was suffocating. The next day, Li Jiahao, who had been missing for 2 days, suddenly appeared before me with a thud. He knelt before me, crying and trying to explain. I helped him up. I know you are a loyal person. This doesn't have much to do with you. Chen Fan, please forgive my sister. He was sobbing, but I never expected her to be so selfish as to keep me in prison for 2 days. Take me with you, I'll follow you. I don't want to go home and face her. Do me a favor. I patted his shoulder and told him to ask Li Xia to come out and clear things up. Li Jiahao's living room. A fruit plate and coffee were on the coffee table. Chen Fan, sit anywhere. Li Jiahao said. I sat across from Li Xia. I watched her without saying a word. Guilt was written all over her face. Jiahao has already told me everything that happened. I didn't know it was like this. Duan Wentao is the son of Dickai's major shareholder. Both of us like Xiao Qing. The last time I took you to the bar and hit him was because of this. She said if I caused any more trouble, she wouldn't support me. Later he became more and more arrogant and snatched Xiao Qing away. He even brought people to force me to kneel. It was my second brother who stood up for me. I owe him too much. I let out a soft sigh. Chen Xiaoji was already a prime suspect. If he is found guilty, My heart ached as I spoke. Li Xia muttered to herself, her face dark with regret. I'm sorry, I lit a cigarette and continued. A life for a life, he could face the death penalty. Or life imprisonment, his life is effectively over. I can't escape it either, I'm not afraid of prison. But there are too many things I can't let go of. My dad has kidney failure. Can you take care of my parents? I came to Kunming to work after graduating high school. Laying bricks. I lived frugally just so I could send more money home. Chen Xiaoji has no blood relation to my family. All the money I've earned over the years has gone toward my dad. It's possible that soon both of us will be in prison. As the cigarette burned, my heart felt like it was bleeding. I took a deep drag, fighting back tears. Can you take care of my parents? Send them a few thousand yuan every month, so my dad can afford dialysis. I know this request is excessive, but I'm afraid if I don't say it now, I won't get the chance later. When I get out, I will definitely pay you back every cent. I only have this one request. Please. As I spoke, my knees buckled and I was about to kneel. Li Jiahao rushed forward. He knelt on the ground first and hugged me, crying. Chen Fan, don't worry, no matter what happens. I won't forget your request, I'll take care of your dad's illness. Even if I stop smoking, drinking and going to clubs, I'll ensure he has enough money for medical treatment. I can handle this. From this day on, your parents are my parents. I accept you as my brother for life. Li Xia stood up from the sofa. Her eyes were red when she left. Even though she tried to hide it, I still saw it. I believed Li Jiahao's promise. A few thousand yuan meant nothing to him. That night, he insisted I take him to my house to get familiar with the place. I thought we might be caught soon, so it would be better to do it early, so I drove him home overnight. To meet my parents, Li Jiahao and I drove Li Xia's white Land Rover back to my hometown. This car was a gift from the father of Duan Wentao, a shareholder of Dikai. He wanted his son to marry Li Xia, to bring her shares into the Duan family. Li Jiahao told me many things on the road. He and Li Xia only inherited Dikai shares. Grandpa left all the real estate and savings too. The biological mother of his eldest uncle, Li Quanming. The two of them didn't have much cash. Li Xia manages her finances using the allowance Grandpa secretly gave her to play stocks. This is also why Grandpa left the position of chairman to her. After driving for over 4 hours, we arrived at the small town at 1:00 a.m. and found a hotel to stay in. Li Jiahao didn't understand why we didn't go straight home. My dad goes to bed early. I had to let him sleep peacefully. I didn't sleep well that night, wondering how to tell my parents about what comes next. Early the next morning, we bought apples, watermelon and 2 pounds of minced pork. My mom sells roasted sweet potatoes on the street corner. Seeing me suddenly return in a nice car. Seeing me in a nice car, she hurried over to ask. Before I could speak, my mom was stunned. I explained, this is my sworn brother, Li Jiahao. Just treat him like a son, Mom, I've come to see you. Is Dad home? Li Jiahao asked sincerely. My mom was completely bewildered. I pushed the sweet potato cart. Let's pack up for today, we'll eat the wontons you make for lunch. After I bought the minced meat and went home, my dad was also very happy. Li Jiahao called them Mom and Dad with every breath. He was very sweet. I told my parents he has no parents, and told him to bring his sister to our house during holidays. Li Jiahao was not polite and rushed to wash the dishes after dinner, saying that as a son he must work when he comes home. I finally have a mother, I should enjoy it. In the afternoon, I went back to my bedroom to rest. This was a small room, less than 8 square meters. I used to live here with Chen Xiaoji. There were even yellowed posters on the wall. They were Chen Xiaoji's idols from back then. I'll follow my second brother in the future. He picked up the nunchucks on the wall again. Did you practice this? It was my uncle's. He got many bumps on his head practicing this back then. Once during a fight. So handsome, when I return to Kunming, I'll definitely learn from second brother. In the afternoon, we went to the market to buy fruit, vegetables and meat to fill up the fridge. I always feel like I'm preparing for my end. During dinner that night, don't just feed yourself. This time I brought Jiahao to learn the way around. I don't know when I'll be back next. In the future, let him look after you all more. My dad sighed deeply. I've been disabled my whole life, so I won't be a burden to you. My mom interrupted him immediately. At night, Li Jiahao and I shared a bed. Previously, Chen Xiaoji used to be the one sharing this bed. I had long since gotten used to it. Eventually, I fell asleep. Early the next morning, they told me to come over. I said I was in my hometown. The other party immediately became alert. Are you trying to flee from justice? I will definitely be there before 2 p.m. Before returning to Kunming, I bought an anonymous SIM card at the small town's train station. I put it in Li Jiahao's phone and called Yin Yihu on the way back. Chen Fan, are you okay? She asked as soon as she picked up. I rushed home overnight the day before yesterday to arrange family matters. I always feel like I don't have much time left with my parents. I sighed softly. They told me to come over before 2 p.m. to cooperate with the investigation. How is things with Chen Xiaoji? The police are already watching him. My heart instantly raced. Did he say something wrong? Is it serious? What should I say during my statement this afternoon? At first he denied leaving the fitness club, but the surveillance footage captured the time he left. Later he said he couldn't remember where he went. She sighed deeply. The police tracked his phone's movement history. They have identified him as the killer, they're just missing the detailed evidence. What should I do? Don't do anything impulsive, Yin Yihua said anxiously. He said you are the hope of the family. Right now, the police don't have enough evidence to convict him. I was also trying to find connections to get him bail. Tears couldn't help but fall. I believe Shayaji will be fine. After hanging up, I held my head and cried loudly. Lee Jaihao heard everything. He handed me tissues and cigarettes, apologizing continuously. I only hope that after something happens to me and Chen Shayaji, he can take good care of my parents. Approaching Kunming, I still felt uneasy, so I called Chin Mu. You finally decided to call me. Are you going to thank me for the information I provided? Chin Mu's laughter came through. Let's not talk about that for now. Suppressing my sadness, I asked, can I completely trust you? I feel very helpless right now, of course. Chin Mu's tone was serious. Based on what you and Lin Yifei did for Niu Niu, I consider you a good friend. I took a deep breath. Actually, you knew that car accident was related to me all along. Right? There was a pause for a few seconds on the other end of the line. As long as we both know, Chen Shayaji is under investigation. The police have confirmed he was at the scene that day. He was reported and arrested. I'll continue. The police station told me to go there before 2 p.m. to cooperate with the investigation. I'm on my way and I don't know what to do. Don't be afraid, we were together all that day. You called Chen Shayaji to chat about family matters. You even mentioned going to the North District to eat good food. I can testify to all of this. The police work with evidence. Without enough evidence, they can't make a conviction. What time will you arrive? In about an hour, you should head there first. Are you sure I'll be able to see you? I'm afraid I might be detained for questioning. No, Chin Mu was very confident. I'll see you in a bit. After hanging up Chin Mu's call, I lit a cigarette. Li Jiahao, who had been driving, suddenly asked in a low voice, Chen Fan, do you especially hate my sister? I froze for a moment, about to deny it. Regarding this matter, I do hate her. I want to give her a beating, but she is my biological sister. If you don't want people to know, don't do it. I promise I will take good care of our parents. I looked at him and nodded. I'll leave our parents to you. As for the hatred, it's in the past. If you want something to remain secret, don't do it. Even if she hadn't reported it, they would have found out sooner or later. Li Jiahao said nothing more, returning to Kunming. We skipped lunch and went straight to the Municipal Public Security Bureau. Zhang said he would wait for me at the entrance. I told him to go back first. Zhang didn't dare say that I might not be able to come out. This interrogation was completely different. 4 police officers were present. 2 were questioning, 1 was filming with a DV. I sat down under pressure despite the computer records. Having experienced the previous times, I wasn't actually that nervous. They repeatedly asked about my whereabouts at the time of the incident, the content of my call to Chen Shayaji, and whether he knew about my grudge with Zhu Delong. I made slight adjustments to the details, just as Chin Mu suggested. I told them I was just making small talk with Chen Shayaji. When he asked what I was eating for dinner, I casually said I was on my way to the North District Food Street. That a friend was taking me to eat something casual. The investigation ended. The officer said, you are also a major suspect in this case. I gave a self-deprecating laugh. Just as the officer was about to put handcuffs on me, there was a knock on the interrogation room door. A middle-aged officer without a hat, badge number 1, walked in. Chin Mu, wearing a police uniform, followed behind him. She even winked at me secretly. Several interrogating police officers immediately stood at attention and saluted. Director Chin, is Chen Fan's investigation finished? It's finished. We've asked him to cooperate with the investigation. The police hurriedly responded, saying if it's finished he should come back with us for dinner. Director Chin said, it's all over, it's all over. We are only asking Mr. Chen to cooperate with the investigation. Chin Mu jumped out from behind. Chen Fan, let me introduce you. This is my dad, you brat. Director Chin laughed, you even have an unofficial dad. Chin Mu stuck out her tongue, why didn't you greet my dad? Hello, Uncle Chin, it's a bit awkward to meet for the first time in a place like this. I quickly said, it's not bad at all. Director Chin laughed, go home with Miu Miu first. Your aunt has prepared food, the 2 of us will have a good chat tonight. It turns out Director Chin really took me for Chin Mu's boyfriend. After getting into Chin Mu's car, you said you'd pretend to be my boyfriend last time. Why did you turn off your phone and disappear? I wasn't avoiding you. I will definitely do what I promised you, I explained. Your dad isn't that fierce. That's only in front of outsiders, Chin Mu snorted. He has plenty of ways to intimidate people. But as long as you make my mom like you, my dad won't be able to lose his temper. How can I please your mom? I can't afford a gift worth over 200 yuan. I scratched my head and asked while Chin Mu rolled her eyes. There's only one way to please my mom. Take good care of me in front of her. I don't need to teach you that, do I? There's a traffic jam. It was already 4:30 when we arrived at Chin Mu's residential complex. I was nervous, but what must be faced must be faced. Chin Mu lives in a duplex mansion with elevator access. In the elevator, she noticed I was nervous. She linked her arm with mine and smiled, relax. You have to act like it's real, however you used to treat your girlfriend. Treat me the same way today. But I was still nervous, Chin Mu rolled her eyes. Upon entering, we saw a middle-aged woman cleaning the living room. Mom, she called out, then turned to me. Chen Fan. Chin Mu's mother was exceptionally warm. She brought out slippers. Miu Miu should have brought you home long ago. This child is always making excuses, even dating is so secretive. If I didn't bring him back. Chin Mu put on the cute slippers and joked. Give it a rest, Chin Mu's mother scolded her. I'll be relieved if you can even get married. And still being so picky. She turned to me and said, Chen Fan, just sit anywhere. Auntie will wash some fruit for you. I rarely eat fruit, I'll eat. Chin Mu acted like a spoiled young lady. I want to eat last night's apples. Chin Mu's mother went to the kitchen. Only the two of us were left in the living room. Stay here for a bit. I'm going in to change, she said. I leaned close to her and whispered, aren't you going to invite me in to watch you change? Chin Mu gave me a huge eye roll. I glanced at the treadmill in the corner of the living room, the dumbbells and the sandbag, imagining her in tight clothes and boxing gloves. It would be quite sexy and powerful. A few minutes later, Chin Mu came out after changing. Her mother also walked over with a fruit platter. Chin Mu picked up an apple and handed it to me to peel. This child has really been spoiled by me. Chin Mu's mother spoke with dissatisfaction. I smiled as I took the apple and the paring knife. As I slowly peeled it, her mother chatted with me. She only mentioned that Chin Mu was naughty and stubborn, asking me to be patient with him without even asking about my education, my job or my family. Chin Mu occasionally talked back. Her mother ignored me as I cut the peeled apple into small pieces. Chin Mu sat cross-legged on the sofa playing Honor of Kings. Open your mouth, gesturing for me to feed her. While I did so, I also cut a piece and handed it to her mother. Auntie, please have some too. I already ate this afternoon, she declined politely. She turned to Chin Mu. Mom, I'm going downstairs to buy some groceries. Chen Fan will eat at home tonight. Before I could finish speaking, Chin Mu said loudly. Chen Fan likes braised fish. I think you're the one who wants to eat it, you're such a foodie. Chin Mu's mother said with a smile. Chin Mu laughed. Chen Fan, you sit down first. I'm going to the supermarket to buy fish and will be back soon. What are you going for? You only know how to cause trouble. Her mother said disdainfully. I'm going anyway. Helplessly, I followed along. Acting as a driver, we returned home. Director Chin was also off work, facing him. I couldn't help but feel nervous, perhaps because of guilt regarding Chen Shaoji's case. He didn't ask about my education or job. When it comes to income and family, they only ask if I can play chess. I'm not great at chess, but I play slowly. I analyzed the board seriously. Thinking slowly, don't rush. A single game lasted nearly an hour without a winner. Before Chin Mu's mother called us for dinner. During dinner, Director Chin asked if I drank alcohol. I politely declined and drank juice with Chin Mu instead. I acted like a waiter throughout the meal. I served food to Chin Mu, trying my best to be dutiful. After dinner, Chin Mu asked me to go for a walk. I excused myself early. I breathed a sigh of relief. The eldest miss had already left her house. You don't need to be so strict, Chin Mu said with a playful smile. Your parents might have already suspected something. Otherwise, why wouldn't they ask about my job, or my income and family background? You're acting well, she said indifferently. My parents want my boyfriend to be in the public security system, so they don't care what you're doing right now. Once we're officially together, they'll find you a decent job. This made me a bit tempted. Having a father-in-law who is a director of the public security department would be great. But it was only a moment of self-delusion. Chin Mu drove me to the Guandu ancient town parking lot. Then she went back. The next day, Chin Mu brought burgers and fried chicken to my house. Regarding my second uncle's situation, she had another idea. Without evidence, detaining a suspect indefinitely is unjust. She asked me to use online public opinion to help my uncle. But I didn't know anyone in social media. All I could think of was that once Li Jiahao's call connected, he shouted in surprise, Chen Fan, you're awake. Are you busy right now? I'm busy. What are you doing? I'm at the operating room door. Dad is having surgery inside. It's almost over. Dad is having surgery. I look shocked. What happened to my dad? What kind of surgery? He's having a kidney transplant. Once it's successful, he won't need weekly dialysis. A transplant is the real cure. Yeah, he said, bursting with pride. I haven't been idle this week. We found a suitable kidney donor in just 3 days. We're bringing Dad to Shanghai for the surgery immediately. Jiahao, you can't joke about this. My parents and I are in Shanghai right now. I lied to them saying you've been busy and will come after the surgery. With the kidney transplant and the donor. Don't worry about the money, Dad will be healthy again soon. We'll return to Kunming for recuperation next week. We'll only be discharged once there's no sign of rejection. He paused. Mom just came out of the restroom. I handed the phone to her. 10 seconds later, my mother's voice came through. Chen Fan, is that you? Jiahao brought you all to Shanghai for a kidney transplant. Why didn't you tell me? My mother asked in shock. Jiahao, you knew. What exactly is going on? It's fine, just stay with Dad until the surgery is finished. I'll head over tomorrow. Round-trip flights are expensive. Living and eating here is expensive too. I can take care of your dad. Just stay put. Phone calls are expensive too. Do you have anything else to say to Jiahao? Give it to him. The phone was returned to Li Jiahao. He asked with a smile. I took a deep breath. Buddy, thank you, I won't forget this favor. In the future, I'd work like a dog for you without hesitation. Aha, working like a slave is one thing. He changed the subject. How about being my brother-in-law instead? To tell you the truth, my sister thought of this and took the lead. I'm just here with our parents for the surgery. If you want to thank someone, think about it. My sister is so beautiful. You won't lose out being her brother-in-law. I knew Li Jiahao was joking about being a brother-in-law. Arranging something as big as my dad's kidney transplant. He definitely couldn't handle it alone. Li Xia must have taken the lead. She is reliable. Putting down the phone, I wondered how to thank Li Xia. Jinmu picked up the last chicken wing. I was listening to your call. Jinmu smiled slightly. The police wouldn't target Chen Xiaoji, so let's just consider it her way of buying peace of mind. That being said, I was still grateful to Li Xia. When I went to pick up a burger, I realized only the main food was left in the bucket. Jinmu had eaten all the chicken wings and drumsticks. She noticed my gaze and giggled. Sorry. Jinmu is quite likable. She stayed with me for over 2 hours. and then left. My heart was filled with complex emotions. Regardless of Li Xia's motives, I would remember this favor. I wanted to call her to say thanks several times. But I lacked the courage. The memory of her scolding me for corrupting Li Jiahao was still vivid. Later, even when I met her at her house, we didn't talk much. She went to her bedroom after hearing my request. There is ultimately a gap between us. After thinking all night, I decided to go to the Dikai Hotel to find Li Xia. To thank her in person, just as I reached the office floor, I ran into hurried Gao Su. What are you doing here, looking for me or President Li? Both. I'm here to thank Li Xia. I suggest you wait a bit to see President Li, Gao Su whispered. She's in big trouble. There was a board meeting this morning, and an all-hands meeting this afternoon. They say she was stripped of her power for embezzling funds. Li Quanming is trying to take advantage of the situation to seize the chairmanship. Gao Su looked around. It's not convenient to talk here. Let's go to the Starbucks on the third floor. We can talk while we drink. I need to find Li Xia. We'll talk later, Gao Su warned urgently. Duan Jingnan is in her office, Duan Wentao's dad. You won't be able to see her right now. I had no choice but to follow Gao Su to Starbucks. We sat in a corner. Today's board meeting was initiated by Li Quanming. Gao Su lowered his voice. The CFO Dang Jing reported Li Xia. She misappropriated 800,000 in public funds last week. Li Quanming took the opportunity to propose reducing her authority. Any expenditure over 500,000 now requires approval from half of the board. The reduction of power has already been decided. However, a shareholder gave her 3 days. If she explains the use of the money, the decision can be revoked. If 500,000 requires reporting, then the chairman's position will be a mere formality. I scratched my head and said pretty much. Gao Su took a sip of coffee. The company's factions are fighting fiercely. There are a few shareholders supporting him. But there are also major shareholders supporting Li Xia. In this afternoon's lower-level meeting, they specifically emphasized financial expenditures. Invoices and leader signatures are required. While we were talking, Dang Jing walked into Starbucks. She sat diagonally across from me and made a phone call. President Ming, don't worry, I have Li Xia's email. Her bank card information is on it. The 800,000 was indeed transferred. She said she couldn't dodge this money. Since I dared to report it, I've already blocked any way out. President Ming, you can't forget me. I have the spending records for every department head. If we really investigate, no one will be innocent. Let's just wait and see. I prepared all the accounts. Whose financial information you want? I can give to you anytime. After Dang Jing hung up, I whispered to Gao Su, asking if she was trying to threaten other employees. He made a shushing gesture. The company's politics are very deep. Li Quanming's group is determined to overthrow Li Xia. The ironclad evidence of the 800,000 is in Dang Jing's hands. She is clearly giving the other side leverage. We only returned to the Dikai office floor after Dang Jing left. Gao Su went to work. I went to Li Xia's office and rang the bell. Her assistant Liu Xiaoru opened the door. She looked unfriendly. What are you here for? Who is it? Li Xia's voice came from inside. It's that Minister Chen, the one who was removed after only 3 days on the job. Liu Xiaoru glared at me and told me to come in. Let's talk privately. Li Xia handed me a glass of water. With a smile she said, I should have apologized to you sooner. Jiahao told me everything about the fight that day. I regret it. If you hadn't fought Duan Wentao, I might not have lost my mind and reported Chen Shaoji. I'm sorry I was looking at her. I came specifically to thank you this time. If it weren't for you, my dad wouldn't have been able to afford the 300,000 to 400,000 kidney transplant fee. I don't want to owe you, but I really don't have the money to pay you back right now. At this point I was momentarily speechless. If it were Chin Mu, I would have jokingly replied, how about you marry me instead? But that wouldn't be appropriate to say to her. Why aren't you saying anything? She pressed. My face turned red as I wanted to say, just let me know if you need help. But realizing I wasn't much of anything, saying that would be too hypocritical, so I just stayed silent. Li Xia smiled and said, that's enough. Isn't that what everyone says over drinks? I sighed softly. Stop teasing me. I know you paid for my dad's transplant. Mostly to ease your own guilt. She glared at me intensely. You heartless guy, you don't want to owe me a favor. Then go downstairs and buy me a vanilla cornetto. Once you bring it back, we're even. I was surprised. It's really that simple, we're even. Of course, she teased. Then I'll invite you back to Dikai as the head of security. The topic was too heavy, so I just went downstairs to buy the cornetto. I brought the cornetto back to the office. Li Xia was leaning on her desk, staring blankly. I handed her the ice cream. Here. She, smelling of vanilla, lifted her eyelids. She carefully peeled the wrapper and gave it a small lick with her tongue. Showing a satisfied smile, I asked, are you satisfied? I love cornettos most of all. She squinted her eyes. Chen Fan, what's your favorite snack? I shook my head. I didn't have many memories of snacks from when I was a kid. Just 5-cent bags of spicy strips. My hands would always be covered in oil. My second uncle used to snatch snacks from others for me. That's how both of our snacks were obtained. Li Xia looked puzzled. She couldn't understand why boys had to snatch snacks to eat them. After finishing the cornetto, Li Xia suddenly asked, Chen Fan, are you busy this afternoon? What's wrong? I'll take you to Moon Bay. I found out later. There is a special entertainment activity in Moon Bay. Bungee jumping? If I had known it was this, I wouldn't have come even if my life depended on it. I've been afraid of heights since I was a child. Looking down from 100 meters in the air makes me dizzy. Li Xia fastened the gear. Feeling of the wind roaring in my ears. It felt like being reborn. I was going crazy. I reminded her, what if there's an accident? My mind went completely blank. The corners of her mouth curled up. It would be fine if something actually happened. Living is so exhausting. An accidental death wouldn't be bad either. With that, she spread her arms and jumped. I gripped the railing tightly and looked down. Her figure grew smaller and smaller. Want to try? It's very thrilling. The staff member asked. Many people come bungee jumping to experience the sensation of death. She isn't even afraid of death. The girl who just jumped comes here often. She used to come alone, but today I brought you. I was quite shocked that she frequently comes to seek death. I asked, is it because of the pressure? The staff member smiled. No, I haven't lived long enough. I quickly dismissed the thought, only wanting to leave quickly. Half an hour later, I saw Li Xia again. I felt like something about her was different, but I couldn't put my finger on it. She didn't show her emotions on her face, yet the impression she gave changed constantly. On the way back to Kunming, she took the initiative to talk about Chen Xiaoji. Asking if I had any way to fix this, I casually mentioned. Zhu Delong uses social media to apply pressure. We might be able to fight back in the same way. I was just chatting casually. Several popular local social media accounts in Kunming posted updates at the same time, instantly pushed this matter to the forefront. One of the posts written by a local influencer was particularly profound. One social media post directly exploded the topic with a piercing title. Lin Yifei, who was driven to suicide by Zhu Delong. The matter of Lin Yifei's jump had already subsided, but this post brought it back into the public eye. The article not only insisted it was a local influencer who drove Lin Yifei to suicide, but also provided a detailed analysis. Another post doxed Zhu Delong and Tian Afen, exposing the news of Tian Afen's death in a car accident. Yet public opinion overwhelmingly believed she deserved her fate. The timing of these two posts was extremely clever, both released after the local influencer's post. WeChat official accounts can only post once a day. Even if Zhu Delong wanted to explain, he would have to wait until after midnight. This gave us enough time to guide public opinion. We could continue to attack his excuses the next day. There was no doubt. This must have been Li Xia's doing. I owed her another favor. The matter was escalating. By the third day, public opinion was pointing toward my second uncle. The police did not have enough evidence for a conviction, so they could only release him temporarily. I intended to see him on the day he was released. But Yin Yihua stopped him, saying his current situation is sensitive. Jin Yu also called to remind me not to get too close to Chen Xiaoji lately. She also warned me not to say too much on the phone, as criminal investigation methods are far more sophisticated than imagined. Using social media to pressure the police. This was a method Chen Mu taught me. She knows the police's weaknesses best. While squeezing onto the bus this afternoon, familiar sharp voice rang out with a loud slap. Get your filthy hands off me. I looked toward the voice, unable to believe my eyes. I actually ran into Li Xia on the bus. At first I thought I was seeing things. How could she be riding a bus? The man who just slapped her was the bespectacled 30-year-old. Li Xia's slap nearly knocked his glasses off. The man froze for a moment, likely feeling embarrassed under everyone's gaze, and stubbornly retorted, who touched your ass? Do you have proof? Li Xia was enraged by his words again. She raised her hand to deliver a second slap, but before her hand could touch his face, he caught it in his hand. The man held Li Xia's wrist high, and said to the people around them, everyone saw it, this woman is hitting people. And accusing me of touching her ass, everyone saw. His words stopped abruptly, because my fist had already struck him in the face. In pain, the man released Li Xia's hand, clutching his nose and stumbling back 2 steps. I used my body to shield Li Xia behind me, and looked at the man asking, did anyone say you touched her ass? You're the one acting guilty. A passenger looked at the man with contempt and said, you look like a creep, a shameless bus groper. Hit him, someone shouted from within the crowd. The person closest to the man delivered a kick to his leg. There were quite a few people ready to kick, but almost no one actually followed through with a heavy blow. The man was kicked toward the front door of the bus, cowering by the entrance, unable to move. I didn't participate much in the subsequent scuffle. Li Xia stood by my side, looking aggrieved as she watched it all. I wanted to take her to the spot where I had just been sitting, but I found that the seat was no longer mine. The bus pulled up to the Zhengyifeng bus stop. The man who was kicked rushed off through the front door. Fleeing in disgrace, a few other passengers also got off through the back door. Creating space, with my years of experience squeezing onto buses, I easily found a seat for Li Xia. I stood to the side with my hands resting on the seat in front of her and the chair Li Xia was sitting in, to prevent other passengers from getting close to Li Xia. Sitting in the chair, she tilted her head back to look at me and asked, turning her head toward the window, refusing to acknowledge me. Isn't this posed to keep you enclosed? To prevent other people's wandering hands from reaching for you. You can think of me as your protector now. Li Xia rolled her eyes in disdain, and said to me, I really can't associate this pose with the term protector. I feel more like you're trying to catch a pig. Catch a pig? Li Xia realized she had said the wrong thing, and gave up on arguing with me. Turned her head toward the window, not planning to acknowledge me. I stood beside Li Xia and asked. Li Xia said naturally, can we just have a normal conversation? It feels like we argue every time we meet. How about you tell me how it felt to have your butt touched just now? Li Xia turned her head and glared at me intensely, then went back to looking out the window. She wouldn't even talk to me, I was just joking with her. Was it really necessary? The bus swayed for 6 or 7 stops, approaching the residential area where Li Xia lived. She stood up and said to me, is this how you talk to your savior? Can you be just a little bit nicer? Savior, a contemptuous smirk played on Li Xia's lips. What did you save me from, helping me drive off a creep? Isn't that the truth? If someone helped me drive off a creep, I would definitely treat them to dinner. Is that so? I happily followed Li Xia off the bus. There was a commercial street near the residential area. After getting off, Li Xia led me straight toward the commercial street. As we walked, she asked, "What do you want to eat?" "I'm home alone and too lazy to cook." "Whatever," I teased Li Xia. "As long as you're paying, I don't care." I'm not picky about what we eat. As I said this, the passers-by on the commercial street cast contemptuous looks. Many people were probably thinking, how can this person say something so thick-skinned? Li Xia was completely helpless. She said to me, "Can you act a bit more professional?" I leaned on the stall with both hands and asked back, "What's wrong? Is there something wrong with my image?" Li Xia sighed softly. She turned right and entered a Korean barbecue restaurant. She chose a booth and said to me, "I really don't want to walk another step on the street with you. You've been hurting my feelings with your ruthless words all along. I am magnanimous enough not to argue with you." Li Xia had no interest in discussing such boring topics with me. While looking at the menu, she asked what my current job was. "Chen Fan, seriously, have you thought about returning to Dicai to work? Actually, many senior executives in the company recognize you. Don't look at the fact that you only worked for 3 days. The entire atmosphere of the security department has changed. Now the head of the security department is He Dazhuang. Cao Yaowei has already been fired by me." At this point, Li Xia closed the menu and looked at me seriously. "Chen Fan, I think we should have a proper talk today." Li Xia and I sat facing each other, her expression serious. There was no sign of joking. "Two things. Don't take him to fight if something happens to him. The last fight wasn't Chen Xiaoji's fault. What is the second thing? I really hope you can return to Dicai." I stared at her in disbelief. "Don't doubt my sincerity. Last time you only worked for 3 days. Most security guards have a good opinion of you. They say you have ideas. They admire your way of doing things. Why not consider coming back? It's not easy to find a suitable job now. If you're only looking for 3 to 5,000 a month to survive, you could do food delivery. I don't mean to look down on those jobs. I just think one should consider long-term development, instead of just working for a few thousand yuan. What do you think?" These words were very sincere. In the past, I only thought about making more money for my father's medical treatment. I never considered stability or development. After a moment of silence, I nodded. "You're right." Later we talked about school and she asked me, "Were you good at studying in school? You only got 60-something points in the Gaokao Chinese exam. And you didn't even write the essay." Li Xia's eyes widened. "The total score is over 600. Her face was full of disbelief. We chatted while eating for nearly an hour. Before leaving, I sincerely asked her, "Can I ask you for help if there's something I don't understand?" She told me she was available anytime. After spending time together, I felt my relationship with Li Xia had changed a bit. 2 days later in the morning, Li Jiahao suddenly called. The kidney transplant was successful. There is no obvious rejection. We arrive at Changshui Airport at 1:00 p.m. Come pick us up. My hanging heart finally settled. I immediately called my second uncle to share the good news. It turned out he already knew. Li Jiahao still trusted him more. After lunch, I arrived at the domestic arrivals exit of Changshui Airport. Yin Yihua was leaning against Chen Xiaoji. Li Xia was sitting alone on a chair nearby, reading documents. They clearly knew each other but were acting like strangers. "Chen Fan, you're here," Yin Yihua greeted me first. I looked at my second uncle, wondering if he planned to turn his life around. "Get lost," he cursed. I walked toward Li Xia. She didn't look up until I stood before her. She naturally tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. "You got Jiahao's call, right?" She put away her documents. "Now that your father's illness is under control, you should feel much more relieved." "Thank you." I was grateful from the bottom of my heart. The dumplings my mom made are delicious. "Once he is stable." A promise is a promise, it settled. Just as the words fell, Li Jiahao emerged from the exit with my parents. Second brother, sister Hua were back. Big brother, second uncle went to meet them. "Let's go over and see." Li Xia followed me forward. Second uncle introduced Yin Yihua to my parents. After a few words, I spoke up. "Feeling much better. It's all thanks to Jiahao, otherwise I'd be ruined for the rest of my life." "Dad," my father said with gratitude, calling Li Jiahao affectionately. "Let me introduce you." My father said excitedly, "Kid, thank you, uncle. You're too kind, uncle. Jiahao and Chen Fan hit it off, so he's your godson now. We are all family." "Exactly. Dad, don't be so polite, let's not linger at the airport." "Second brother, let's find a place to eat first." When the 5 of us went to the parking lot, we surprisingly found Li Xia was driving a Buick GL8 used for shuttling guests. Li Jiahao was stunned. "Why are you driving this? Where's the Range Rover?" "I had someone send it to the 4S dealership." "That's impossible. I only got the second insurance before I left." "Why is there a maintenance alert? Did you bump into someone?" "It was just a small accident, a minor bump." Li Xia followed the topic, and Li Jiahao didn't ask further. I stopped Li Xia as she went toward the driver's seat. "If you're not used to driving this car, let me drive." She hesitated for a moment before handing me the keys. I took the keys and stared into her eyes, asking, "Did you embezzle company funds to get a kidney transplant for my dad? Your Range Rover isn't even at the dealership. You were sold out, right?" Li Xia gave me a contemptuous look and asked back, "What does this have to do with you?" She didn't give me a chance to press her further. She walked around the front of the car to the passenger seat. We returned to the city and had a simple lunch. Then we went to the hospital to handle the hospitalization and recuperation procedures. Lee Jiahao settled all the expenses. The doctor said I needed to be hospitalized for observation for 1 to 2 weeks. My parents thought it wasn't necessary, but Li Xia and Li Jiahao insisted otherwise. Settled my parents in. I stayed in the ward with Dad, sitting on the bed, and said, the hospital said the stitches would be removed in 7 days. We need to stay for at least half a month. We've been going back and forth in Shanghai for over 10 days now. I advised him, just stay here peacefully for the last few days. Dad said cautiously that this trip to Shanghai cost a lot of money. The surgery alone was over 600,000. Your mom and I have decided to sell the house when we get home. Where will you live if I sell you guys? I'm getting anxious. Mom said from the side. The two of us can rent a small place in the slums for 30 or 40 square meters. It's fine, Shayaji, and you won't. It's settled then, Dad interrupted me. Back then when you thought I was gone. You don't need to give your opinion, I'm even more stubborn than you. Didn't you also insist on your own ideas back when you skipped college? I was completely speechless. This is really my biological father. In the evening, Chen Shayaji and Yin Yihu arrived. Chen Shayaji bought a lot of things Dad likes to eat. Yin Yihu gave Mom a big red envelope. I pulled Chen Shayaji to the hospital ward balcony, making sure no one could hear. Is the situation still tense? I'm not nervous, so why are you? Without enough evidence, they can't do anything to me. I should praise you, you handled that Santana well. I scratched my head and laughed. That day at Sister Hua's house, I just didn't like the look of that car. Water in Dianchi is lush green this season. When will it ever be clear enough to see, given how bad the pollution is? By then, the car will be too corroded to recognize. Chen Shaoji had his left hand in his pocket. He was looking out the window while holding a cigarette in his right hand. Don't bring this up again. Lately, I've become quite skilled at dealing with the police. I smiled, but he didn't say anything. I couldn't match that level of composure. I couldn't help but ask, do you know how the police found you? Chen Shaoji said calmly, not intending to chat much. Resentment, of course. And a lot of it, but I can understand her perspective. Understanding doesn't mean forgiving, and forgiving doesn't mean seeking revenge. Your father's kidney transplant was paid for by her. It would take us 10 or 8 years to earn that much money. One should be grateful. As long as I handle it well, even if we aren't friends, we won't become enemies. I breathed a sigh of relief. I was worried your stubborn personality would lead to something reckless. Chen Shaoji turned his head and looked at me with disdain. Just because I'm stubborn doesn't mean I'm brainless. Nike, you're so heartless, you lowlife. I really wanted to punch him. Yin Yihua was chatting happily with my parents. I wanted to stay to take care of them, but I was sent away by Chen Shaoji and my parents. They were worried I wouldn't have enough energy for work tomorrow. I didn't explain much. It's fine having Chen Shaoji here. I also wanted to slip away early to rest. But I suddenly really wanted to find Li Xia. Even if it was just to sit face to face for a while. I haven't decided exactly what to talk about yet. I've been to the high-end community where Li Xia lives. The security guard at the gate stopped me and said a resident must unlock the access control for me to enter. Just as I was wondering whether to make a phone call, Li Xia arrived on a motorcycle with a Gucci bag hanging on her arm. She got off the bike and gave the driver 10 yuan. He paid her 5 yuan. She froze when she saw me. Why aren't you at the hospital with your parents? What are you doing here? You're so carefree, riding a motorcycle while carrying a Gucci bag. Aren't you afraid of being robbed? Li Xia tucked her long hair behind her ear. Do you think a girl carrying a Gucci bag would be carrying something fake that a robber would risk everything for? I gave her a thumbs up. You think robbers don't have brains? She's carrying an access card. She led me into the community, the breeze carrying the scent of her hair. I turned my head and asked because I wanted to find out. If you sold the Land Rover to my dad to pay for his kidney transplant. Yes, she replied casually. Daihao and I only have shares in Dicky. I live on my salary every month. If I don't have 700,000 to 800,000 in savings, I'll have to sell my car first. You misappropriated public funds first and then sold the car to cover it up. Right. What's the difference? Why do it? Just to give myself peace of mind. After saying it, I regretted it. Those words were too much. She kept walking. You don't need to care about my motives. Nor do you need to know. It's not like I asked you to pay me back. What are you so nervous about? I grabbed her hand and said seriously. No matter what your motive is. I don't know how to repay you, but I want to do something for you. Li Xia looked at my face, then glanced at my hand holding hers. Don't tell me you're offering yourself to me. I couldn't handle that. I quickly let go. Don't take this lightly, she said, shrugging. I ask for nothing else. Having said that, she turned and walked toward the building. After a few steps, she stopped and looked back. What are you thinking about? Why don't you come up and sit for a while? I should get back. She turned elegantly and disappeared from sight. To this day, I still don't understand her true reason for helping me. Was it for peace of mind or regret? Without a definite answer, I could only let it be. Leaving the residential area, I indulged in a 22 yuan Hunks cigarette. It was a celebration for my father's recovery. Lighting a cigarette, I dialed Chin Mu's number. Her funny dialect ringback tone played for over 10 seconds before she answered. Her first words were, "What pig?" I had to start over and she hung up immediately after hearing it. Helplessly, I called again. I'll organize them and give them to you together. When do you ever call me without a reason? If it's nothing, you're too lazy to even like my posts. Thinking about it, that was true. I felt a bit embarrassed. I didn't even know how to start the words I had prepared. Jin Mu sighed deeply. Jin Mu's words made me feel ashamed. Holding the phone, I said tremblingly, Let me invite you to a bar to listen to music. Strange. Why is it listening to music with you? Shouldn't it be drinking? I'm afraid if I say let's go drinking, you'll worry I have bad intentions. Like getting you drunk to trick you into a hotel room. Don't worry, Chin Mu said nonchalantly, you can't get me drunk. Even if I were drunk, I wouldn't easily go to a hotel with you. Send me the address, I happen to be free today. I sent her the bar's address. The atmosphere there was quiet and peaceful. It's more like a lounge, and snacks and beer are almost free. Imported liquor is also sold at cost. You don't have to worry about being ripped off. Since we're meeting, you can just tell me what you want to say. Help me collect evidence of Dang Jing and Deng Kaiming scamming Dick. I really need it. Chin Mu rolled her eyes. I remember in the past when I approached you, you ignored me. Why do you want me to help you collect evidence now, if I'm not mistaken? It's not, Chin Mu raised her voice. Zio Chen fan, don't lie, you're not that smart. Lying makes you feel guilty. I'm not lying. I actively want to help Li Xia. My dad has suffered from kidney disease for many years. I'm not capable, and after being in Kunming for over 4 years, I haven't earned enough for a transplant. A while ago, Chen Xiaoji got into a fight helping Li Jiahao. Li Xia mistakenly thought Chen Xiaoji was the ringleader. In a fit of rage, she reported him. I had prepared for the worst. If Chen Xiaoji is investigated, there's a high chance of the death penalty. Even if it's death with reprieve or life imprisonment, I wouldn't be cleared either. I told Li Jiahao that I only asked him to take care of my dad. Later, Li Xia sent my dad to Shanghai for a kidney transplant. That money was embezzled public funds. Deng Jing and Deng Kaiming took the opportunity to attack her, calling a board meeting to strip her of her power. She had no choice. I felt I should do something for her. That's my original intention, I'm not lying. Jinmu, listen seriously. I believe what you're saying is true, it fits your personality. When others are good to you. I've looked into Deng Kaiming's information before. It can all serve as evidence. I'll check the transaction details more thoroughly later. We met by chance and you've helped me countless times. Besides saying thank you, I don't know what else I can do for you. Jinmu smiled with squinted eyes. To deal with my parents, last time we had a meal. They kept urging me to bring you home. When are you free to come home with me for a visit? Just to make my mom happy. And to stop her from nagging me constantly. Don't worry, I won't interfere with your pursuit of Li Xia. What? Don't go making up random matchmaking stories, okay? When did I ever say I was pursuing Li Xia? Where did you hear that? Jinmu said proudly, there's no need for hearsay. I can already tell when you talk about Li Xia. Your voice involuntarily lowers a bit. It has a natural gentleness, especially when you say Li Xia did it for. Don't think I can't see these small details. You probably don't even notice them yourself. So I am certain. Good luck. I rolled my eyes and said, ridiculous. You are completely guessing blindly. Hee, some people are still in a half-idiot state. Just keep being your half-idiot self. I'll send you the data you requested as soon as possible. Don't forget what you promised me. Deal, I'll keep this fake boyfriend for now. I hope you find a real one soon. We chatted for over 2 hours about various topics. After returning to my place and showering, I sent a voice message to Gao Su, asking about Dickai's recent moves against Li Xia. Chen Fan, I was about to call you myself. Gao Su said excitedly. What happened? After the news of Li Xia embezzling funds broke, the shareholder support rate dropped significantly. Li Quanming took the opportunity to accuse her, and openly began recruiting top management to his side. I interrupted him. Is anyone actually joining him? Li Xia has already been stripped of her power. She's a figurehead now. Everyone has seen Li Quanming's foundation. His prestige has actually increased, I reckon. From an objective standpoint, people will indeed lose some trust in Li Xia. After all, she was the one who embezzled funds first. I just couldn't understand how she dared to embezzle public funds at a time like this. Gao Su sighed deeply. The financial power is in their hands. Isn't this throwing away her own control over Dickai? It's not worth the loss. I only then realized how much risk Li Xia took for me. She must have considered the consequences. The next day, I went to the police station entrance to find Chin Mu. She tossed an envelope to me. All the evidence you wanted is here. It's enough to prove Dang Jing. That Deng Kaiming conspired with the procurement manager to embezzle money. Deng Kaiming conspired with the procurement manager to embezzle money. How do I use this? Study it yourself. I've done everything I can. What about what you promised me? I'll buy 2 turkeys and go to your house tonight. Chin Mu glared at me. Chin Mu rolled her eyes at me and said, I'm not playing with you anymore. Just as she left, Gao Su sent a shocking emoji on WeChat. Chen Fan. They suddenly called a board meeting to remove Li Xia from her positions as chairman and general manager. Seeing Gao Su's message, I instantly lost my composure. I picked up my phone to reply. How did you know? I've been keeping an eye on the upper management. Li Quanming just announced a board meeting for 2:30 p.m. Colleagues are whispering that he wants to remove Li Xia. To take her place by 2:10 p.m., I grabbed the file folder Chin Mu gave me. I headed straight for the 7 or 8 kilometers to Dickai. I hailed an electric scooter. The driver was speeding. Completely unfazed by the traffic, I held the file folder tight with my left hand. With my right hand, I dialed Li Xia's number. It rang a few times before being hung up. The loan application rang a few times before being hung up. I was unwilling to call again. Once she answered, she immediately said, Chen Fan, I'm busy right now. I'll call you back later. Before she could finish, the call was hung up for a 3rd time. It showed the phone was powered off. I had no choice. I switched to calling Gao Su. He answered instantly. What's up? I'm on my way to Dickai. I won't make it before 2:00. I'll be a few minutes late. I said, do me a favor, sneak into the meeting room. Hide your phone in a corner. Keep the line open, I need to hear what's happening inside. Even if I do, what then? Gaosu was confused. Don't ask, there's no time. You know the Dikai meeting room well. Alright, I gripped my phone tightly. Urging the scooter driver to hurry, Gaosu's voice came through the phone. President Lee, I have a document that needs your review. The board meeting is about to start. If it's important, we'll discuss it after the meeting. Then Gaosu went silent. Only the noisy chatter remained. Old Su, what do you think? With Lee Quanming calling a meeting now. He's likely confident about changing the chairman. This sibling feud isn't good for the shareholders. I support whoever is capable of leading Dikai. Li Xia is capable. Even in the low season of the first half, the occupancy rate was 20% higher than last year. I will still vote for her, don't forget she embezzled public funds. Even though she paid it back later, there's still no proper explanation for its use. If this continues, the board has already restricted her authority. Stop arguing, the future chairman is here. Immediately after, Lee Quanming's voice rang out. Everyone is here quite early. How is this possible? Liu Xiaoru's voice came through. Are you hoping President Lee won't show up? Do as you wish, Lee Quanming said with a chuckle. Of course not, we're discussing important matters today. It wouldn't do without President Lee. Let's begin, Li Xia's voice was calm and emotionless. Several shareholders have jointly called for this extraordinary board meeting, with a shareholding ratio exceeding 40%. Following protocol and respecting the request, I declare the board meeting officially open. I wonder what is being discussed today. Lee Quanming, the current chairman and general manager, misappropriated public funds. Even after compensation, no reasonable explanation was given to the board. Suspected of dereliction of duty, we are convening a board meeting today, with only one purpose, to apply for the re-election of the chairman and general manager. The other end of the phone instantly fell into chaos. I shouted anxiously to the e-bike driver. Master, faster, I'll pay more. Don't rush, the driver said helplessly. An e-bike can't keep up with a motorcycle. We'll be there soon. The other end of the phone was chaotic for 10 seconds. Li Xia's calm voice came through. I want to ask how many of you agree with Lee Quanming's proposal to re-elect the chairman. If it's over half, I will accept, no need to rush. The old voice rang out. The surroundings instantly fell silent. Since Li Xia took over Dikai, the company's performance has been obvious. This year's growth has increased significantly. Impeaching her solely for misappropriating funds might be justifiable, but today's election seems like a calculated opportunity by someone. As a shareholder, I support the capable. I hope the next person is more competent than Li Xia. Why not look at the nominees first before deciding on a re-election? Elder Yi is right, I support Elder Yi, his consideration is thorough. Lee Quanming smiled and said, several shareholders have already nominated me. We will vote fairly and openly. Your disagreement won't matter, someone interjected. Everyone was talking at once. The scene was chaotic again, I could only hear the gist. I had to rely on guesswork. Everyone please be quiet. Lee Quanming's voice rang out. Let's do a simple count. I knew he was well prepared, making me even more anxious. I grew more anxious, constantly urging the driver. We're almost there, just cross this street and... The driver was pressured and helpless. He crossed the road before the light turned green. It scared me so much I broke into a cold sweat. The voting results are out. More than half support the change. Lee Quanming's voice came through. According to the rules, the board will nominate candidates first. Li Jiahao shouted, re-election doesn't mean my sister has no chance. I have 13% of the shares and so does my sister. Together that's 26%. Is there anyone else who supports my sister? I support her, a strange voice rang out. Duan Jingnan holds 10% of Dikai. Including mine, that's enough. This is Duan Wentao's father. He always wanted his son to be with Li Xia. But Duan Wentao likes the daughter of another shareholder. Are there any other nominees? Lee Quanming's tone was filled with disappointment. If not, President Lee. Let's begin. Li Xia's voice was emotionless. As if she had already given up, another voice spoke up. Since the process has reached this stage, I have nothing more to say. I hope everyone votes carefully to elect a leader who can bring better development to Dikai. The electric scooter finally stopped in front of Dikai. I tossed the master 50 yuan and rushed inside without looking back. The security guard stopped me. What are you doing? Do you have an appointment? Swipe the elevator. I pointed at his ID badge. Tell Yi Dazhuang. That Minister Chen is here and we'll chat with him later. I am a shareholder of Dikai. The board meeting is already late. The guard skeptically swiped my card for the elevator. I added, I'll get you a promotion. He saluted happily. If there are no objections, let's start voting. Lee Quanming's voice came through. Wait, I shouted instinctively into the phone. But no one could hear me. The signal suddenly cut out in the elevator. The situation in the meeting room was completely unknown. Is the voting really about to start? I was so anxious I wished the elevator could fly. As soon as the doors opened, I practically rushed out. I headed straight for the meeting room, having worked here for a few days. I knew the layout well and reached the door in 40 seconds. I could hear the chaotic sounds from inside. I took a deep breath and adjusted Lang Hu's image. The document folder in my hand was the key to winning this round. I pushed the meeting room door open directly. The room fell silent instantly. Everyone froze and stared at me in unison. Li Xia's eyes were full of surprise, yet she remained calm. Lee Quanming stood up and asked, Who are you? Who let you in? I didn't look at him. I walked straight to Li Xia's side. leaned down and whispered loudly. I have organized all the financial investigation materials. They can be announced to everyone now. Would you like to announce the investigation results yourself? Or should I? She spoke with composure. Standing behind her, I picked up the microphone and looked around at everyone. Many executives at Dikai are also small shareholders. I handed the document folder to Liu Xiaoru. Please project the data inside. Project it on the big screen so everyone can see our investigation results. Xiaoru immediately did as instructed. Shareholders, what we are about to present are the investigation results. Holding the microphone, as everyone knows, there have been major issues with Dikai's procurement channels in recent years. Low-quality hotel supplies bought at high prices have led to frequent complaints. Mr. Lee asked me to investigate secretly, and I have finally obtained all the data. Everyone, please look at the big screen. The information for the first supplier appears on the screen. I explained that the legal representative of this company is Deng Kaiming. He had a partnership with Dikai years ago. The procurement contract is as follows. Xiaoru put up the contract. I continued. After the partnership, this company quickly disappeared. After Dikai suffered losses without any way to seek justice, Dikai looked for new partners. Xiaoru showed the data for the second company. The legal representative of the second company is still Deng Kaiming. The transaction for the second company was done the same way. After procurement, the company could no longer be found. I pointed at the screen. All the low-quality supplies Dikai has purchased in recent years were all provided by him. Dikai is forced to pay high prices for temporary supplies again, while Deng Kaiming has already registered his next company. Speaking of which, why has the procurement department repeatedly chosen to work with him? What are you talking about? A slightly chubby middle-aged man stood up and pointed at me. I am the head of the procurement department. Where did you get this fake data? Give me an explanation. I'm not done with you. The truth about the data will be revealed in a moment. First, let's talk about Deng Kaiming's identity. Get out! Li Quanming suddenly lost control and shouted. What nonsense are you babbling here? Let him finish, a solemn-looking elderly man said deeply. As shareholders, we have the right to know the truth. Young man, please continue, I nodded. Deng Kaiming is the husband of Deng Jing, the finance director. The procurement department procures supplies. The procurement department repeatedly completes purchases and receives payments. You can figure out the shady dealings yourselves. I recently started investigating from the low-quality product suppliers and found this secret. I have no other evidence. Today, the board is electing new leadership. I hope everyone will be prudent. I placed the microphone in front of Li Xia. I stepped back respectfully. The meeting room fell into a deathly silence. A minute later, the elderly man slammed the table. The finance department. Today's board meeting is adjourned for now. The matter of changing leadership is also postponed for now. Ubo, Yingming and Li Jiahao were the first to raise their hands. I support a recess and for my sister to continue as chairperson. Investigate the mole first before discussing the election. I agreed and everyone raised their hands. The board meeting couldn't continue, but Li Xia didn't announce the adjournment immediately. She looked at Li Quanming. In my capacity as chairperson and general manager, I order you to investigate this matter within 3 days. Give all shareholders a reasonable explanation. Can you do it? Li Xia clearly knew that Li Quanming and Dang Jing were in league. Why would she let him investigate? Was she confused? Or did she want to make peace with Li Quanming? Li Quanming also looked at her, completely bewildered. I stole a glance at Dang Jing. Her face was pale. Clearly in shock, Deng Kaiming's operations were quite hidden. He would dissolve the company after every collaboration. But Chenmu still used his and his relatives' ID numbers 440106199000520XXX to dig up every company registered under Deng Kili, Deng Dingli and others. I really don't understand why Li Xia wanted Li Quanming to investigate. Isn't this giving him a chance to cover his tracks? Fine, I will investigate thoroughly. And give the board an account as soon as possible, Li Quanming said after a few seconds of silence. Li Xia nodded and said to everyone. Since everyone proposes a recess, she stood up to leave. Xiaoru packed the files and followed, even winking at me to follow along. Once in Li Xia's office, Xiaoru excitedly slammed the files on the desk. She hugged her. Xia, you're amazing. You had Chen Fan investigate these long ago. Why didn't you tell me? You brat. Li Xia patted her back. Who told you not to tell me and prepare in advance? Xiaoru let go and smiled. I didn't. Chen Fan's appearance was a complete accident. Xiaoru looked at me, then back at her. You didn't lie to me. Xiaoru's excitement faded, and she stared at me suspiciously. I shrugged. Don't look at me like that. I'm under pressure, so I'm just cranky. But you did well this time. I won't give you attitude anymore. Xiaoru glared at me. Xiaoru, I need to speak with Chen Fan alone. Li Xia said. Only the two of us were left in the office. Li Xia said softly, I really didn't expect you to appear at the most critical moment. I was already prepared to step down. Li Quanming had plotted for so long. Today was supposed to be his victory, but your appearance disrupted his plans. Why give up so easily? I previously gave you the data on Dang Jing and Deng Kaiming's company schemes. Why didn't you use it? Everyone knows Dang Jing is on Li Quanming's side. Li Xia looked distressed. The internal struggle in Dikai is more complex than you think. Li Quanming is just a tool for the other side. The group behind him is very powerful. Dealing with just Dang Jing won't change anything. I haven't been in charge of Dikai for long, but today I've really been pushed to the limit. To keep the peace, I guessed. Why would I have Li Quanming investigate Dang Jing and the procurement department leaders? Isn't it just letting him cheat? He might use backroom deals to let Dang Jing go. And everyone can save face and continue living in peace. That's not your goal, Li Xia said with a slight smile. Without answering, she instead asked, Chen Fan, what kind of girl do you think I am? What kind? Why are you asking this all of a sudden? Just be honest. I hesitated for a long time. To achieve your goal at any cost. Why do you say that? Am I that unscrupulous? She froze. Yes, I said with difficulty. For example, you reported Chen Xiaoji. Just because you hoped he wouldn't corrupt Li Jiahao. There was no need to be so extreme. But you did it to achieve your goal. Li Xia took a deep breath. Fine, to get a kidney transplant for my dad. You didn't hesitate to let Li Quanming get leverage over you. And you didn't care about your own situation even while embezzling funds. Only thinking about getting the job done. To achieve your goal at any cost, thank you so much. Without you, I don't know how much longer he would have suffered. It's nothing. We chatted for a while after that, and then I left. 2 nights later, I was wandering the streets with nothing to do. I checked my moments and saw that Li Xia had posted a status a minute ago. It was a street view and a shadow elongated by a streetlight. Without thinking much, I called her. Not asleep yet, the call was answered instantly. She paused for a moment. I'm at the entrance of the residential area. Why the sudden urge to pick me up? I saw your post. I thought you were like me. Wandering the streets, Li Xia said. I'll take you to a place where you can let your soul rest. She hung up directly and sent a location. I borrowed my landlord old Joe's car. I arrived in 10 minutes. Li Xia was standing under a streetlight. Holding a cup of milk tea, she didn't notice me. Not until I walked up to her did she look surprised. So fast waiting to let your soul rest. How could I not be fast? Bro will treat you to something luxurious, let's go for a drive. She obediently walked to the passenger seat. There was no disdain, which actually made me feel a bit uneasy. After getting in the car, she still wouldn't let go of her milk tea. Is this milk tea so good that you can't bear to part with it? Try some, she said, handing the milk tea to me. It's taro flavored, if you don't mind, give it a try. I took the milk tea and took a sip through the straw she had used. The light, fresh fragrance was indeed quite nice. Told you right? She asked, her eyes full of anticipation. It's good. I placed the milk tea in the cup holder. But there was no need to hold milk tea in the middle of the night and walk around the streets with a phone. Li Xia sighed softly, mimicking my tone. My soul has nowhere to rest, let's go. Let's find a place to rest it. I started the engine. She set the navigation on her phone. Half an hour later, we arrived at the Heimei Dam, a dike hundreds of meters long surrounding Dianchi Lake. I had delivered food here before. Li Xia was the first to climb the steps of the dam. She was jumping and hopping on top. I slowly walked forward. I found a bench to sit on. The surface of Dianchi Lake shimmered with fishing lights. The bright moon hung in the distance, its reflection cast upon the water. The world instantly went silent. Li Xia sat down beside me after she had finished jumping. Is this a good place to rest my soul? I turned to look at her. Her long hair was blowing in the wind. As the scent of her hair drifted toward me, she noticed my gaze and asked, Why are you looking at me? You seem very familiar with this place. She took a deep breath and leaned against the back of the chair, gazing into the distance. I didn't see my dad when I was little. I lived with my mom and younger brother. In a first-grade essay titled My Father, I didn't write a single word saying I didn't have a father. My classmates all looked at me strangely. Dad was always secretly giving mom a lot of money. We lived a comfortable life. Later, some kids started gossiping behind our backs, saying my mom was a sex worker. To earn money for our education, tears slid down her cheeks. I clumsily pulled out a crumpled tissue and handed it to her. I didn't know how to comfort her, so I just leaned quietly against her shoulder. We aren't both living happily, are we? She choked up. I often dream of my mom. She always says she must take good care of Jiahao. For him, I can do anything, including reporting Chen Xiaoji. Chen Fan, I'm sorry. Her body trembled uncontrollably, and tears soaked my shoulder. It turned out I wasn't the only one in pain. I couldn't help but kiss her forehead. I held her tighter, fearing she would notice my awkwardness. She had actually noticed, but strangely she didn't call it out. In the dead of night, we just leaned against each other. She didn't struggle for a long time. She said softly, Chen Fan, let's go back before we catch a cold. I let go. Do you have clothes in your car? I want to sit for a while longer. No. I took off my coat and draped it over her. Let's walk along the embankment. Sitting still makes it colder. Wrapped in my coat, she stayed very close to me. I wanted to hold her hand but feared being too forward. I could only suppress the impulse when I'm under a lot of pressure. I come here for a walk, she said softly. Open spaces can make a person feel relieved. I've long been used to coming here to space out and cry secretly. Chen Fan. She interrupted me, asking cautiously, can you not call me by my full name? Just call me Xia, okay? When you call me that, it feels strange. Or is it that you only see me as an ordinary friend? No, I was just afraid it would upset you. It's fine. She forced a smile. Everyone should have a few close friends. I'm even willing to cry in front of you. Do you still think I'm just an ordinary friend? Like a best friend? I don't know. Her voice was very soft. I won't be angry hearing her say that. I felt a small sense of joy, feeling like she was different toward me than before. I casually asked, how has the company been these past 2 days? Li Quanming hasn't been causing you trouble, has he? Has there been any result from his investigation into Dang Jing? I've never understood why you let him investigate Dang Jing. Isn't that a conflict? Everyone in the company knows Dang Jing is his person. She sighed lightly. At the board meeting that day, I said that in front of everyone. Precisely so everyone could watch how he handles it. He would definitely protect Dang Jing and suppress the matter. I didn't give him the chance, switching to business. She became decisive instantly. In the name of the board, I sued Dang Jing for abuse of power. This is no longer just an internal company conflict. She is facing imprisonment. Once it blows up, Lee Quanming won't be able to escape responsibility either. He won't be able to protect her at all. He's in a difficult position now. And it will disappoint others as well. This is a battle of wits. It depends on how he responds. I was shocked. I didn't expect her to be so meticulous. In just a few dozen minutes at the board meeting that day, he had actually set up such a large trap. Old man Lee was indeed wise to entrust Dickai to her. He has both a soft, tearful side. She can also look wise and steady. Don't underestimate her. Thinking about this, I felt inexplicably happy. Suddenly she stopped walking and looked at me. Where did you get those investigation files? Someone must be helping you behind the scenes. And they must be very close, right? Even the lawyer was stunned by the data. Is it convenient for you to set up a meeting with her? I have something important I want to ask her help with. Let Li Xia and Chen Mu meet. Is that really necessary? I never imagined Li Xia would meet Chen Mu. I felt like their paths would never cross. Seeing that I didn't speak, she asked cautiously. Is it inconvenient if it is? Just help me thank Chen Mu. I explained I didn't expect you to want to see her. I'll ask her out another day to see how she reacts. Chen Mu is investigating the matter regarding Jing Gong's husband. The fewer people who know, the better. After all, it's not through official channels, and she avoids talking about it herself. I understand, Li Xia said with a smile. It was getting late. I drove her home at 1:00 a.m. I returned to the bar at 1:30 a.m. The landlord, old Joe, was still awake. He was sitting by the booth, reading a book under the desk lamp. A pot of coffee sat on the table. I placed the car keys on the table and left after thanking him. At noon the next day, Li Xia called. It's Friday, let's go to the hospital to see your parents together. Jai Hao said they are arguing to be discharged again. He can't control them, you, as their son, need to persuade them personally. I sighed helplessly, then I'll head over in a bit. She reminded me. Come find me at the Dickai Hotel after work. I'll wait for you. I arrived at the Dickai Hotel at 6:15. Li Xia was alone in her office. The desk was piled with endless documents. Do you need an assistant? I know quite a few characters. Reading documents won't be a problem, I asked pretentiously. Sure. But first you have to compensate me for my electric scooter. That's where my scooter was lost and you didn't even help me find it. Li Xia put down the documents and looked up at me. I'll take you to buy a new one right now, but you have to keep your word. Pick me up for work every morning. I admitted defeat, scratching my head to change the subject. Let's just go to the hospital first, let's deal with the elders' matters first. She didn't insist and walked beside me, carrying her Gucci bag. At the hospital's private ward, Li Jiahao was playing chess with my dad. My mom was wiping the ward until it was spotless. Li Xia brought in some expensive fruit she bought at the entrance. Brother-in-law, bring my sister to see mom and dad. We're planning to come clean about our relationship. Li Jiahao shouted brother-in-law. Li Xia and I were both stunned. Her face flushed red. My parents also stared at us blankly. Don't talk nonsense, I put the fruit on the coffee table. What's there to fear? Are you worried mom and dad won't approve? What's there to hide? My mom took it seriously. It asked my son earnestly. No, I explained hurriedly. Don't listen to Jiahao's nonsense, my mom said regretfully. True. How could she ever like you, auntie, please don't say that. Li Xia said with a smile. Chen Fan is sensible and filial. And his conditions are great. I sat on the sofa next to dad. I heard you were insisting on being discharged. You've only been here for 3 or 4 days, didn't we agree on a week? Dad's eyes widened. This bed fee is over 600 a day, I can't afford it. I'll handle the discharge papers first thing tomorrow morning. I want to go home, seeing him not care about others' concern. Only thinking about saving money, I felt a bit awkward. My tone also grew firm. Did I agree to your discharge? Do I need your permission? Dad's voice was even louder than mine. The air was instantly filled with tension. A massive family battle is about to erupt. My dad is even more stubborn than me. I could only raise my voice. You just had surgery. Jiahao and Xia spent hundreds of thousands. Just so you could be healthy. All that money has been spent. What's a little more for observation? Can you just listen? I know my own body. No need for your nonsense. Stop arguing, my mom urged. You father and son always bicker when you're together. Speak calmly. Dad said to my mom with a cold face. Everyone please step out. I need to talk to this brat alone. Dad, Li Jiahao advised. My brother-in-law means well, please don't be angry. Child, Dad's tone softened a lot toward Li Jiahao. You and Xia go out and buy some dinner first. I need to say a few words to Chen Fan. Li Xia gave me a sympathetic look. It followed my mom out of the ward. Li Jiahao walked last and even made a face at me. Only my father and I were left in the ward. Dad, it's not that I'm being unreasonable, but I'm worried Xia will see us as a burden. She wants to date you. Who wants to marry into a family and serve in-laws. I'll be discharged early to prove my health is fine. To avoid causing you trouble, I'm not dating Li Xia. Jiahao is just talking nonsense. What Jiahao says doesn't matter. Xia is a good girl. How is she not good enough for you? Jiahao treats you like a brother. She truly takes care of us, so don't you want to become even closer? Dad, I'm pleading with you, please be more reasonable. It's impossible for us, so why would she ever want me? In my eyes, my son is perfect. Besides, I can tell Xia is interested in you too. Stop right there. If you don't get with Xia, I'm getting discharged, he threatened like an old man. If you don't get with Xia, I'll leave the hospital. My dad looked at me triumphantly. Figure it out yourself, your mother and I have already discussed it. Fine, I'll stay in the hospital, I compromised. When Li Jiahao returned, he brought 6 lunch boxes. 4 meat dishes, 2 vegetables, and a pork rib and lotus root soup. It's clearly his doing, my mom wouldn't be this generous. How much did this cost? It's just a small amount. Once you're discharged. All right, my mom said, grinning from ear to ear. We'll make dumplings when you're discharged. The atmosphere felt a bit strange. After dinner, Li Xia and I left the hospital. I took the initiative to explain that my parents were talking nonsense today. Don't take it to heart, what? She asked as if she didn't know. What did they say? Just that they treat you like a future daughter-in-law. Don't worry about it, I know it's impossible for us to be together. Suddenly she asked without warning. Then why did you steal a kiss from me? I was instantly speechless. My face turned red all the way to my neck. So she knew everything. I quickly pulled out a cigarette and put it in my mouth. Pretending I couldn't find my lighter. I'll go buy a lighter, I said, not waiting for her response. I turned and ran. The next day I learned from her that Deng Jing and her husband Deng Kaiming had both been arrested. When did this happen? The day after the board meeting, Deng Jing was taken away by uniformed officers at the company. Rumor has it Deng Kaiming was also arrested for fraud and tax evasion. Tomorrow, Monday, there will probably be even more explosive news. Deng Jing and Deng Kaiming were arrested. What about Niuniu? I quickly called Qin Mu. But she said she already knew. She also told me that Niuniu's grandmother arrived in Kunming the day before yesterday. She arranged for the grandmother and granddaughter to stay at the police station's guest house. After hanging up, I had to go to the police station. Do you need help? Gao Su was being very loyal. Not for now. I rushed out of the hot pot restaurant and took a taxi straight to the police station. I hadn't seen Niuniu for a long time. I wondered if she still remembered me. I also thought about Lin Yifei's dying wish. It might become a regret. In the police station's investigation room, Qin Mu was wearing her uniform, teaching at the front desk. An old man was filling out an application form. In the duty room, seeing me enter, she offered to cover for me for a moment while I went to the restroom, and then gave me a wink, signaling me to head towards the guest house. I went around to the back door, where Qin Mu was already waiting for me. I went to find Qin Mu, and she was wearing her uniform with her arms crossed, with a provocative and complaining tone. We've known each other for so long, yet you've never come to see me on your own initiative. Before I could make an excuse, she interrupted me saying, do you dare to argue? Do you dare to say you've ever come specifically to find me? All right, I'll be more careful next time. Actually, I wanted to ask you to a movie too, but I was worried you have too many dates. As soon as I spoke, I failed to make the date. Qin Mu said disdainfully, you're just making excuses. Try again next time, let's go. I'll take you to see Grandma and Niuniu. You've worked hard, she said proudly. Who else would do it? I am a people's police officer. Niuniu's mother Qiulan still hasn't been found. She has already been listed as a missing person. Is Niuniu doing okay? Of course, Qin Mu said triumphantly when I hugged her. On the 3rd floor of the guest house, Niuniu was leaning on the table writing. Grandma was crocheting slippers, seeing me enter. Grandma stood up happily and took my hand. Chen Fan, are you doing okay? Is work too hard? It's not hard. Everything is fine, Grandma called out. Niuniu had seen me long ago and was standing obediently to the side, only coming forward to say hello just now. I picked her up. Niuniu nodded first, then shook her head. Why the nodding and then the head shaking? School is fun. I want to stay with Grandma. Grandma felt heartbroken hearing this and couldn't help but sigh. After Deng Kaiming took Niuniu away, things weren't as good, Grandma said understandingly. Young people are busy with their careers, how could they worry about me? As long as he takes good care of Niuniu, that's enough. I couldn't bear to tell her that Deng Kaiming's business was not legitimate, nor did I say that his arrest was related to us. After chatting with the elderly woman for a while, Qin Mu asked guiltily if Grandma knew that Deng Kaiming's arrest was related to us. Would she hate us to death? It's hard to say. It's probably for Niuniu's sake. Li Xia has no intention of letting them go and will take legal action. These two won't be out for 3 to 5 years. I'm worried about Niuniu. Take this opportunity to get close to Deng Kaiming to investigate Qiulan's whereabouts. Although I suspect the worst, I hope you're wrong. Qin Mu sighed deeply. It's better for the child to stay with her mother than with her father. It also avoids having to deal with a stepmother. She shuddered. I didn't do anything all day. After returning home that night, I stayed at my landlord Lao Zhou's bar for a while. Then I crouched on the roadside smoking. As the streetlights flickered on, a pair of red high heels suddenly appeared next to the pile of cigarette butts in front of me. I looked up instinctively. Li Xia was standing quietly before me. You're here. I didn't get up, just greeted her. Am I unwelcome? Of course you're welcome. I stood up. My landlord Lao Zhou's bar is so quiet. It all depends on customers like you. What would you like to drink today? I want you to brew it yourself. Li Xia found a booth and sat down. Do I look like I know how to brew coffee? My landlord Lao Zhou laughed from behind the bar. Come on then. A few minutes later, I brought the coffee to Li Xia. Sitting opposite her, enjoy boss. Anything else? I'm available for conversation. Is there anyone like you? She complained. I'm not in a good mood today. I hadn't eaten all day and was too hungry to speak. What do you want to eat? I'm not in the mood. Why are you here so late? Li Xia sighed softly. Duan Jingnan came to see me today. Duan Jingnan. I suddenly remembered he is a major shareholder of Dicai. His son Duan Wentao was beaten by me and Li Jiahao. What did he want with you? Does he want to merge with you and his son? The company is having a new round of shareholder voting to elect a new chairman and general manager. Lee Kwon-ming failed last time, but I was, after all, removed from my position. Now there will be a legitimate re-election. Doon Jingnan said he supports me. And then, Doon Jingnan noticed I haven't been driving to work lately. Connecting it to the previous embezzlement incident, he tactfully asked if I sold my car to cover the deficit. Li Xia said, "What did you say?" "I think Doon Jingnan is very calculating." She took a sip of coffee and said calmly, "He said he would buy me another car. He's so good to you, he has a good relationship with my dad." But I politely declined. The company has a car for business trips too. I took a deep breath. Tomorrow I'll buy a lottery ticket. If I win 5 million, I'll pay you back those hundreds of thousands. Can you show some backbone? She said disdainfully. What man puts his hopes of making money on the lottery? Don't you think that's pathetic? I was just joking. I don't want to hear it, fine. Let me say something you like, you look beautiful today. Satisfied now, Li Xia glared at me resentfully. Take me for a walk in the ancient town, isn't it lively at night? I've hardly ever wandered there, let's go. I'll be your free tour guide. The night in Guangdong ancient town was indeed lively. Both sides of the bluestone road were lined with snack stalls. Aunties were dancing in the square. Children were laughing and playing. Li Xia was very interested in the cheap trinkets by the roadside. He would stop every few steps to watch. I kept asking questions without buying anything, so I could only follow her around. 2 children ran straight into us. Li Xia let out a cry of pain. The little boy in front said sorry and ran away. How are you? Did the collision hurt? I asked with concern. Did you sprain your ankle? It hurts so much, help me stand. I held her waist to help her steady herself and move around. To see if it was serious, it should be fine, just a sprain. I helped her sit on a bench and looked at the old man pushing a bicycle selling cotton candy. Wait for me here, where are you going? Waiting for you, I bought a huge marshmallow for 5 yuan. Li Xia covered her mouth in excitement when she returned. The crowd had already gathered around us. Some people even thought I was confessing and were recording with their phones. Just play along, I whispered. It's tiring to hold it up with so many people watching. Li Xia took the marshmallow and held it in front of her face. She reached out to pull me. Hurry up, pull me up. I was so embarrassed, it was my first time touching her hand. Her long, slender fingers feel comfortable when held. She walked closely beside me under everyone's gaze. I wonder if someone will post the video online. Confessing with cotton candy is much cheaper than with roses. I teased, what kind of confession is this? They might even say a bad uncle is using cotton candy to trick a little girl. What little girl are you calling? She glared at me intensely. I didn't dare say anything more. After returning to the bar, I took Li Xia to the second floor. On the left was my bedroom. The right side belongs to the landlord, Lao Zhou. Why is your place so small? She asked in surprise. It's quite good. As long as this 1.5-meter bed is comfortable, it's fine. I don't need much, 1 suitcase of clothes is enough. Why do I need a large space? I leaned back on the bed. The mattress comfort is incredible, do you want to try it? I didn't expect Li Xia to actually lie down just like me. Her head rested perfectly on my arm. That moment felt very strange. She turned her head slightly and asked softly, is your arm hurting? I flexed my forearm to hold her and stared at the ceiling, asking, how is it? It's definitely softer than the bed in your Dicai luxury suite, right? Li Xia said disdainfully while lying in my arms. You have the nerve to say it's comfortable, a hard bed is good for your back. I gently placed my hand on her waist and held her. Do you feel that a hug is warmer? Why are you hugging me? But she didn't push my hand away. It would be a shame not to hug a beautiful woman with such a great figure. Ouch. Before she could finish speaking, Li Xia slapped my stomach. It hurt so much I cried out, and she got up from the bed. She gave me an angry glare. After that she walked out, so I hurriedly scrambled up to chase after her. I saw her leaning on the wooden railing of the second-floor corridor, staring blankly at the abandoned small pool below. What are you thinking about? I walked to her side. I thought she was still angry. Chen Fan, look how beautiful this pool is. She said softly. The surroundings are all blue stone paths. If we planted some sweet flags and placed some rushes on the tables and chairs, it would be so relaxing to drink tea and enjoy the breeze here in the afternoon. Good idea, just thinking about it feels comfortable. I went along with her idea. Why don't you try it with the landlord, old Joe? After opening a bar, add an awning to the first floor's rooftop at the back, and put a few chairs. I'll definitely fall in love with this place. Alright, I'll help you set it up so you can enjoy it when you arrive. I responded instinctively. Isn't the sky garden on the 8th floor of Daikai like this too? Why aren't you enjoying it there? There are too many people. They are all hotel guests. It wouldn't be good for me to go during my working hours. That's true, I'm going back. Buy some cotton candy. No need. Footsteps echoed in the stairwell. I leaned on the railing staring at the pool. I thought planting aquatic plants might actually look very nice. Early the next morning. Landlord Lao Zhou is cleaning the first floor. So early. Aren't you going to the Downen Flower Market to buy some aquatic plant seeds? Why buy these suddenly? Yesterday, Li Xia and I realized we could use the pond downstairs. We can open a back entrance, set up umbrellas, and arrange tables and chairs. Planting some plants would make afternoon tea so much more relaxing. Why do you seem like a young man in new love? As soon as you get a hint from a girl you like, you try your hardest to win her over. Don't talk nonsense, how could she ever like me? The important thing is, do you like her? If so, take the initiative. Don't regret it, I scratched my head shyly. I don't have any experience, go buy the seeds quickly. I'll help you renovate when you get back. Lao Zhou's words made my blood boil. But when I thought about my own loser status, I felt guilty again. Isn't this just a toad dreaming of swan meat? But I went anyway, just to find something to do. The next morning, when I got up and went downstairs, I saw Lao Zhou had already set up the umbrella by the small pond at the back entrance. The bird's nest hammock and swing were also neatly arranged. The sunlight slanted down, creating a serene atmosphere. I picked up the watering can and watered the plants in the bar. Lao Zhou's life is like a dream. Watering flowers. At noon, Lao Zhou cooked noodles with a poached egg. The two of us were sitting face to face, soup splashing everywhere when Li Xia suddenly arrived. You two are eating heartily. She looked at us. There was still food in the kitchen pot from when I just ate. Li Xia made an excuse, saying let's go to the back to check out our little pond. I said to her, what do you mean? You'll see once you're there, I said with a smile. Li Xia walked to the back door in her high heels, staring blankly at the small pond. So Lao Zhou, the taste is okay, right? I stood beside her and asked, it's great. It's just lacking some landscape plants. Don't worry, I scattered some seeds yesterday. They'll grow in about a month. She rolled her eyes. I can't believe you thought of that. Buying ready-made ones is more reliable. In a few months when winter comes, most people in Kunming don't have air conditioning. It's colder indoors than outdoors in winter. I just love sunbathing outside, I argued. But I secretly took note of what she said. Then Li Xia suggested, how about we open a hotel in your hometown? Having your parents manage it would be better than your aunt selling roasted sweet potatoes on the street. Opening a hotel, I shook my head vigorously. Forget it, the investment is too large. It's useless to be cheap if there are no customers. I know you mean well. She still has to go back to work at Dickai. I'll pick you up first thing tomorrow morning. After saying goodbye to her, I suddenly remembered I had forgotten the day my father was being discharged. I sat by the window in the bar and lit a cigarette. My mind was full of confusion. My life had fallen into a dead loop. Lao Zhou saw what was on my mind. He silently handed me a cigarette and sat in silence with me. Sitting upright, Niu Niu's biological mother was found, but she was already gone. She was murdered by Deng Kaiming. What's even more heartbreaking is that Deng Kaiming committed suicide in the detention center. Deng Jing's lawyer immediately filed a lawsuit, pinning all the responsibility on Deng Kaiming. There is no evidence since he is dead. He was driven to death. It was Li Quanming's group who did it. This will be bad for Li Xia, right? Jin Mu saw through my thoughts and teased me on purpose. But I was in no mood for jokes. I only wanted to confirm Li Xia's safety as soon as possible. I called Li Xia and asked her to come to the bar, arranging for her to meet Chin Mu. The two girls got along very well. Seeing Li Xia's relaxed smile, the panic in my heart eased a little. That night Li Xia took me out for a walk. Regarding Deng Kaiming's case, she agreed with my suspicion. It was most likely Li Quanming's doing. Deng Jing manages the finances at Dickai, and there are too many irregularities. Li Quanming wouldn't dare ignore it. Let me go back to the security department at Dickai, I said, gathering my courage. I'm worried about you, since Li Quanming is so insane. I want to stay by your side. After Li Xia stopped and gave me a deep, loving look, and suddenly stood on her tiptoes to kiss my face. Blushing, she said, silly. My heart skipped a beat instantly. All my confusion and insecurity seemed to have found a home. Early the next morning, Li Xia picked me up on time and even brought breakfast. We went to the hospital together. Chen Xiaoji and Yin Yihua were also there. The whole family was busy helping out. Li Xia showed no sign of being a chairperson, actively helping to pack things. My parents looked at her with eyes full of joy. On the way to taking my parents back to the county town, Li Xia accompanied me all the way to my hometown. She helped my mom clean the house. We were busy making dumplings and having a great time. There was no place to stay that night. Li Xia was a bit scared of sharing the room. Can you stay here tonight too? I was a bit afraid to be alone, so I nodded. I stayed with her at the best hotel in the county town. That night, we shared a bed but always maintained a respectful distance. Leaning in my arms, she spoke about the difficulties at Dickai. I gently held her as she shared her exhaustion. For the first time, I realized that having someone's company is such a warm feeling. After returning to Kunming, Li Xi gave me a surprise. She asked me to be the deputy director of Dickai's planning department. Finally, one evening at sunset. At first, I was very nervous and afraid I wouldn't do well. But she kept encouraging me in the planning department. She attended meetings and discussions with me, helping me find my footing. I slowly emerged from my previous low point. I continued to help Chin Mu deal with her boyfriend's matters. And Li Xia was always by my side, accompanying me as I grew and helping me solve all my troubles. I was no longer lost and no longer running away. Finally plucked up the courage on an evening at sunset. I took Li Xia's hand and said seriously, Xia, I couldn't see my own heart clearly before. Until I met you, I realized. It has always been you. Li Xia smiled and nodded. Her eyes shining, she squeezed my hand tightly. Later, we together resolved the internal factional struggles in Dickai. Li Quanming's conspiracy was exposed. My parents lived peacefully in the county town, no longer needing to travel hard, and Chin Mu also found her own happiness. Li Xia and I didn't have a grand confession scene, but we had a long-lasting companionship. Every day, we went to work at Dickai together. When we had time, we would return to Guandu ancient town together, to eat noodles made by old Joe or sit by the small pond, watching the greenery grow from the seeds I planted, chatting about the trivialities of daily life. I once thought my days would only continue to be dark, until Li Xia appeared like a beam of light, illuminating all my confusion, and now, I'm also constantly learning and growing. In the future, I will be a great tree, to shield her from